really tried to fend off against Fireflux, and if they're able to do that, they could have maybe moved out west, but they were penned in.
Hora out by
A horror story with Easy walking away with another pickup on that one. 6 elims already for Power. These are the sort of games they thrive on as well. It feels like this team very easily goes once they get momentum. Feed that hot hand, keep it building. It's nice to see for the Power fans out there.
It's funny coming out survival stage, right? It's where they shine a lot of times. And it wouldn't really be a Pmwc without Power making it through survival stage, so I'm glad they do make that happen. King finding a shot over towards Rita. Weibo? Oh, Thunder Talks here on the western side, yeah. So they do have good control. This is coming down from Camp Alpha earlier on. Ida, like we said before, did drop a player earlier on to Alter Ego, who have moved across, as we see here on the map. We'll check out where this next circle goes. Yangon Galacticos hopes it goes to the northwest side. It's not meant to be, though, as we start to come back down onto the South Island. Some fantastic compounds to play around here. Pretty difficult to get out from where Falcons is playing as you wrap around. They can be quick, though. They might be able to get some of these compounds down towards the south side, potentially play some of the ridges, but you can see DRX has clear sight lines over to them.
And this is a similar early path as well from Falcons. Obviously, the Sanor games we saw in survival stage from then, they were opting to play far slower, avoid locations early if they could, and that was working for them for placements. Again, here, though, you're going to have a lot of teams with targets on you. DRX losing a man very early into this one with their rotation, I believe, against Fireflux. Going to be in position to see if they can snatch away any points, dealing some damage, chipping down the Falcons. Be a nice way to get started for them. See the roam up from Power again. Always on our screen. Thunder Talks here playing inside the compound. You get one clean knock from King coming alive already.
Thunder Talks do have nades to play around with, so can send them this way. There's only so many places you can play around this coastal area. DRX is finding a huge amount of success from that high ground they're playing towards the center of the circle at the moment. It's so hard to pass by them, especially for Nongchen Red Force, who are currently trapped over towards Ruins. Hoping, praying that it moves over towards Ruins side on those central circles. King will pick up Fahiden. Al Haji is down, and Power's run looks to start to come crashing down easy. Just try and de-escalate the scenario inside that shack.
Steal from over the other side of the coast as well, actually. Yangon Galacticos being able to rip that 1 point away. But that just sets the alarm bells for Regnum Karia, Loxy and Toshpik. Right on top of the hillside, they get vision, take some bullets down range, and claim one back of their own.
It's a horrible approach, Regnum Karia. And they have to send it. Romeo should have heard that. Loxy is sent forward, so at least they have a player in the back line there. Nope, never mind, both get it. Romeo yet to take shot. Plenty of bullets to make it happen as well, and Regnum Karia is almost inviting those shots their way with the way they're lazily rotating over that hillside.
Regnum Karia on the drive-by. It's a very messy landing trying to get over the bridge, and this is Alter Ego that, of course, will bite the hand that feeds immediately. Krypton goes in to close the gap, just Toshpik really low on health, easy maneuvers, and you shut them both down. So goodbye, Regnum Karia.
Yeah, it's an embarrassing flop on the vision. Getting that across the shallows as well, usually fairly simple to do. I think they want to stop off over towards the bridge, but I think in that scenario, most teams have got these areas locked down. It's not the easiest game to play out, but we head up towards that northeast side, and suddenly things get a little bit more difficult, a little bit more interesting. Ruins being a big feature in this one, but Thunder Talks having this compound on the north side of it can cut out a lot of teams that want to come through on that western edge. DRX is going to struggle as they wrap around that high ground over towards Ida, who will have those nice sight lines. I'm more surprised by the fact that Scarface, as well as Ketchup, being able to live this long on Fireflux, just on 2 players. I think that's fantastic work from them.
Falcons have been biding their time. So an opportunity here to attempt to engage from underneath the bridge with the nades, cast that one out, not directly on target. Romeo as well being nipped out by the zone, so he goes down. So effectively just a duo. You can see he's back towards the bridge side, not really in a great position whatsoever. And for the Falcons, vehicles to play with, good to play all 4 players alive. Smile priming the nade, resetting that one until he sees an opportunity to actually get some chip damage.
TikTok live बसेर
If
पुरै
they go
सिकेछ
for
त
the push down towards the bridge, DRX as well, finally getting revenge on Fireflux.
Scarface going down there. Ketch should be running into Reefers from APG soon. The rest of the team's a little bit further over towards the northeast from Holdout versus Team Seedra. Split. Weibo Gaming. Falcons just rob over towards Noxian Red Force and Narval's Elites, able to find one of them. But it was a quick descent into disaster here for the Falcons.
This could go even worse quite quickly. They're attempting to pick up the pieces. Doxy goes down, but Narvalo responding. But look how low he is. DBS in the hands of Binny as well. Baiting out on the angle. Single shot is all that's required. Just trying to peek into it. Seeing if he can swing round. Dips behind the vehicle, stay alive. Alpha as well, shutting down Team Secret in the meantime.
It's good from Alpha Gaming. They've been waiting for that push for a long, long time there. Finally make it work. Now they can start thinking about their next moves. Narvalo heads in and... because it was off the back of team mistakes, but I still think that it would have got great placements, great points in those games regardless, just because of the way they played them.
Yeah, I think it's been very heads-up PUBG Mobile from them. Super cerebral gameplay. A lot more positives than really negatives to highlight whatsoever. Krypton here as well, even being able to snatch away the last man there. So Narvalo goes down 4 Falcons. You still have 2 solos, actually 3 solos alive. Easy's still inside the little shed. Bunkered down early. Kind of a secret agent in the backline of Alter Ego. Sakura as well here for E-Arena, spotting out onto Reefus on the drive up. Hard cover, so he falls.
Yeah,
it's a really hard push. APG, they couldn't send all their players down either. Reefus was sent in as almost a sacrificial lamb to try and get an opening knock, but they couldn't afford to have all their team down there.
Game sound body छ. Game sound body छ. अहिले ठीक छ?
It is unlikely that Alpha gets too much further into this game.
Mic volume.
He's been able to get the backstab onto Rosemary. This is what he was waiting for so long. You kind of forgot he was there, and you paid the comeuppance because of it. Even more damage from Easy, actually. That's what's fun for Dwarfs.
Wait, dami yaar, dami. It is Jinko राम्रो 1v2 केटाहरु.
Finally gets taken down.
APG ले 6 किल हानिसकेको छ. ए मैले भने थिए नि ए त टपमै आउँछ भनेर.
एको चाहिँ हाम्रो रोजमेरी हाम्रो आइजिएल हो हैन केटाहरु. आइजिएल ले राम्रो किल हानेर आउट हुनु भएछ.
लाइभ मोडल बोली चेन्ज हुँदै त. राम्रो ठीक छ अब ल
डग सुते हेर्नु न डग सुते.
ओके अलबेक भाइ पनि रहेछ त. आमा 10 भ्युज पो आएछ त हाम्रो त. ओइ त्यो
यार डगको सुत्ने दिन आइछ गेममा.
ओइ त्यो साइडमा क्यूआर कोड पनि छ केटा.
क्यूआर पनि छ है. क्यूआर छ केटा.
ओ क्यूआर हल्का यता राख्नु पर्यो.
देखे हैन.
Crazy maneuvers from Easy though. Before he's taken out.
ए त्यसो नगर नि यार. कहाँ गाम.
रोजमेरी त डेन्जर भाइ हेर.
ओ रोजमेरी त रोजमेरी भइहाल्यो.
Snatching away the odd point here and there. 4 players alive for that squad as well. Black could be a big
डग सुतिरहेछ यार केटा हो. डगलाई मार्नु पर्छ.
Eye-opening squad in terms of we saw them earlier. Like
आइडिया चाहिँ कसरी टिक्छ हो लास्ट हुन्छ.
म हान्दिमी क्या हो हेर. खोला हान्ने हो भाइ. क्यूआर हान्नु.
It's a hard team to pinpoint.
1 रुपैयाँ हाल्दैन नि भाइले फेरि.
ठीक छ पहिला सुरु हुन्छ ल 1 रुपैयाँ हाले नि.
So much. It's hard
to ब्लक गर्दैन फरक पर्दैन.
Say pinpoint exactly how I feel about E-Arena. But there has been these good games. There has been some strong sweeps.
डगलाई देखेर त अहिले देखेन. रिता नानी फेरि एकदम.
I think that's really fair.
क्रिप्टन पनि कडा खेल्छ.
Playing as well. Feels like if he's on form, the rest of the squad really gets riled up.
ल लाइक हान्नु केटा हो
Still looking
लाइक
menacing.
हान्नु पर्यो केटा सब्स्क्राइब हान्नु पर्यो सब्स्क्राइब बढाइन्छ जतिको त्यति
साकुरालाई
चाहिँ
हानेछ रिताले हानेछ त्यो साकुरालाई
It's
कसले
a rough
हानेछ
position here on the hillside.
It's a smart one though. You play in
NS
front of the
like
rock because you're
NS
assuming
bro.
they're going to be sending those nades over the top of it anyway because they think you're hiding behind there. If they peeked up, they would have found a clear and easy shot over
यो
towards
idea
Krypton,
नै
but he
राम्रो
takes that
खेला
risk and
चाहिँ
it pays
Cool.
off here.
Idea
Now
त
they get
पढा
the
हो नि
northeast shift on the circle. They know they need to start
ल.
cleaning out E arena soon.
लु
मोरम्यान त
लु
Start a step round from the side.
1 रुपैयाँ हाल्यो क्या
Crypto and Moana playing off one another. Instantaneous response. Look at the spray down. Joker.
ल थ्याङ्क यू फर 1 रुपैयाँ भाइ
थ्याङ्क यू फर 1 रुपैयाँ
एकेजी दाइको
बिग साउट
मुखमा
आउट
लाइट
हाम्रो
पर्यो
प्रख्यात
दाइ
भाइ है
बिग साउट
राम्ररी
प्रख्यात
देखेको
है
छैन
प्रख्यात
त्यही त भाइ घाम लाग्यो भाइ पनि आउनु पर्यो यहाँ है
ल भाइ
बस पार्टी एकदम ग्याङ हान्नु पर्छ
Three players. Awesome nade
यो
from
कहाँबाट
Aaron
आयो
over
लाइक
the
उयो
top
भयो
there. We'll take down Sakura. Perfect air burst on that one as well. Despite everything, it is Ida as well as Rodrigo getting it through to the late game.
उतै हेर
Shots
गेम
from
हेर न
Krypton
खतरा अन्दाज
keeps
भयो
going
रिता
forward.
कमान रिता
रिता रिता यस
देऊ रिता देऊ
No Rosemary doesn't mean that Alter Ego's down and out.
दिँदैनन्
But I'm loving the fact that he
Jinna
kept the
ni ni
pressure on as well. Whilst the
ए
team
यो
was
त
trying to
के हो
reset
च्याम्पियन जस्तो
themselves
खेल्ने हो
and the heel, he was
Jinna
harassing,
हामी हो
so you're still a
भन्थ्यो।
little bit more paranoid. You can't take the fight to them. Either have to stay
र त
tucked
फेरि
in for
खतरा
now,
साथी
really
रहेछ नि
grow
यिनीहरू
as well.
जिग्री टप सोमा हाल्यो आज
In front of the hard cover in the rock.
हान्न ओपन छ त ल
Big news and Krypton had to hit that shot over towards Darkin.
भाइ 1 रुपैयाँ बेजती
ल
नगर न हौ
प्रेडिक्ट
डोनेसन
प्रेडिक्ट पहिला प्रेडिक्ट को
Find a decent nade.
को यही हो नि
त
तर उ यता जोन छ यसको
यही नै हो
आइडियाको जोन छ तर यिनीहरूको गन पावर छ
यही हो
होइन म चाहिँ आइडिया ल
यही हो
आइडियाले हान्नु
खतरा
सक्छ।
छ नि यही हो
आइडिया होइन जोन
जोन जानुपर्छ नि त
Rest of
तल
Alter Ego weren't quite there to take shots as
अब
Ida crossed.
डगले हान्ने यहीलाई हो
Prime time to do it.
डगले हान्न थाल्छ
अब किल उठाउनु पर्छ यसले
The last
ल
man.
डगलाई त
Who
देख्यो मैले
यदि जोन छिर्दियो रे डग हान्ने
It's a good wrap now as well. It means they can play off the back of this hard cover. Again,
अब
approaching
त
this
ऊ चाहिँ
position
च्याप्पे
over towards
लाग्ला
Ida
आइडिया
is not going
एउटै
to be
स्याकमा छ
easy, especially with
तर
the
होइन
fact
यसलाई उयो गर्न सक्छ
that resources, utility,
हेर्नु न नि यताले हेरेको
extremely
च्याकै
low
छ
अन्त
on the
अब
side of
त
Alter Ego.
स्योर
The
चिकन
banger
हो
of
नि
the first game, 10 elimination.
यही हो स्योर चिकन
As
हो
well as a chance at
रिता कमन
के हो आइडिया सपोर्ट गर्छ त केटाहरू
9 रुपैयाँ हाल्दै त थ्याङ्क यू 9 रुपैयाँ फर प्रख्यात
that energy
Hey,
going?
ए हो र 9 रुपैयाँ आयो
Show us.
9 रुपैयाँ आयो
It wasn't a
हेरेको
fluke. Chip damage
आमा
there is
है
going to be
प्रकाश
monumental
भाइ
as well.
तिमीलाई धेरै धेरै माया छ है मेरो भाइ
सपोर्टको लागि है
यति धेरै माया देखाएको
ऊ हानिदियो हो यहीलाई
यहीले हान्यो
very low. And
दुईजना
Krypton has to step back.
रिताले 1v1
कमान रितु रितु
हान्छ होला अर्को 1 HP छ
Pushed upon now. The last man.
रिताले हान्नै पर्यो नि
1 HP छ अर्को नि
रिभाइभ के गरेर
त्यो अर्को हिल गर्यो नि फर्स्ट एडै छैन रहेछ
And that's how all
कस्तो खेल्छ हौ यिनीहरू त मा यही त
बबालाई बबाल
they've
लस्केर
got the
भयो
talent, they've got the communication, and they've also got themselves the opening chicken dinner.
यिनीहरूको उयो हेरेको थिएँ नि अस्ति क्या त्यो
From Alter Ego.
14 सय आफूले टिम हाल्नु
As
गर्नु
well. We have
त्यो
it
लास्ट जोकर रहेछ यार त्यो
just because Rosemary down.
त्यो अर्को क्या हो जिएमएक्सको दिन्छ नि त्यसलाई त ला मै हालिदिन्छु भनेर लास्टमा
That was an
हालिदिन्छ
incredible match. Yes, they missed the rotate over towards Ida as they were coming across the road, but it was smartly played. And 3v
को हेरिरहेछ लु कमेन्ट गर्नु पर्यो
कमेन्ट गर्नु पर्यो केटा हेर अब गेम सिद्धै यहाँ कुराको कुरा
खतरा दिन्छ त त्यसले त यो दिन्छ
easy get himself into a late
ए गरिदिनु तपाईँ
getting 90 lives. The back of that one is a big result for them. And 4 thrives went down extremely early. It's a bit shaky.
हो र स्प्याम हान्नु पर्यो हो र स्प्याम हान्नु पर्यो कहीँ
हो र हान्नु पर्यो केटा
You can see the intensity. Join us for more PUBG Mobile action. A couple minutes
हान्नु
time.
पर्यो केटा
के अरे ल केटा अब रियाक्सन भिडियो कुन चाहिँको रियाक्ट गर्ने कुन चाहिँ भिडियोमा रियाक्ट गर्ने
रियाक्ट हुन्छ
कमेन्ट
आउँदो
मेरो भिडियोमा हेरे आज
ए
थेट भाइ इन्सानी के रे
होराले इराकमा जम्मै बिगारिरहेछ आज हान्ला त होराले
आज हान्छ हो होराले खतरा हान्छ
हान्नै पर्यो नि
खतरा हान्छ
त्यही त जान्दैन
त्यही भाइ अन्त कपिराइट लागिहाल्छ नि त्यो उयोहरूको हाल्यो भने
Cybertron's future is near.
चार्ज गरौँ न चार्ज गरौँ
मेरो मोबाइल कहाँ राखिस् त कहाँ हो त्यो
लाग्यो लु न बनाउनु न
केटा अब भन न यार के पनि बोल्दैन
कमेन्ट गर्नु पर्यो केटाहरू खोइ के हो धन्यवाद खानाहरू
तपाईँको ल्यापटपको झोलाउनु हो त माइक
ए ल ल ल
वाचपाती गरेर मोबाइल चलाउनु
म यहाँ कमेन्ट हेरेर आएको कमेन्ट हेरेर आएको कमेन्ट अब कहाँ हेरिरहेको
भाइ अब तिमी पनि जाऊ अब पिसाब गरेर आऊ भाइ गेम अब अर्को गेम आउँदा आऊ
अरू गेम आउँदाखेरि मात्र होइन दायाँलाई हेरेर त्यो केही छैन त्यसको पनि बढेको छ तपाईँको नसक्नु थियो
दुई पोइन्ट मात्रै आयो
prediksi sebelum semuanya terjadi. Tekanan. Apa itu? Final. Saatnya jeda beristirahat. Gue nggak bisa ngalahin apa yang gue sekarang. Gue ingat tim kita.
Number one in the groups and now number one to start off the grand finals for Pmwc. Alter Ego is operating on another level. Who is going to be able to stop them? It's only one game down in the final, but that's a terrifying statement to make from the word go here, Seven.
It is, and I mean, continuing on the performance that we saw out of them in group stages, being able to control a lot of the circle. Once they felt comfortable, they started doing a 1-1-1
प्रयोगमा त भाइरल भयो क्या
given the lead, they kept out the ring and tried to push in. They had every angle.
कुन चाहिँ भिडियो हेर्ने केटा
कमेन्ट गराउ त
When you look at Sound in particular, Trifecta is just such a key
कुन चाहिँ भिडियो हेर्ने
transition
भने
point. They controlled it from like the early stages of the game.
लागोस् न के हो
And it started with a hot shot against Thundertalk. They fixed it.
तपाईँकै बजायो भने के
Because of that, they had an
कपिराइट
easy chance to go
तपाईँकै
for
च्यानलमा
23 points. Right out of the gate, SCA hit
आफ्नै
with
प्रमोसन हो
Aggressive high ground control.
यो
Aggressive fight
क्या
against the
नेपाल
arena as
versus
well to be able to
युरोप
salvage everything after that and then get the 23 points. It's brilliant stuff
बात
from
के त भएन
them.
के अब
Following things up as
तेरो
well.
तेरो
Alpha
भिडियो दिएन नि
Gaming with 12 points, being able to position themselves after a lot of eliminations. Max getting themselves in a decent spot to start off the tournament.
Yeah, I mean, big fight happening in Pineapple.
के श्रीले त के आएको यो
खोइ के के
Actually,
साझा खबर
we were critical about
Wait,
Dom. He
समाचार
tried to save
समाचार
this
आउँछ
game
यहाँ।
for his team. They got right into the top 3.
केमा रियाक्ट गर्नु हौ केटा
DRX as they were trying to exit
ल
out
ल ल
of
रे
ruins.
केमा गर्ने भन
Are we
कमेन्ट
going to
गराउ
see them be at the bottom of the
त
rankings and Doc MVP like in PMGO? I hope not. but it's so far.
कमेन्ट पढ्दिन है म
If it's this kind of
Close call.
performance, I mean, I
Club
don't
one
hate it
does
from
well,
APG.
no.
As you mentioned, he came back situation for this one. If they continue like that, then one thing that I do have to nitpick a little bit, even though it is Sandhawk, is them losing top early.
क्या बोल्नु खोलिहाल्नु अनि 10,000 भनेर ठ्याक खोल्दैन लु 10,000
This game.
दस रुपियाँ
आउँछ के 10 रुपियाँ आइहाल्छ त होइन
पैसा
You know
हैन
one of my favorite
लु नि त
moments.
लु 100 रुपियाँ नि त हाँ?
It was both of your guys' picks going out straight away in
मेरो
the game. Max, what do you have to say about
भाइ
yourself?
100 रुपियाँमा खोलिदिन्छ अरे
So, yeah,
I blinked.
yeah.
They weren't alive
100 रुपियाँ भने चाहिँ पक्का खोलिदिने 500 रुपियाँ 500 रुपियाँ लु
How about yourself, Seven, with 4 thrives?
It happens when a team decides to hot drop in the grand finals on day one. On the
ड्यामेज को
first
हो
match.
आम्माम अल्टर इगोको ड्यामेज हेर्नु न
To be fair, though, they said that after this, they don't
केटाको
really
फेभरेट
drop
टिम को हो लु
anything else, but I don't care. 4 thrives. Please stop hot dropping, even if we're only going to be playing Sandhawk twice.
And who was my pick coming into the grand finals? Ah! What's wrong, Max? Alter ego.
I'm
सब
annoyed.
देख
Actually,
दुनिया भर
yeah,
Sign to
of
be
course.
more.
रामेन पनि
They look crazy good in the group stage, and now they're controlling crazy amounts of space. Anyway, that's
खै त कमेन्ट पढ्नु न
good
तपाईँ
hours
पनि
from this game
फोन
as
निकालेर
well.
One thing I really like, actually, we're talking about it a little bit, Seb, during this game, is the rhythm at which Ultra Ego play. Not talking about the control on trifecta, which was really highlighted, was phenomenal.
रोजमेरी
It's
मार
the
लो
way they take engagement.
त्यस्तो हो यो गोलमाल होइन
Full reset, bring everyone back up, get information, transition to a better position. It's just very
साकुरालाई हेर बम हानेको रिता लिएर हाने केटा हो
so
रिता
well executed, so snappy. The Ultra Ego, I was a little bit scared that what
Mona,
they're doing
Rita,
on stage, it would be hard to replicate in the
साकुरा
finals. They proved us
रोजमेरी
wrong
नाम
right
त
away in the first game.
The main one comes down to that scouting. I'm really enjoying the scouting that they do, and as you mentioned, just the pacing of their playing style, making sure that they do end up clearing everything. Rosemary, though, to be fair, Rosemary ended up getting caught off guard there by Power. And talking about Power, what an impressive match out of this team, too, winning that hot drop.
Yeah, very important, all
Oh,
things
that's
considered.
good.
They might make 4 thrives now. Think twice about that. They've still got 2 more Sandhawks to play here,
यो पहिला
Max. So
PUBG
maybe
स्ट्रिमै
not
गर्थ्यो
coming back in those next 2
कि
Sandhawks.
Look, you maybe don't want to
Yeah,
ruin your
PUBG
Sanox when
streamer
Ultra
too.
Ego already
I'm
created
right.
a big lead.
Yeah,
that's
You know what? Because it's not about you need to be top 8 to be in a good position. You need to win it all, and you're not going to do so by hot dropping on one map.
Yeah, the thing is if one member of Power isn't there, I think Alter Ego wins this even harder. They've got Rosemary and Moana just waiting for that Thunder Talk kind of rotate around on the left. What am I doing? I'm supposed to be the desk host. Go on, talk, Seven.
Good. I think, what was it? It was like 13 eliminations. I'm with you. If they would have kept Rosemary, they would have been so much more aggressive because what we have seen this team do, which is just gain all of that control. They would have been willing to take those fights. And even at the end, when we saw them having to just slow down and get a reset, it would have been a lot faster.
Yeah, I kind of want to steal a point that you were talking about earlier, Kalaris, during the game. It's actually, they're very good at knowing the weaknesses of their position. Thunder Talk up northwest, they were trying to wrap around. They instantly understood, okay, this is our weak point. We are going to get wrapped around. They set up a little bit of a defense. Power, as we said, that one solo player that's kind of ruined it for them. They do lose Rosemary.
Yeah.
But Thunder Talk, if they don't take care of that main threat at that point, chances are they don't win that match. So they're very, very good at just understanding what is going to be their issue matches when it comes to taking wins.
That said, I do have a lot of hope for our Korean overlords, as I normally do in these tournaments, boys. And take a look at Nongshim Red Force going up against DRX as well. 2 teams that could do a lot here. But DRX in the distance, dodging bullets, left, right, and center, then being able to shut down Nongshim Red Force. There's cool moments all over the place from this game 7.
There was. I mean, you have Narvalo being able to clutch out for Team Falcons, too. That was a pleasant surprise. Remember last time I was talking about him, it was just getting eliminated too early on for his team. So it's good to see it now, being able to see the evolution of Narvalo. Yeah. But I got to call out 3 teams, actually 2 teams. It has to be Nongshim Red Force and Fireflux. Nongshim Red Force, I'm going to give you a bit of a slight one because you did have a lot of the area. You had a circle that was kind of blessing you. But these 2 teams just play a little bit too passive for what the lobby's currently showing us.
Let's check in with our teams coming into Erangel. Erangel is an unbelievably important battleground here. All thrives alongside Alter Ego have been able to truly thrive on this battleground, Max, but who's going to be able to do it?
I mean, if you're able to get these point averages we've seen in the survival and the league stage, right, coming in from 4th rise, Ultra Ego, if you're getting around like 6 elims, 7 elims average on every wrangle, again, playing this battleground 3 times per day, you're going to start creating an even bigger lead. And the fact that Ultra Ego start with a win, and they are our Erangel top fragger,
Bro, they're scary right out the gate here.
Yeah, definitely. With 50% of the maps being, of course, Erangel here, you need to be performing on the grassy pastures.
Well, I mean, for 4 thrives, as I was saying, okay, you know what? Let's get out of the way with Sandhog. You got that hot drop. Hopefully, you'll be able to learn for tomorrow. But now, going into Erangel, all their wins came in Erangel. Whenever we were in group stages, they ended up with, what was it, top 3, 4 times out of 6 matches that we played this. So they need to make sure they take full advantage of Erangel.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully they'll be able to make it happen. Again, as you said, Kalaris, 50% of your matches are on this battleground, on the grassy pastures. You want to try and have some good time over there, and if any teams can be making it, all the top fraggers we just saw on that graphic could be the ones to make it happen.
Definitely. I expect we'll see a bounce back from 4 thrives. They're not going to go lying down. But of course, over in-game right now, you guys can get your hands on the PUBG Mobile Airdrop Carnival, and it's now live. Don't miss the final 3 days this weekend. Log in to summon your airdrop surprise and collect 2025 airdrop vouchers from your chance to win official merch, smartphones, BD partner rewards, permanent in-game items, and more. Every participant is guaranteed to win rewards. Come and join the Airdrop Carnival and unbox your surprise. Any surprises you may think of here, 7, coming into Erangel?
Said I can think of right away? No, none. I just want to see some of those teams that I ended up calling out being a little bit more aggressive.
Yeah.
Especially even if they do end up in a position where they maybe are blessed by the circle, I want to see them being a little bit more proactive, trying to get those points, trying to get those eliminations.
Yeah, I mean, one team I'm going to be looking at, especially this game, is going to be Regnum Karya. They drop in Rozok. There's no contention. There's no hot drop happening over there. They did have a really rough circle this time around on Sanhok, but Erangel is by far their best battleground. If there's any time Regnum Karya need to step up, it's right here, right now.
And for Regnum Karya, it's going to have to come down to just being able to rotate a little bit faster. We were talking about it during that last match, Max. We're saying they're rotating way too slow. It's going to end up hurting them. Guess what? Alter Ego was already set up. And when you have teams playing like how Alter Ego is, being able to control such a big area, if you're going to end up rotating late and not being able to scout, you're just pretty much going to get eliminated.
Of course, you guys over at home as well can not only be watching the stream that's going on here, but make sure to have the map feed open too live. Because obviously that is going to give you huge information regarding how these teams are going to be rotating, how they're moving. And speaking of that, I paid very close attention whilst I was kind of analysing the games from day to day, how Yangon was going to be rotating on things. Because, of course, coming from Military Island is not the easiest of things you have to do in this game, Maxman. And sometimes it was by hovercraft, sometimes it's by cars, crossroads, and things like that. So for them, there is always that potential challenge that you've got to deal with when coming from military.
I mean, especially because, let's keep in mind, unlike in the survival stage, 4 thrives are here. Western Bridge, occupied. Outright Gaming, back in the lobby, dropping in military. Novo, also going to be possibly occupied. I think there was even a potential hot drop happening over there. So Yangon Galacticos, this is going to be turned up to 11 into hard mode. And we know that this is a team that surprised us. Can they surprise us when they are going to have a real tough time simply surviving on Military Island?
If there was a team that I would expect them to be able to get out of Military Island, will be Yangon Galacticos. But I agree. They've been able to show it over and over again. They've been able to adjust. Yeah, even now that 4 thrives is here and they're more than likely going to just be controlling that Western Bridge. We have seen Yangon Galacticos realize that and be willing to just take some damage from the blue zone, go all the way around into the Eastern Bridge. And even if they end up rotating late, it works out for them.
It does work out, but I'm just scared not only of 4 thrives, because we've seen that normally their hold on Western Bridge is quite passive. They allow teams to move in if it doesn't give them a big advantage in the circle early on. My main issue is going to be when APG and 4 thrive, APG and Yangon Galacticos try to rotate at the same time, and you're going to have this big bottleneck situation. That is really what causes teams to lose a lot of players in the early game.
All I'm hearing here is a third-party opportunity for Yangon Galacticos.
And that's kind of scary. That's a really good. Anyway, let's by the by. It's time. The grassy pastures, Erangel, game number 2 of the day here for the grand finals.
Impeccable timing from the audience there. And overall, Blank, you can see it's starting to fill out right. You've got fans, you've got family, you've got support staff, everyone in the arena ready for the anticipation that's going to continue to build as we make our way through these playoff games. And I tell you what, Blank, I'm going to throw it into the mix right now. Alter Ego take back-to-back chicken dinners.
You think so?
100%.
Straight off Erangel with another Alter Ego win, huh? I mean, to be fair, yep, all the support staff are here, the fans are out in force. Al-Haji's father is here cheering them as well. A little extra pressure, you know.
Oh, yeah. The legend himself in the crowd.
Oh, that was there. I'd be worried. I'd do a better cast. But yeah, we're heading over towards Erangel. for the first time here over at playoffs. Starting over towards Quarry, heading up over towards Stauber. Very neat little playing path here for both teams, right? We'll be able to get out slightly earlier towards Primos very here, as well as Sosnovka, which gives you a little bit more time to figure out what your movement's going to be from Sosnovka, which is nice, especially if you drop down there. But meantime, teams heading up towards Yasnaya, Mansion, Lipovka, Prism. It's a little bit of a longer rotate that you're going to have to make. Time enough to spend inside the plane. I think for most teams, they'll be very, very happy with this kind of playing path.
You can see how the standings are looking as well, of course, off the back of that opening game of the playoffs here. For Power, it was a very impressive hot drop, targeted one of the teams that everyone's had their eyes on, and that was 4-5, who absolutely dominated back in the group stage. Is there going to be a bit of back foot blood gameplay on that one? That's what I'm curious about. Are they going to have this revenge moment? You don't want to have 2 games with slow starts. That's a squad that needs to build.
APG currently parachuting over the top of 4 Thrives. 4 Thrives already hit the ground running. We'll see if APG extends this parachute down towards Sosnovka. I think they have to at this point, especially now that 4 Thrives is already starting to get set up. We send over towards the eastern side of the map. Falcons in their beloved Pachinki, as well as Rozok being held by Regnum Kaya, as Maxman was talking about earlier on. Now, was a lot of indecision coming through from Regnum Kaya when it comes to Rozok. Teams often finding a better position in Rozok when the circle heads that way. Not sure whether to hold inside or send out. I think that they got hit with a little bit of an unlucky stick a few times on that one. There certainly can be improvements. We'll wait and see. Keep your eyes on the wheel and the windscreen, please. Instead of just on the map, so if you're driving, get direction from your teammates, possibly.
Yeah, don't dent the Dacia. Keep it clean, like. Paintwork on that. It's a nice cool blue. Matches the logo.
Works out very well. But everyone in this one all rotating together here for Thundertalks, heading down towards Milta, which is free right now, so Thundertalks can play that one out. Alter Ego sending far over towards Lipovka right now, which is very much out of the way, but on this kind of circle, it's completely fair. You don't want to send your entire team over towards Lipovka, though. You would like some scouts on the outside. Right now, it looks like the entirety of the team is just going up towards Lipovka, though. I think they expect that they're going to have time, especially on the plane path being so long over towards the eastern side of the map.
Curious as well. Position 10, Falcons tied points with Weibo and both Fire Flux as well. How they're going to be looking. Obviously, we saw in their Sandhawk games for our survival stage, it was far slower pace. It worked for them there. It's going to be a bit different here. Teams that are going to look to try and take the fight to you, you're not going to get as many freebies. When they crashed into Nongshing Red Force, that's where it all went wrong. Hopefully they can avoid a similar outcome here. Forward scout on Ralph. Farther up ahead, it's Regnum Karia, Fireflux, and Power that are relatively close by.
Power's getting a move on. Regnum Kaya also making that move, as you were saying, all in vehicles. They left Rozok early. They want to pride themselves here, and I think that's fair enough, especially in the first circle. They don't want to spend too much time in Rozok. They'd rather get a central position and then know that there is a chance to send back over towards Rozok later on. So we're not doing any shenanigans where we leave 2 players behind, we send 2 players up front. They're going to play together. If it means they have to kind of work their way back into Rozok, dig a tunnel back towards that region of the map, then sure, fair enough. But in the meantime, Regnum Kai is just going to try and take a central position, which they know they have priority on right now from the spot that they started in. Like you said, Power in a similar spot. Gondola here for Eren, as he will make the journey back down the mountain.
This is intense. Eren, inside of the gondola. The ground shaking.
It's not intense, it's in the gondola.
Not as good as the horse, you know. I think horse, gondola, kind of, you know, different territory.
Yeah, it's a completely alternate playing field. Right? It's incomparable.
Exactly.
Stop that.
You can tell we're a duo.
Yeah, we can. Jinx Padlock. Throw it.
उता जा म
glad
बोल्छु
you
क्या
saved
त
us.
सुन्न भन
You know what though? Glad we get a little bit of camera time with DRX here as well. Again, you know, they kind of had a rough early rotation where Fireflogs were able to take down one player from that team, but they kept it developing. And again, I think there's so much talent for this squad. I'm curious to see how they're going to be looking once we kind of have this day to look back on going into day 2, where they are in the standings, what the squads look like. I feel like there is so much talent on this roster for Hyunbin as well. So on the kind of, you know, it's been there, worn the t-shirt in such a short space of time.
Yeah.
Meteoric rise for him. Very, very good talent to watch.
Hyunbin's been very effective.
आवाज सुन्छ होला मेरो मैले बोलेको गेमको साउन्ड सानो गर्दैछु नि त मैले 10 रुपैयाँ हाल्दा यसले मलाई
100 रुपैयाँ हाल्दा रेडी थियो क्या बोलेको हो
ए कान्छ मैले बनाएको किन आएन हौ धुवै आएन त्यहाँ ओइ अनि गेमको साउन्ड आएको छैन मेरो स्वर त नआउनु रहेछ है एउटा कसले हेरिरहेको छ हौ एउटा चाहिँ साकार लौ इन्चन प्रख्यात रे ओ साकारु छैन ए सुरु भइसक्यो जस्तो छ अघि नै सुरु भएको जस्तो लाग्यो मलाई होइन के गेम तपाईँले जे खोलेर गएको त्यही भइसक्यो मेरो चार्ज छैन कि पर्छ थर्टी फोर खै वाइफाईको क्यामेरा हेर्छ आइज न आउँदा त्यो फ्यान बन्द गरिदिए है सिधै डेन्जर हुक्का खाइराख्नु भएको छ त अरे सागरले के डेन्जर हुक्का खाइराख्नु भएको छ अरे नि त खोइ हो कहाँ पुग्यो तल
ल केटा आयो होराले खान्छ अब केटाहरूको सातो बुढाउँछ आज
तर हामीले साउन्डै सुनेन नि त
ठिक छ थोरै सानो ठुलो गर्नु
ए म त अर्को
This area of the map in full over towards Potato Hill and the southern reaches of it. There's a lot of water. It's not as much as you might think, but you've got to consider that edge down towards South Africa that's still in is also a plenty of space.
सबजना आउला शेर हान भाइ
There at this point in the game,
भाइ
we are running around about 30%, I'd say, out of this map, so it's becoming a little bit more cramped, a little bit more crowded.
Scary as well, watching this rotate in
केटा होराले कति हान्छ ल भन मेसेज गराउ
I think, you know,
कमेन्ट गरा
कमेन्ट
instigate firefights. You run into the crosshairs of Alter Ego, they are going to take that fight to you. They won't let you get away cleanly. You have a spot in the back line there with Rosemary very quickly jumping out of the driving seat to attempt to set up good cover. Didn't take the fight in the end. Right out a few bullets to see if they get the connection over, but they can still chase on this.
खोइ लाइक खोइ 9 मात्र छ यार के हो यार
मैले लाइक गरेँ दिदी आइडी लगाएर कमेन्ट गर्दै साथी
100 लाइक पुरान परे आजलाई केटा हो ल
अघि सानोमा हामी च्यापेर 2 पोइन्ट च्यापेर 2 किलोबाट च्यापे अब हामी च्याप भने अब काम्रो भन्न
the space over towards the northern side. Alter Ego likely not wanting to pick up that position. Not secret.
पिंक कलर को लाउने ह्यान्डसम को पिंक कलर को पिंक कलर त केटीले मात्र लाउँछ
Wide wrap over to the small side and play there. It is out of bounds in terms of where a lot of the high prio locations are, but it gives you a safe approach into the circle. Alva right now, the Hound on the team of Alter Ego, looking to take a sniff over towards shelter.
पुरा घुमाइदिए के बन्दै गर्दिनु हुन्छ
एकछिन बन्द गर्दै
You get a good placement of the squads round towards that side. You've also got another scout from Emre who's actually bypassed one another. Inside of the blue is Alba. Out of the vehicle for a second, quick bit of looting. Rosemary in close position there as well. You see it established here on the map screen as we get that next circle.
Therex, Irina, both in good spots. I like where Norman's playing. This is a really nice split.
होरले राम्रो जोन पाए केटा हो
राम्रो जोन पाछ
On the east side of those fields, which means you can
ल केटा हो ठ्याक्क होल्ड गरेर फ्ल्याट पार्नु सल्लाह आयो आइडिया आयो
coming through quickly as well. They understand this spot is extremely important to them. 2 down already. Sakura is out and Regnum Kaya is cleaning house.
Oh yeah, mop and bucket gameplay.
हाय साइलसले त इनर खतरा होल्ड गर्छ है हेरे केटा हेरे यो कम्पन खतरा होल्ड गर्छ रे इएको टिम कहाँ मरिसक्यो त सब
Trying to keep his head down.
ल होरल हान्दै यार मोबियरले
Sure, there's no opportunities for a bit of a stab back, walk away with
आइडियाहरु
the
यार
players still
राम्रो
alive
खेल्छ
once they
क्या
get
हो
the man picked back up
सक्कु
there.
हान्दै यार साइलसले
That's not what you want. Bunch of maneuvers, but this could be a little bit cheeky. Fire flux going in, hovercraft gameplay from the side though.
होरको त कहिले देखाउँदैन यार यो स्पेक गर्दै
Able to
गर्दैन
hit that one.
Hora के नखो रिभाइभ हुन्छ होला
Fire flux. Not been able to win this fight.
आइडिया र होरा मात्र छ क्या त्यहाँ
चार
Time is to hit up towards this compound, and they've been sent back off this. Good hold coming through from Weibo. Only losing one player in order, but it's not even a flush there. It's just the knock that's easily resable. So Fireflux is going to have to go play down by the coastal side, which is an uncomfortable position to be in, because not only is it not in this compound, which is much safer, it also denies you a lot of information into the future there. Alter Ego have been taking their time. Alva was able to spot out one player. They will find the pickup on
ल हान्दे यार किले ओ स्लिपीले नि हान्दे रोजमेरीले
can be gained from Alter Ego playing on that edge and sweeping.
सुटर कान छोरे
Alpha
सेन्टरमा छ
charges
हो र
forward, line of sight blocked from the smoke wall
डाँडामा रहेछ
deployed from the remaining members of Hora.
उयो हान्न
Going to be
कस्तो
looking at
हान्छ
this one on target
उयोहरू
with
त
an aid. Meanwhile, Rosemary confirming
कुमारी बहिनी के छ
being able to
कुमारी
get
बहिनी
that final
यिनीहरू
shot
फेरि कहाँ भाग्दैन नि
towards Sleepy. An exchange of shrapnel. No fear, at least with a little bit of cover to play with. Slightly harder to get those nades in with the smoke shrouding it as well, but he
Horaको
fails
उयो
now
हो
with his
के
teammate
मिरामार हो
falling
के
further back to provide cover.
Yeah, you've got to keep backing this one off now. It's a nice bit of high ground that you can use to scout into the future of the game.
सेन्टरमा थियो
Do
नि
see how
केटाहरु है
Alter Ego want to play this one out.
होइन,
Because it is a bit of a
मिडल
wall
जोन
in front of them. Ida's playing a
Idea
nice
देख्यो
angle
अर्को
and a nice setup here where they are darted across the road.
अब सोलो सोलो
Allowing
खेल्छ नि
them to get a lot
एउटै
of
जग्गा
information
बस्दैन
going in towards the future. They
Idea
could
नि
pop
मिलाएको
shots
छैन,
here
idea
and there.
फोर माइनस
So yeah, definitely curious how Alter Ego want to play this
केटाहरु
out.
फेरि
They have
सेन्टर
just
चाहिँ किन
taken
छ्यापेको
slowly
अहिले
but
नै
surely. Team Secret whenever steps
ओपनमा रहेछ नि त
होइन
फेरि
नि स्काई तपाईँको बाहिरै थियो जोन बाहिर
and just trusting in Alpha's calls as well, which is very nice to see. I do want to quickly go back to Regnum Kaya though,
उयो
because
रोटेट हान्दा
despite that being an
होइन त्यो
immediate
जोन बाहिर
rotate,
हेर्दा
moment
स्काई
having
भनेर
control over the
स्काईलाई ढालेर
building,
आयो क्या
that was a
त्यो
very nice take coming through from
नोफीहरुको
Regnum
पोजिसन
Kaya,
हेर्न त्यहाँ
and that might have just bumped their point scoring up by a fair bit. There
Sky
is a
यतातिर
slight
बसिरहेको
issue with that compound where
जोन आइज त?
the angles
तिनजना
are
जोन
cut
समाते
off
के?
to
जोन आइज?
you. You don't
आयो,
have
आयो.
all the information in the world, but this is the sort of position that's going to keep you safe for a long, long time.
कसम 2v4 हान्दिनु है यहीलाई मा
Early on in the day, it feels like sometimes they pull those punches and won't fully commit to play. So it's
यिनीहरु
nice
त
to
हेर
see
रोटेट
that
यहाँबाट यहाँ
they've
जानु
been
खोज्दैछ
able to make it work.
Yeah.
Just need to keep that consistently, playing confidence good though.
Even that survival stage, when Rekdam Kaya went for some strong central positions, they are very, even those spots where it felt like they didn't really have position to play. These are drive-by nades as well. A huge amount of damage going through over towards Alpha Gaming. I'm surprised not even a single knock there. I think if they even found one more nade towards that position, it would have been an easy cleanup for them and an easier decision to roll out, cutting out a big threat on the north side.
Yeah, they are very lucky. They've been able to survive through that. On target nade, like you said, it's impressive. Down, you could have clashed into it very easily, cleaned up with such a
Message garaउने खोइ message गर्न comment गराउने
supplies they have. We saw a little bit of power.
गाजर मैच गराउने है सबले
as well, so still looking to find
dominate टिटीले त हानिहाल्छ नि यार चाइनिज टिम हो बम त हाल्ने
because of
बम त फेरि
यहाँ लक हम गेमिङ दिन्छ नि त्यस्तो ल्यान्छ
कोही हुर्का जो कहाँबाट म ल हान्दै जिङलाई त जिङ हुने गरी हान्दै त केटा
होराको त यति जान मात्र
It's just a case of lights close for Easy. Probably didn't even know he's in the shack, but just assumed that Easy's in one of these shacks in this game. I have to nade every single shot shack available because this guy's a backstabber.
The roll in from Maurice on the top side, finding that shot down range onto Alpha Game, in that same position. It's a full confirmation from Rosemary. Quick pick me up play as well.
राम धनुष बाण
To see more DPS, but to be fair, he's one of the most skillful players. He's with that explosive arrow, and it's something new, it's something different. And he finds success out of it. Like you said, it doesn't always pop up too often in the Elim feed, but the amount of space that Weibo gains off of Sook, wielding the bow and letting loose some absolute ringers.
Weaponizing the crowd there as well. We mentioned it, man. We're going to be seeing it in playoffs. Yeah, he doesn't give a damn. Grand stage, important matchups, he'll still be playing to his best, playing his flavour of PUBG Mobile. That's actually the final knock onto the arena as well, of course, removing them. And like you said, this now presents more opportunities for other teams to move further up. It's not the craziest point disparity in the mid portion there, but you're going to take that if they're not here.
There's some very obvious priority compounds here inside this circle, which you can easily spot if you're watching the map feed, which is available over at PUBG Mobile Esports at YouTube. You'll see the red force probably have towards east, Red playing on the west, and DRX down towards that mass of compounds on that south side. None is direct central, but they all have very, very good use cases into the future.
यसका साथै फलकको एउटा ग्रेनेड ल यो ग्रेनेडमा कोही पनि पड्किन ड्यामेज पनि अलिअलि मात्र भयो ल फलकले बम पड्काउला त र नकिलाई पछाडिबाट रेड ल फलक ढल्यो केटा हो ल फलकलाई त फिनिसै हान्दियो ल नारवालो ढल्यो उताबाट फाल्कनको र यसको साथै राम्रो बम र T24 ले हान्यो अर्कोलाई
फोर्टीले त कस्तो हान्छ हौ
आइले यस्तो च्याप्दाखेरि पनि उल्टो नक हान्दै यार राम्रो खेल्दा चाहिँ
And Redox stays alive. Off the knock onto IQ can push further forward, but it is a rough start for Falcons.
Yeah, slashing. Have had one player knock, but they are currently taking Yangon to task over towards Potato Hills.
Second game though,
Becoming more a prime position.
Team game एक दुई निकाल्छ त्यहाँ सिधै चिकन हान्नु
मिराबाट हान्छ केटा सिधा नगर न हानिसक्यो नकिन
दामी हान्यो नकिन
थाहा भइसक्यो अर्को पोजिसन नाइस यार
फोर्टीले त कडा हान्यो यार
लगाउनु रमाइलो ल 3 म्यान हुने भयो 3 म्यान हुने
Elims find the knocks and Falcons will be brought low
ल हान्दै
from the western edge.
And they've been wanting to play that slower
No fear,
style
the more
into
net
these
position
games.
made,
Here though, 4 Frights take the fight straight to you. Yes, they lose one player, but they can reset from it. Bit of Weibo action going on here. Fox having a real struggle start going into playoffs already again.
कस्तो खेलेको हेर्नु प्रेसर दिएको हेर्नु त्यहाँ भाग्दैन हौ फेरि नक छैन यार
ल जिगाउनु मरेर सिधै हो र
It's been an extremely extended fight. Every coming through across the board, but Ida starts to get involved now over towards Ego. I think they just lost one. Krypton is down. Now Albert needs to pull out something special. Goes down to just the 2 players. 2 players knocked for them. Alva
Belly crawling, using the grass and
So,
the ridge
sir,
side to
if
provide
they
them
okay,
some
first
visual
two
cover,
matches.
quick jump spot, seeing if you can get visual contact over the edge, over the smoke. Haan as well takes a stray bullet from the side. Nonshin Red Force building into this one.
ए होरालाई त देखाउँदै
Big
देखाउँदैन
Krypton back up again.
मरिसक्यो
Technically, he is in cover. So Alpha will head back down there, but full 3v3 and plenty of nades to work with. Saycloud might just be on target there with that one. Descends over the top.
Lu
Krypton out, and it
You
will
on the
be
net on it.
towards Alpha, and despite a massive spree coming through in this game from Alter Ego over towards Yangon,
यसले अब 1v3 हान्नु बेर छैन
the galactic comeback coming through on the north side of the map. Very surprising that Yangon comes out of this one with the 3 players.
That's the go pistol.
कति निकाल्यो
यसलाई त सुकले 5,000 मार्छ रे यहाँ
It's time to bail.
यसले चाहिँ सुकको बिगार लाग्छ साल
Near how they wanted it
ए यो
to
त
go.
मर्यो
Trapped as well as he gets the overall lay of the land with the squad. For the first time, just got to get his head down, tuck into position. It's Ida from the sideline that takes
टायर
shots
चाहिँ
towards him,
नफुटाउनु पर्ने
opens up
थियो
an
त्यो जसले हानिरहेछ नि
Nonshin, Alpha with the nade, rolls
ओ
it
दामी
over.
नेड हानेको आज त के नेड त
That is it.
फेक नेडहरू मात्रै हान्दैछ त
Through the trees, through the leaves.
70,000 को नेड हान्दैछ है
That will be the final player from Alter Ego out. Incredible stuff there. You don't see those ones every day.
अल्फाले खेले हैन तपाईको अल्फा हेर्नु अनि अल्फाले
No back-to-back chicken dinners to start us off. Another team to walk away with a big W on this one as the battle continues. Nice
Why is
distance
it?
fire
What happened,
right
this
here
other?
onto 4 Thrives as well. Good aim.
Location on the map, man.
अन्त किलै किल्छ
Ida
वाइजीहरुको
currently
हेर्नु न
looks very good from this spot, but we
यो ग्राउन्डमा
moved away
सुतेला
from a
हान
lot of
वाइजी
the,
वान
क्लियर गर्दै तल गयो भने त चिकन हो यार यिनीहरू
सुक मस्ट
Regnum
सुक
Kaya
र रोजमेरी
looking just to
हटाई
finish off those
अनि त्यो
players down on that south
अनि
side.
टप भनिन्छ नि एउटा
Power
टप
still running through with 3
त्यो
players as
डेन्जर
well.
छ रे
So,
नि त
they're not down and out yet. Nongshim Red
APC.
Bull should be able to hold out strong on the south side though. Having
एबिसी गाडी गुडाएर बसेको
very, very
APC
good
त नेपालकै
to work
भन्ने
with
छ
going
होइन
forward. Nades over the top, they do.
कोरेन्डी
A little bit of damage coming through from Regnum Kaya over towards DRX, who are now opting to see if they can just swipe right on this one.
DRX लाई त ल मैले यो DRX मैले नेपालको मैले
Fire
DRX
as well, because Ida are just firing shots down Rage. You've instantly got to try and
APC
reset from
नेपालकै
this
टिम हो
one, but there's further damage done. Knocked behind the tree.
Second match,
Advantage from
Owner,
Goodwin,
owner.
looking to reset himself. Easy. Sees that opportunity though. Clean connection. Back onto
टप
DRX.
लाग्छ यार
एबिसीलाई त पेलिहाल्छ नि तपाईँको
But
Why is
DRX
he
trying to get through here.
कहाँ यसले
Nongshim
कभर
Red
दिन्छ नि त
Bull
फेरि
wasn't
आइडिया
gonna let it happen.
ओह्रालो झर्नु कहाँ दिन्छ त आइडिया
Al-Haji finding Yumpin
Idea
as
को पोजिसन हो, दामी छ हेर्नु न।
Very, very long range spray to make it work. Make it work, it does. There is still one building available for Regnum Guy to be playing out on the very edge of the circle.
डिरेङ्गल
I'd
त
be excited
सानो
to
त
see
पोइन्टै
Yangon
निकाल्दैन हौ
podium finish here just because of how hard they had to fight for their lives on the north side.
ओए कस्तो खुच्चाइदिन्छ यार
The investment from Power. They really
कस्तो चाहिँ होला नि त्यो यस्तो जोनमा 26 जना छ अझै होइन लास्ट यो पछि त एउटा उयो होला के अरे लास्ट जोन होला हैन
because of it resulting in a bit of a stalemate from the crash in.
PS, I'm
Only
the last
leaving
one,
one
don't they?
representative
PS,
of Power left.
यो लक्सीले
Just way
साइलस
above the
फेरि
rim,
खडा छ है
caused
यिनीहरू
issues behind that smoke wall, and then of course Regnum Karo, the compound high ground position as well, but nice split. Silas set up further ahead. Yeah, this is going to get more and more intense. Secret, catching vision.
टिम सिक्रेट हो ल
This is the nice thing about Regnum Kari as well.
Team
Is that
secret point now,
we
sir.
mentioned it beforehand.
Hora the
Where
last one,
they're a proactive team. They don't allow
serious
themselves to
player.
be caught up in the moment and just sit around, feet up, watching telly inside these compounds. They are very much active on the outside there. They took shots over towards Alpha Gaming. They cut out over towards that south side. It's not a crazy amount of points able to find this game in terms of even just the 3. But they've confirmed a strong spot on that southwest side. Weibo are in front of them, as you've mentioned.
सुरु नै
I'd
गल्ती भने
like to see how
हामीलाई
they're going to handle this into the future because it's some weird terrain that they'll have to push through.
यार केटाले हान केटा हो हान म छु केही भयो भने
But Yangon, it could be
के गर्नुहुन्छ
uncomfortable.
हौ
Secret can actually get the angle to walk those nades over, roll it down the hillside. Spacing could be problematic.
ए अब
That's
कस्तो
what you were
सपोर्ट
talking
गर्ने
about, of course. Obviously, for Weibo, just a few
यसमा
steps
अब
ahead,
तलको
just
टिमलाई
tucked
सपोर्ट
in.
गर्ने
little bit covered to work with. At least you've got the detonated vehicles. It's actually for Eden that was the last man left for powder. So he's just over by 3
PS ले हान्नु पर्यो नि चिकन
It's very. This is why I'm saying, wow, what a shot coming through for Heden. A fair chance as well, and he took it immediately. This is what I mean for Regnum Kai. It's
Ideally,
very hard if you want to take shots down towards Weibo Gaming, but as soon as you leave this compound, you're in sight lines of Eden going forwards. That next circle doesn't cut Ida out either, so now Regnum Kai has to go with something very quick. They know the exact location of Alpha Gaming though. At this point,
एउटा चिकन हानेर त
feels like
सिधै
you're
माथि
gonna
हो
need a crash here for Regnum Kaya. Over towards that north side, I don't think it's going to be effective at all trying to wrap out over towards the east. He down though, maybe the chance on towards these two players, play behind the card cover, but then what chances do you have later in the game? That's the real issue. So it looks like they are going to roll out over towards this north side, as I was mentioning.
And as we've seen, Ida have been able to do so much from this position. This might actually give them an opportunity. Yeah, not engaging. Yeah, this is go time for both sides. Build off the back of this. Crash in, towards the compound, very close. Zizzy takes the brunt of the damage. Aaron priming another one as well. It's Doc C. He saw him. What's going on? Goes back in for a second. Finally shuts down Rita.
यिनीहरु त बाहिर गएर हान्नै पर्छ
Silas moving up top there, we'll find Silas, we'll pitch him up there as well. I mean, Regnum Kai
आइडिया को खेलाइ बिगार्दै एनएसले है
Galacticos, and they were doing damage, but they're out now.
लु कस्तो होल्ड गरेको यार
About Alpha for so long, the minute an opportunity was presented from the commotion thrown between this
Didn't
fight
they?
on
No,
your
they
screens, they
didn't.
go for it, but Alpha just absolutely upset. Goodbye Regnum Karia, it's
No,
now a bad
ulta
position for
there.
them to build from.
Not at all. I think Alpha Gaming played a bit of a blinder on that one, but blinding powder up to Regnum Kaya. Doc C moves up over towards Eden, finding Darkin, more DBS shot through the window, not quite connecting just yet. Molotov set through, Murnat will finish off top, on an explosion on the vehicle. They are just trying to hold on as much as possible here, and once again, it is Galacticos to make it through. This team is
सबै मजा टीएसले लोग्यो हैं
Your team secret as well. Playing that classic slow build, playing from distance, looking to third party onto this one. This elongated bout between Nonshin
WBC को चिकन जस्तो छ
dodge the explosives, but he can't dodge the slugs. That's the peak up for Doc C. The DBS finally able to finish him off, but at what cost? One player left, just him.
दामी हान्दै यार
It's me, Yangon Galacticos as well as Team Secret have some very favourable positions going in towards the future. They can effectively sort of ignore one another and rather take shots down towards that south side at teams that will be making their way up this hillside. I think it's going to be Zook with the bow in hand, sending shots in, making life extremely difficult for Doc C. He is on the low ground though, and Zook may be just sending in ammo for no reason.
ब्यान्डेज मात्रै रहेछ त्यसकोमा फेरि
I mean, with 20 arrows left, he could zone you for quite some time. Just make it
कलियुगको राम
impossible
चाहिँ
to
यही हो है फेरि
confront
केटा
him.
He's got to leave at some point
WBC
as
सुकलाई
well. It's the
कलियुगको
thing.
राम भन्ने हुन्छ है
Oh, they're getting close.
हेर्नु न अझै
Just
छिराइरहेको
consistent bombardment.
ए उतापट्टि रहन्छ
Doc C struggling. Now moving forward, Zook will see a nade come his way. A little bit upset about the nades coming down though. Might pivot off. Spots Doc C.
ओए कस्तो हान्ने यार
With
उता कभर दिइहाल्यो
the assault rifle as he is.
अर्डरको दामी नेट गयो त यार
The team will still make it happen away above.
वाइजीको चिकन भन्दै थियो नि मैले
Those two angles, like I said, it's an efficient
अर्डरले दामी हान्ने यार डक
between both teams, but it's an agreement, right? You both have an extremely strong position. Let's get rid of the teams that could cause problems for us later on before we engage in one-on-one combat.
Yeah, you know to prioritize first. Don't poke the hornet's nest until it's time to engage. Right with the move up.
यिनीहरु दुईजना पर्छ अन्त WBC
Damage back
हैन नि है
over.
WBC
Slapping him there. Forcing him into a bit of a rough spot. Three squads going head to head, of course. And Alpha Gaming only have the one man left alive. That's Reefus further down.
This will be the second game in a row
Mamma
that
there.
Alpha have been able to
Back
get
zone
some
by
body
that.
finish with a solo player towards these end circles. He's going to make a break for it. Murnat definitely saw him, was wondering why he went for that play. I don't think he had much choice in that situation. Muna actually pushed off that position as well, so it's unlucky he comes out at that timing. Tries will go down.
Shots back and forth, trades on either side. Intensity building, Cloud looking for the angle. Burnout from further to assist. They can focus fire on Frankie. Cauterize it and reset. 2 players alive, focusing on the pickup as well. Grab Romeo.
I mean, just make it as hard as possible. 3v1. There's absolutely no way the Jaiki should be able to get himself out of this one. We've got Galacticos starting to boom up, and the map is enveloped by space as they suffocate out the rest of the teams.
Not from gaming with me saying
Big chicken dinner. Not only against some of the hardest ones in the lobby,
it's nice and all.
Alter Ego and Regnum Kai, who sent their way up there earlier, who did get backstabbed by Alpha Gaming, but what can you say about that one? They knew where they were. There were some weird plays this game, but it was terrifying terrain to play around.
You see the celebration and elation from the team as well. Some nice solid slaps of the hands. Everyone congratulating one another. The arena starting to get excited as well with the way these games have been going. And yeah, they should be celebrating. They played some great games. Heads up maneuvers again as well. Some crazy stuff. It's a good point when you bring up that Alpha Gaming being able to drag that one out. Even that fight onto Regnum. Crazy scenes here, Blank, but the action keeps on going. Join us for more in a couple minutes' time.
कमेन्ट गरौ अलि भएन है खोइ कमेन्ट लगेर आऊ कमेन्ट ल दादाको लागि कमेन्ट 2 जना हो एकजनाले हेर्दा 14 लाख पुगेछ आजको टार्गेट कति हो तपाईँले ह्यासट्याग राख्नुपर्छ नि त्यो क्या अब ट्याग राख्नुपर्छ नि डिस्क्रिप्सनमा भिलेजको राम्रो देखाएको नि ह्यासट्याग यो ह्यासट्याग
Level up your gaming experience with over 8 billion playlists only on Spotify, the official audio streaming partner for the 2025 Esports World Cup.
Let's go, Hora. Sano, Orniki was fighting and it's okay. 6 watching you like us.
Watch party वाला दीजिए.
Wow, नागे लेकिन वो तार है ना किल है.
Watch party का watch party. हाँ. क्यों होना तुम? तो आएगा हो क्या? Yeah.
Yangon Galacticos blasting off at the speed of light. All the other teams better surrender now or prepare to fight. We have got ourselves 7 and Maxman here to talk about this victory from them. Coming in from Potato Hill, looking really cool, looking strong, taking out the previous winners from the previous games. Maxman, Yangon.
I think they're happy they had a very northern plane that was not good for them, because that allowed them to drop into Greats and George Bowl and actually get the northern rotate into the circle. And actually, there were very little teams going up in that northern position. We did have Ultra Ego eventually try and clash on Potato Hill itself, but the nade from Say Cloud in particular were key to claim all of Potato Hill for themselves and take the win at the end.
One of the slowest teams to rotate as well. They took their sweet time. I think at one point it was Circle 3. All the teams were just focusing on that center area, and Yangon Galacticos were the ones towards the north. I really enjoyed how they were able to surprise Alter Ego. Alter Ego was not expecting the team to be able to come up from behind them. And then, I mean, for Yangon Galacticos, I think they were waiting in Potato Hill. You were saying during that break too, while we were watching the game, they just waited for so long.
That's the scary thing about Potato Hill, right? Like, you can have multiple teams exist up there and them also have very decent defensive positions as well. So for Yangon, they took that fight perfectly against Alter Ego, who was going to be a huge threat. And then Team Secret moves in later on here, Max.
I mean, actually looking at Team Secret, they also had a really good match this time around. 11 points on the board. Again, a normally pretty silent team, but they were going quite aggressive here versus Yangon Galacticos, trying to push uphill, Potato Hill, claim all of the northeastern edge, and also keeping teams down low, such as Weibo, away from the fight. So actually, Team Secret, they showed me a little bit more than what we saw back in the group stage, which sets up a very good precedent here for the finals.
Yeah, for Team Secret, I would have actually loved them to commit to that fight against Yangon Galacticos, even though they were being able to control in Potato Hill. I don't know if you agree or disagree with me on this one, but ultimately, they were going to have to take that fight at one point or another.
I'm scared that if they take the fight onto Yangon Galacticos a little bit earlier, teams such as maybe Weibo can just full send it and third party that fight and just wrap up the chicken dinner. I do get why they were delaying it, but the more you delay it, the bigger advantage you're giving to Yangon, and then you just cannot win that fight anymore.
That says, whilst we took a look at the points, Alpha Gaming once again being able to get into some of the later stages of this match here, 7.
It came down to what they were able to do with the 4 vehicles. They had 4 vehicles being able to just create a big barrier. And on top of that, for this team, they kept getting blessed by the circle. They really didn't have to do much. They were able to just hold off a lot of people. And that's the scariest thing with this team. We know they have the fragging power. We know if they set themselves in a position where they actually have the full squad, they're going to be super scary, and they were able to showcase it perfectly in that scenario.
Yeah, I mean, if they're able to survive a little bit more like that every single match, that one big chicken dinner could set them apart from the rest of the lobby.
That's Yangon wall-to-wall for our match report here. Not too much surprise considering the space that they were able to control. Say Cloud, as you were mentioning before, Max, looking fantastic in this game.
Yeah, I mean, almost 1.4k damage right there. He is very high in that one angle.
He didn't make a noise.
Yeah, do the noise.
Wow! There you go.
I missed that.
I mean,
actually,
it's been actually over a year since I've been able to make a noise. So there you go.
it's been so long.
Next is going to be a jingle. We got to figure out a jingle.
I'll figure out a jingle. Don't you worry. I don't know before.
I thought it was going to be on the spot, man.
That would have been insane.
Look, we're seeing some replays actually of the Car 4 here from Alpha Gaming, and we don't have hovercraft. We've got hovercraft at home. It's just a 4-man, the 4-car fortress created on the edge of Potato Hill, and it was really good to get them in that podium finish at the end. The Notch and Red Force, I think that was a team that you and me both wanted to talk about here, actually, 7. Their breach onto Ida's Harry Potter Tower, I like the idea going for the breach, but it took so long to wrap up that fight. Big third parties from Weibo in particular did come through at the end.
That's the thing right there. I was talking about this too, the Fireflux and Nonchalant Red Force, especially with Nonchalant Red Force. I was talking about how this team just tends to play so slow that they might not be used to just making those quick pushes, and I felt like it showcased perfectly in that scenario right there. And then on top of that, for Fireflux, they were also trying to do a crash on WBG. They seemed like they got ahead too. They ended up getting a knock, but they were just too slow to react and ends up backing away. For this teams, they got to be able to adjust on how aggressive the lobby is.
I think Nungshin was happy to gamble on that compound, right? Because if it does go to that compound, the circle, then it's so hard for these teams to push into that. So they were also thinking about where they were going to transition and how they were going to transition, Max. It's just, it gets dicey trying to go up to the Wizard Tower, trying to do something there and keep yourself going in the late stage.
You cannot say the Nongshim don't know the terrain. They know in that specific circle, that compound with the 3 buildings is just
exceptionally strong and able to defend it quite well until the very end of the game. Then they do have to go onto the Harry Potter tower. So if we got teams that try and crash on those positions, I kind of want to pivot the conversation over to power.
Sure.
I think we're very indecisive. There are two options. Maybe you fight Regnum Karya, maybe you fight the side of Nongshim Red Force. They decide to send it in the center between those two teams, and unfortunately because of that, they just don't survive at all in the later stage. I think at that point, you pick a compound, you breach it, and you just hope for the best.
There's, of course, Al-Hajj's dad as power, as you mentioned in. It was kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of situation, Seven, right? Like, even if they choose another option that isn't that kind of road through the middle of those compounds, it's still going to be very difficult to make those crashes happen. But maybe it could have yielded more points.
It is. I feel like they would have just gone for the crash. At least you're not going to have so many teams looking at you. You're not going to be letting yourself open for so many third parties for this team. And the only thing is, like, we're able to kind of say this in hindsight, right? We're seeing everything that's going on. But for them, if they would have been able to make that crash with the firepower that they've been able to showcase in the previous stage and survival stage, I feel like they might have been able to edge them out.
Look, if we go for compound crash, or you went between Regnum Karya, Nongshim Red Force, and with the explosive bow is going to keep you I would take my chances on a compound crash.
I have a bone to pick with Suk and the explosive bow, because you and I have been talking about this for the longest time. I really enjoy it. But one thing that Suk needs to be able to do is make sure that he doesn't get tunnel vision. And I feel like that's exactly what was happening there in that scenario. He was just super tunnel vision, and then whenever he actually decided to go away from the explosive bow, he lost the focus, and the Nongshim Red Force guy was able to knock him.
Yeah, there was only so much you can do with that explosive bow, right? Like, he was just saying, okay, I don't know exactly where you are at that wizard tower, so I'm just going to spam into it. And as you said, that really has your full focus, your full attention, and then you just get knocked from the other side. It's problematic for sure.
I don't hate it. That's the thing. I don't hate it. I just wish that he wouldn't be so just over-focused on it. And it was good suppression, but the team wasn't able to get angles on the guy because they just had so much smokes.
Oh, wait. Is that today only?
3,000 damage from Al-Hajj. There's no way.
No.
They have this many eliminations?
I mean, they fought 4 thrives on the first game, right, going into Sanhok, and that survival time is very low. What is that?
We'll have to.
Anyway, moving on. Yeah, for sure. I mean, they could have tried to do something else. A little bit different, not going to be the way for power here, though. Beyond all of that, though, Max,
I have a team.
Please.
We want to talk about here.
Yes.
We're going to talk about 4 thrives. So yes,
Yeah, look, guys,
we had the hot drop in the first game. This time around, we talked about how indecisive they were. For me, this game, they weren't indecisive. They actually made a really good call trying to surround Falcons on the western side. They just got a little bit too excited about that fight, a little bit too involved, and they just wanted to rush it, and that caused their demise at the end versus Falcons.
And I feel like from that indecisiveness that we've been talking about during group stages, maybe that's why they became so impatient, because they're trying to change that, and I'm hoping that they don't end up overdoing it.
All right, well, let's get to it then. Let's see if all of these teams can put those learnings into practice for our second Erangel of the day.
Halfway point of the day, game 3 already. Some trials and tribulations for teams that were looking very dominant back in the group stage. Some good head-to-heads and some interesting PUBG Mobile up to this point. We've seen the crowd getting excited, rooting for their hometown heroes, seeing who's going to be able to walk away at the top of the standings today. Intense action, and you'd imagine a lot more of that to continue right here, right now.
I thought very amazing usage of the map and the terrain in general. Overall, I think it's a great point to pick up on there as well, where it is just a case of, even in those tough scenarios, a lot of teams know the best areas to play, how they want to move out. I think the big mistake from that last game was definitely Regnum Karya's push over towards that north side. I think that realistically they had to remove Alpha Gaming. And it was also quite frustrating to me because you know that when they made that pass in the vehicle and sent that nade through, they would have seen 70, 80 damage numbers coming up on their screen, but over 3 players. And at that point, I think I would have liked for them to go for a bit more of a Hail Mary on it, really, something very aggressive. If they'd removed Alpha Gaming, I think that their late game would have been very, very different.
Yeah, I felt like they were setting themselves up for a ton of success there. It was good timing on the call to actually commit to it as well, but that 5 versus Alpha completely turned the script. The difference, if you even cast your mind further back, the drive-by nade on the Scout, all of them left on what, you know, sub 12 HP, really. You could have converted on that. 1 knock probably would have been the go pistol for them, but ifs and or buts won't win you championships.
Here's like I was saying, they saw 370 hit markers. It's like, yeah, you should have probably went on that one. And I think you're right in the sense of maybe they would have done if they'd seen a knock.
Yeah.
There were only 2, but I think that scenario is you just have to take a chance on it. I think for Regnum Kaya, that's what is difficult for them, is that it is very obvious to me right now, very obvious to me right now that they're trying for a little bit more aggressive plays, more aggressive maneuvers, but there they were falling back into old habits.
No, they definitely were. They definitely were. Man, let's see. Maybe you can reset from it blank. They'll be able to get themselves into a better position to show us what they're made of and what they're capable of. For Yangon, they were certainly capable of greatness into that previous game, casting a shadow over the lobby. Out here, up against Thundertalks early on the drop. Bit of room to work with those. They could avoid the fight if they want to.
We're going to head down towards Sosnovka as well to start things off. So a lot of teams will need to get a move on. Power already heading out over that bridge, crossing it over towards Yangon and Thundertalks, who are currently in close contention at the moment. How that fight does pan out between those 2 teams. Yangon obviously coming off from a big high from that last game. We'll see if that momentum does bleed through. Power Esports going to send even higher to the heights from last game.
Seen some good signs from Power as well. You know, individually, I think the gun skill's certainly there today, playing to their strengths. Not in a bad spot whatsoever. Tied at the minute. This is back over towards our drop fight that we were mentioning, of course. Thundertalks out with the Tommy, teaching you lessons from distance. Where art thou, Romeo?
I think he should have just kept crawling. And get a moment of, if I stop crawling, maybe he'll miss the shots. Maybe I need to like fake him out a little bit. Instead, just made it extremely easy to line up that shot. Still impressive with the Tommy as well to hit at that distance. Origo aren't done yet either as they pick up an initial knock over towards Fireflux, which is one of their most difficult rotation contenders, right? Where Origo needs to come out from the Povka. I like that they send a player out early in Rosemary, I believe it is, who is a player that you would desperately want in your front line. It's Krypton, in fact, that sent out first, who has been stepping up, right, to the plate. So it's nice to see him get an initial knock, and that's going to make that rotation down towards the south much easier playing against a 3-man squad. That changes their rotation. It changes their plan on this entire map.
Scary as well for Fireflux as a roster overall. I think that squad, you know, we were sort of talking about this idea of being able to build your confidence, feed the hot hand, keep that momentum going. They've been hitting dead stops again and again, where it feels like, you know, the floor falls out from underneath them. They're not able to build themselves, not getting too late into these games, and that could come back to haunt them. You're just bullying on the exit as well. They're literally trying to retreat from this, and you still find a second knock into a full takedown on Say Clouds. Wow, that's a bit of a rough start, considering you've just taken your opening chicken dinner.
Yeah, King living up to the name of the weapon used there. Doing a nasty mark over towards Yangon Galacticos with the scar. There's that shot from... It was Rosemary, it wasn't from seeing things. But yes, a nice play from Rosemary there. Able to find the initial play coming through from Fireflux. And as Yangon Galacticos tried to escape, it's no secret that that kind of rotation is not going to go unpunished.
Felt rough to watch that one. Kind of uncomfortable, really.
With the tree line now, and Theros is going to send forward. It's a straight shot over towards him. Murnat likely to go out, and Yangon Galacticos, after what was an incredible performance last Erangel, do end up going out in 16th here in our second Erangel of the day. That could have been a moment to put up more points and add a bit of a buffer up towards the top side of the tables. Instead, it's all for naught here.
If you want to be squads as well, that are only a few points behind, your eyes are now going to light up. That's a prime opportunity, right, where you're thinking, okay, tied with Alpha, both having 23 points. You get no elims from that, no placements. We can start to lap you. We can start to climb further up that ladder. But at the halfway point of day one, only 3 days of intense competition here for playoffs, you have to grab the ball by the horns. You can't afford to leave it up to another team to decide your fate for you. So this is what we're going to see some of these squads start to reinvigorate themselves, potentially even the team that's on your screens now, right? 4 Thrives. A lot of debate, a lot of talk about this squad, how they're going to be looking. Amazing in the group stage. What plays can they make right here, right now?
Yeah, it has to be a big refresh coming through from 4 Thrives, because these last 2 games have felt hectic. And even now it feels like you could sense the pressure that is on 4 Thrives. They send away from this position. They might have wanted to challenge for it. They realise players are there, so they're going to look for something a bit more open for them. There's no way. Okay, I thought he hit him on the barrel roll. I mean, that's still impressive to get it out there and still make that shot happen. But if he hit him on the barrel roll, that would have probably been the play of the year so far. For 4 Thrives, yeah, they're looking for a more open area on the map. They're going to head over towards Airstrip to make that one work. For Alter Ego, though, this is an important game for them, in my opinion. Setting that marker really high early on in the tournament, super important, because with Smash ruling, day 1, day 2 become a bit of a sprint to get towards that top side, and at least get as close as possible to first place, or be in first place to open up match point on day 3.
It would be the dream scenario for them. And I think potentially even change the flow of the lobby with the paranoia that will set in when Smash comes to play. But right now, it's Koa that's on screen. Barrage of bullets goes out on the drive-by. DRX trapped in position here for the chip damage from 2 players. Trying to take some shots back, make it uneasy for them to just hold, locked in position on these angles.
I'm surprised QZZ actually got through there. Because he was snaking it a little bit, but the shot didn't seem too hard to hit. I think that he was playing so wobbly that he caught even Falcons off balance there. Now they have to send back over towards a more secure location. Can't afford to hold up DRX much longer. They're going to all jump in the water and rotate across to their buddy who is on the north coast. Only a couple of teams still yet to make their way in. It's Ida as well as Regnum Kaya. The upstarts from Turkey versus the Titans. Head-to-head here in Brozok. Both teams will need to leave soon, as there's a lot of squads already confirming up towards Sosnovka.
Played a quite a rotate as well for Alter Ego there, keeping themselves distance on the wrap round the back. And like you say, Regnicar and Ida potentially thrown into a bit of a fist fight. Maybe only one of them limps away. Limited space inside of the zone as well. Large body of water, removing play space between these teams.
Hora can just move across pretty comfortably as well. I don't think this is too treacherous for them. No Indiana Jones style time on that bridge right now as Scarface starts to move up towards the west. So this is a real easy rotate for them. For Regnicar, Ida, though, less of a ease. They could head over towards the coastal side on Erangel main island, swim across, or just send the vehicles in and try and play on that beachhead, which is definitely a possibility, especially as we start to move further north on this circle. Teams could try for that one. DRX had... It's just a surprisingly easy approach. Hardly any clapback coming through from the Falcons.
Vahiden from a distance, able to keep them pinned at bay on their rotate over. Meanwhile, you've seen in the elim feed that 4 Thrives took the fight straight to Team Secret, forced them out of position, but made it really uncomfortable here. Down to just a solo player, handling them with ease. Confirming onto those knocks as well, 1 by 1. So stealing away a couple of elimination points, which for them could be a good start to get them dialed into the actual action. Over from the sideline, that's the final steal onto Team Secret coming out from Thunderdogs.
Yeah, Secret are struggling. Yeah, they really couldn't figure out anywhere to go there. Constantly bumping into teams left, right, and center, and it turns out that over-aggressive push down over towards Yangon Galacticos is the thing to force that final nail in their coffin. Power still hitting some nasty shots over towards Weibo, playing on that coastal side. I mean, that drops Weibo now down to just the 2 players. Don't think they're getting Suk back up again. Al-Haji is going to wait for this fish to resurface.
He knows he's got to come up for air at some point. He can sit pretty and wait to finish that man off. So Power looking to just take away points where possible. He'll just commit to it. Left in the blue, gone for good, down in the deep depths.
Beckham Kai's still in Mondo? Or school now, actually. Crazy on the indecision whether happy to send straight out when it's around Rozhok area. But when it gets Sosnovka finished, they decide that they're going to stick on the northern side of the map for a long time. We'll see how they play this one. Because the play area is getting very limited now. Especially even over towards the north side of the map. Grandma's pretty much taken. Fireflux, the small compounds that are available on that side. Pretty much going to be playing around the tree line, but potentially over towards the western side, using that ridge as cover. As we do confirm even further over towards the north here. I think we're on zone 3 now, so the circle and blue will start to tickle quite a bit before we head towards stage 4, where it's advisable not to still be in that blue for too long.
You do wonder if that'll be a bit of paralysis by analysis there for Regnum Karia, taking a very slow approach this one. A snail's pace that could come back to bite them in the bottom. We'll see. They're starting to get a bit of a move on now, though, so the remaining squads on the periphery of the zone here, slowly advancing further forward. You were fragmented down towards the south side. It was a bit uncomfortable. A bit of a push up now. Alpha Gaming coming over, 4-5's in position there as well. Nongshing Red Force feels like they've been really willing to take a good majority of their fights, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see some sparks starting to fly, especially with this rotate coming in.
Nongshing Red Force has a real glint in there, right, during these games. An aggressive team, a hunger for team fights. You're right in the sense that they're a scary team to come up against because you just never know when they're going to pull that trigger. It might just be you that faces the ire of Nongshim Red Force in the end. Falcons find themselves a nice central position on this circle, though. We'll see what they can get done with it. Usually, Falcons can find themselves up towards a late game with 4 players. Tend to do quite well. It's that interim period of getting to around about zone 7, which is very shaky on the side of Falcons. There's some big nerves before they lock in.
Ragnar here priming the nade. Alley-oop over the top. Oh, the bounce on it. Oh, he's been eating nitro for breakfast. Blows them away.
That is crazy. Crazy of a nade. The arc on that one as well. Dear me.
You love to see it. The Power fans are going to have their eyes light up at that one. Already 4 eliminations for the squad. Top of the charts at the minute in the lobby. In a good position to keep building. Especially with Yangon going out early as well. There's room for Power to ebb and flow their way through the standings. Hora turning their attention back round. That's Moana from Alter Ego that takes a knock.
Alter Ego's always going to struggle. They have to play all the way to the eastern side. A lot of the areas were taken. They dropped the Rosemary's worried whether this is even worth going for the res on this. Starts to back out. Rosemary tries to crawl back through that smoke. It does feel like a little bit of an abandoned ship here for him. And Sleepy will draw him low and put him back to sleep. Not sure what Irina's game plan's been, but they have taken a nasty punishment on that south side. One player even going down towards the blue there. Get a replay on this one because this was disgusting. They lined up at the right time, start to turn it. Pretty much as they turn, the nade fumbles through the window.
Very Maxim-esque on the nade. Maxman's going to be loving that one. Thalak getting thrown into the action here as well. It's Alpha Gaming taking some serious damage. Continuing to attempt to put themselves into a position where they feel handy. But it's always going to be an issue for Alter Ego as well. Power ahead of the wide buff. Kick off the engagement. It's the third
What's
party as
the
well.
yिनीहरु त
Fireflux being able to find damage from the back line.
रोजमर्रा कसले
So he's
finish
suffering
तीनटा टिम
now.
रहेछ क्या
That was
MP
unreal.
Yeah.
Steps out onto the side seat. Will find one. Rosemary gives his life for the rest of the team to get further into the circle. And Fireflux will take the reins off the back of that fight versus Power. Now down to 3 players, but 5 elims. Not a bad start for them this game. Heading up towards 15 minutes into this one.
Powerले त किल उठाएको छ त
He's off
5 किल भइसक्यो भने
Bullets just whizzing
दुएललाई नै
by.
हान्दियो फेरि
None of them connecting, and the problem is that opens an opportunity for the counterplay from Power. So instantly on target, they respond back over and stop what could have been a hell of a scorer there from Fireflux. Instead, in reality, it's just catch. At least he's got some
यो गाडी
of the
बोकेर
armor
जानु
to
गाह्रो
work
छ
with diving inside the hovercraft, but he's got to piece out, got to give up the goose.
यो लाग्दैन यो
That could have been a great third fight.
जमिनमा नि
It
हुन्छ
could have been an amazing third
गा-
fight.
पानीमा
You're
नि
right
हुन्छ
in terms of the roaming wall.
FF
In
त
the
गइहाल्यो नि
hovercraft being the biggest boon here for him. Has to wander
माथिबाट
back, let it
हानिहाल्छ अब
explode. This is not the most ideal location for him to end up.
एपिजी को किल उ कलम
These shots coming through from earlier.
अर्कोलाई नै हानिदिन्छ क्या आम्मामा उनीहरू पिक हेर्नु न त्यसको
Again,
फेरि
such a precise player. Never over-egging the pudding as well when it
त्यो
comes
त 18
to
वर्ष
those
पुगेको छैन
peaks.
होला फल
Really, really nice to watch when he's on form.
Yeah, playing the angle perfectly, like you say, it's the peaks. Really nicely played for him. Kimmy himself in
Well,
combat,
the
taking
lane
some clean
bomb
firefights.
Top
This
le
might be
1v4
anything
हाल्नु
but
सक्छ
clean. Close quarters engagement. The shot from the side, good for
पछाडिबाट
one,
आइदियो
but
नि
the
है
backstab from Silas at least stops it before it got out of hand. He was able to find even more damage there. Suddenly you're thinking,
तीनटा स्क्वाड आउँदा नि होल्ड गर्दै क्या
Miramar should be able to build. And again, actually, it's
Doc
interesting to
heर्नु
see
न
how
बेचारा
Kari to play this one out. It's a far slower game from them. They're in the forefront of it now. That chase has not stopped at all as well. Power going from target to target. Everyone running them down. It's fun to talk again now, pushing up. They've got angles, but smoke's down to provide some cover for the quick
एटलिस्ट
heals.
6 पोइन्ट भए नि
Good
निकाल्नु
elim count though so far, 7, highest in the lobby. Fourth drive is just 1 elim behind that. Singh's going to move forward over towards Al-Haji, confirmed towards him. Gets caught underneath the wheel,
हो र कहाँ छौ
wrapped up in burnt rubber.
जोनमै रहेछ हैन
Thunderhawk sent back
अब
over
जोन
towards the
आयो
rest of
नि
the team. Another shift on the circle here. Ragnar Kai do need to move out.
के हो यो
Right,
बिचमा
you're
कतिजना
right, they were laying the brickwork on the south side for a better match here, but it is Nongshim Red Force, Alter Ego, Weibo, all controlling
Hora
this
गयो
high ground. It is a very fun circle to end up on. A lot of cheeky maneuvers that are available here.
हो र गयो यस्तो लाग्यो यार मलाई अब
Way down with the
कि त
nades.
ड्याममै स्ल्याम हानेर हान्नु पर्यो है
Just slightly off target. The problem is you've got a few establishing shots that have been fired in from the back as well, with Falcons taking a bit of a scout onto it, trying to spread themselves thinner to keep the pressure on. Ragnar with the spot in the vehicle, quick scout makes his move back so they can play as a duo still and work off one another. Actually gets the drive-by. The bonnet is enough. And Thundertalk's losing so much from this.
Goodness me, I mean, Power doing that on their own as well versus Thundertalks is
कम्पाउन्ड त
very,
पुस्तो
very
गर्दैन त्यो डाँडापट्टि जान्छ
impressive. They had that number for such a long time, but we switched mobiles there and
बरु यहाँ फ्याल्कमकोमा डाइरेक्ट पुस गर्दै हुन्छ है
Ragnar Kai looks to send up the head over towards Ida once again. It feels like these two Turkish teams consistently take tumbles against one another.
छिर्यो क्या जोन हालो
छिरिहाल्छ नि यही रहेछ
अल्टर अघि लो अल्टरको यहाँ
Sent
भनेको
far over towards Alter
तीनटा टिम छ हौ एनएस कोमा गयो
as
फेरि
well as Krypton.
द किट चाहिदियो
साइलस हेर्नु न कस्तो खेल्छ
At the heel for Krypton is enough to shut him down. An instant connection from Silas onto Alpha as well.
स्लिपीले हाने फ्याल्कनलाई
It's up late. You're saying, look, they're going to cast round towards Ida. Instead, they avoid that cut, center circle, straight past.
4v3 हैन अब
Shut down a big squad there as well. Stop them from stealing away points.
And get a fairly decent position. We know how much Ragnar Kaya do like their ditches. So, like you say, they do avoid the Turkish tussle over towards the western side and instead confirm on a very, very central position. Ragnar Kaya down in 12th place right now. 4 points total with just the 3 elims on this game. They desperately need a big
यिनीहरू त भाग्यो त
if they want to stay in the conversation over towards the top side of the lobby.
जोन त दामी बनाएछ त है ओराले
गराउँछ नि त अलग यो गेममा त डोमिनेसन हान्छ होला
5 किल भइसक्यो नि
5 elims for Falak as well. I mean, he is
एक्लै
going
5 किल हान्यो
this game. It makes sense as well. I mean, he's always been such a strong player on the squad. Ragnar steps up, Falak won't quite find him, but 8 nades to work with. Yeah, he's probably got
Such an easy lineup as well. Only took one, still 7 in the back pocket for play late.
This is the queue, 10 kill haन्छ के हो
That's rubber in arms, finished off. Falak certainly showing us what he's made of, and the Falcons still attempting to find opportunities to scramble some points away on this one.
Top 4 are all out, so this is a great opportunity for the teams that need to equalize now with
Damn!
thrives as well. Which is phenomenal, by the way. 6 of them on Falak so far, and he looks to push that number up slightly, just a little bit. Just found that knock. Look, they explode the vehicle instead. It's Noki.
मेरो साथीहरुलाई हान्यो चाहिँ हान भन्ने होला
but they turn tail and run.
अब मोर्छ अब त गयो दुई जना गयो ओइ कस्तो बाँच्यो त्यो गयो अन्त आ 40 र हो र 40 हल्ले एकैछिनमा वाइप हान्दियो
4 thrives as well. The nade play has been wonderful to watch. 4 players sweeping in from that eastern side, and from fight to fight, they've looked strong. Not really big response their way. One-sided argument. 4 thrives so far. He's been sent over now to DRX. On the northeast side, Regnum Kaya much more concerned right now with the beast lying in wait on the east side of 4 thrives.
That's what we wanted to see. 4 thrives, not just surviving, but like we've said time and time again, absolutely in the lobby, living up to their old tricks, showing us the powerhouse that they could really be. Hora here, trapped in motion versus DRX as well, no fear. He bails out, quick move, Silas still finding impact in the Elim feed as another squad feels the wrath of Regnum Kaya.
33Z going down, now we're in a full-on brawl.
Soon between as well
as Regnum Kaya, but it's Hora coming in from that northern edge. T24 immediately passes that information back, and Noki will stand at the forefront as the vanguard versus Hora. IQ playing far back down towards the southeast, trying to gather some information up towards Regnum Kaya. And all the while, Nongshan Red Force has been inside there.
#1 मै आउँछ होला अब त यो चिकन खायो
स्काइलाई चाहिँ उतो नरवालोले गस्दिन्छ अब
40 र हो र
Really haven't had to do too much whatsoever to get closer and closer towards some sweet
ओइ नो फियरले फलक लान्दै
points on this one.
नरवालोले स्काइलाई हान्नु भयो अब हेर्नु नि त्यहाँ मजाले भयो
Tearing his way through everyone in this
हामी
lobby.
किन एग्रेसिभ
But now
भएको
you've got to play medic if you want to save him. IQ from the side hits back
Look.
on the sky, sleeping, closing the gap with the scout in play. Bails out.
ओइ दाम नि यार
All the shots
कोडा हान्दै यार
sleeping
त गड हो यार
on this one now.
थर्ड पार्टी आयो नि
Steal away some of these elims.
Wait, man,
We'll find a
Puri.
couple, and Wild will find another knock. Falcons
Yes,
go down
DRX.
to DRX as they try to get
हाम्रो दुईजना छ
involved in
अझै
this one.
किल पाए नि हैन हामीले
Kaya taking that opportunity. It's a perfect opportunity for them to swing round on that southeast edge. They want to clear as
दाम यार स्लिपी त गड खेल्दै छ यार
move back over towards Hora here. And for Regnum Kaya, that
Oh,
was
दामी,
a
दामी,
lovely
दामी।
trade for them.
त्यो त गडै खेल्दै छ यार
Hora going to be dropping the hoorah as the energy's there.
दुईजना गयो
यसले खेले के यो पाली त है वर्ल्ड
Reset from the angles that
स्काई
were in
चलेन
play.
नि
Sleepy and
इन्टरनेसनल
no fear. A split up. Hyunbin finding impact back over onto Ida as well, and this story continues. The
DRX बाट ल्याएर दामी गरे नि है होराले सिपीलाई
and Nongshan Red Force finally. They get thrown a bit of a deathly blow.
4 पोइन्ट पाए ठिकै छ त प्लेसमेन्ट पाइहाल्छ अब एटलिस्ट 8 पोइन्ट चाहिँ निकाल्नु पर्यो
Handle and keep them at bay here.
चिकनै खानु सक्छ नि
As
केटा
we get through it towards our next circles.
उनीहरु
Both
परेर
teams
क्याजुअल्टी
desperate for
भयो
this one to move away from Nongshan Red Force.
जोनले दिएन नि
Winning ever. Directly on top of them, and realistically,
उनीहरु चाहिँ पढ्नु पर्यो है
they're playing for second now. Nongshan Red Force, as aggressive team as they are, will just have to bide their time. They're going to have to sit
DRX लाई
still.
अघि पेलेको भए हेर्नु
Just
दामी जोन
make
पाउँथ्यो
sure that blood doesn't thump too hard, and they get the signal to send out of the building with the rage.
किल
that
पनि
is
पाउँथ्यो अहिले 8 किल
building.
हुन्थ्यो होला
Getting ants in your pants at a time like this could be the worst outcome
नो
for
फियर
them.
तर नो फियर स्लिपी राम्रो राम्रो
Gotta
प्लेयर
say, I mean, props to Regnum Kaya, very proactive heads-up gameplay right now with fights that they've been willing to take. They started slow, but they have not stopped since they found momentum. Nades being thrown back out as well, trying to get that one on target down towards Hora. DRX ushered further forward, slowly advancing, looking to play off one another with cover. Sleepy in the vehicle makes a move. Ida still getting hit by the play zone as well.
DRX ला अघि पेल्नु पर्छ हैन अहिले उल्टा पेल्दिन्छ
here. Regnum Kai is trying to slow things down. Thinking they're looking for that second place here. They know they need to get the placement as well as the elims. It's tough for them. It's difficult. Aaron, start play coming through from Ida. Wanders through onto that western side. Will make a quick sweep before making the pit stop on the northwest side of Nongshim Red Force. Nade just stopped short there of Hora. Karia's got a different prey on their mind, looking over towards Nongshim Red Force, trying to see if they can find a singular knock before take that task to them.
Aaron can just keep his nose clean as well. He just tucks himself in position. Straight down the middle. Here's the push up though from Regnum Karia. Instant engagement from Loxley. Locks on and Sleepy is down and out. No fear. So much damage done from the engagement.
It's going to be a long nade, by the way. He's sending here. I don't think it's going to go far enough. I think you're best off holding these nades for the initial push that's going to happen over towards Nongshim Red Force, and that is good resource control there from Regnum Kai. You can see Wild's got 3 nades, Exilus had 6, but they don't want to expend too many here versus No Fear. They definitely have some that are expendable, but they need them if they want to push over. But it's good to know that there is at least a plan in mind of Regnum Kai of how they're going to assault this building.
Aaron as well, throwing out nades on the push-up from Gumbith. That's what I was saying. He tucked himself into an angle to actually keep comfortable. Nongshim Red Force baited into this one potentially, though. Looking for a look over the top of the ridge. Aaron trying to keep himself down. Nades coming in. First's on target. Follow-up's good. Doxy dismantles Ida. They're out of the running now.
There is a slight distraction here. Through towards Nongshim. I think that Regnum Kai is going to try and play this one out for Zone 9, honestly, and hope that this is not central. I don't think it is, and will force Nongshim Red Force out. But Toshpik sends it first, and will manage to get towards the backside here. Nongshim Red Force weren't able to control it, and Nongshim Red Force, they see red. They move out of the building, and Regnum Kai has picked up position.
DRX are dealing damage and handling themselves up close and personal. For Sononshin, it's going wrong. Binny now with a thin veil of smoke to protect himself, but look at all of the nades. Everyone priming these from the top of the roof, dashing them down. They had such a power play position for so damn long, but the minute they advance, DRX makes it uncomfortable. And Binny, you're living on borrowed time. Regnum Karia, if they find this one, they're setting themselves up for a huge chicken dinner.
Plenty more eliminations to be found here for Regnum Karia. Like we said before, they've been holding on to these resources. They knew the angle they'd need to take. Silas goes down, but not before a nade set through. Since he was out, and it will be Regnum Karia looking for the big finish here versus DRX Jackie.
They just need that final knock. Convert this one, close it down. The slow build-up. Oh, and that's enough. All it takes, the push-up from the zone, being the 5th man in the lobby for Regnum Karia, as they're able to convert that one. A great game, good decision-making. The third parties were on point, and they walk away with a chicken dinner here in the playoffs.
It's a big game for them, a much-needed match. The top 4 went out early as well, as we talked about, so this will bump Regnum Karia back up towards that top side of the tables. But for Nongshim Red Force, like we said, that force from them builds quite a bit. The rage needs to be contained. They can't always be looking for these massively aggressive plays. They could sit still for a little bit longer, but that leg was jiggling, and they wanted to get it moving.
Yeah, baited out by the last man from Ida. Aaron just behind the box. Causes problems against DRX. They swoop in, thinking we could just clean up on this one, take it all home. But it was not a spilled drink. They did not clean it easy. And it presented opportunities for this team on your screens to run away with it.
Regnum Karia make it messy towards the end zone. But we're going to clean up right now, and we'll take you to a break, in which case we'll come back with the desk.
साइडमा ठिक छ अब एउटा इराइभल यतिकै अब इराइभललाई एटलिस्ट हपुँदै तान्दैछु है मिरामारमा एउटा चिकन दिएर सकिहाल्यो टपमा त टप 5 भित्र आउँछ एटलिस्ट मलाई चाहिँ फर्स्ट पेजमा चाहिँ आउट भइरहेको थियो टप 8 7 क्या होइन सेकेन्ड पेज
This land is calling.
आयो बोल्नु तपाईँ यहाँ बिचमा बस्नु न एन्टरटेन गर्नु छ
Pulsar Legionnaire available now. First outfit with special head animations and voice lines. The Pulsar Legionnaire set comes with its own super cute voice lines that can be toggled on or off. It also features the upgradable Hyperion ship DSR. And Jet Reaver glider with special animations. Experience parachuting like never before. That's not all. Even more rewards await. July 25th, 2025 through August 26th, 2025. What are you waiting for? Get the new guild set now.
Regnum Carrier capitalizes on the entire nation of South Korea and is able to wrestle away, barely wrestle away, that compound there from Nongshim Red Force to get themselves the victory. Joining me, Neptura, as well as Seven, to talk about this one. Neptura, this raises some questions, but Regnum Carrier looking strong.
They are looking strong. After a confusing start, for me personally, they are looking very, very strong indeed. I'm not sure what was happening in the early game. They were still in Rosshawk in phase 2, still in the blue, still out there in phase 3 even. But I actually really like their wide wrap around, and it really set them off for the rest of the game.
I mean, you got to give credit to Regnum Carrier. Even though they did end up rotating late, I really enjoyed the crashes that they were able to do. This team was just really confident. They were able to crash on 2 players from APG. After that, they made sure that they made 4Thrives actually back off, and that's what's ultimately a bit of 4Thrives demise there, because they don't want to take over Regnum Carrier. But looking at the overall, the match ranking here, the RX still being able to put up some points.
Yeah, very impressive by them on the north side. They were fighting, I think it's fair to say. Okay, let's just instantly address it. Yes. Nongshim Red Force, I think team. It's 7 points from that here, 7. It's a bit of a disaster considering what you should have been able to get from this game.
Yeah, you're an evil person. You would send it to me too, because man, I was fuming as soon as I saw this team leave the compound after not doing absolutely a damn thing throughout the whole match, saying this is why this team is so passive. You were saying it perfectly too, Cal. You thought that this team was going to end up maybe a little bit scared of getting sandwiched, but even then, just try to use that utility. There was already so many smokes there on that compound, and you decide to give the high ground to Regnum Karya of all teams?
The green room was in shambles, weren't we? When they made that play, it was like, what are you doing? I mean, if you want to go for a harebrained push like that, at least just use 2. If you're going to go, oh, it costs knocks onto DRX. No, I don't agree with it at all. But I would agree with it better than sending all 4 off of those houses. It shouldn't have been done in the first place, but it is what it is. And Regnum Karya, I will say Regnum Karya's timing on that, as soon as they saw, hang on a second, they've made a massive blunder. We can take advantage of this. They full sent to that. It was really, really nicely played from them. I do want to go very quickly back to Regnum, though, because that initial south rotation early on in the game, it actually was a really good play for them because they were able to come up behind 4 Thrives, behind APG as well. And as those teams moved up and got fought on that hillside, they were actually able to come up and sandwich behind them. So it was actually really well set up from them as well. So coming in through that and then getting all that momentum, third-partying everything they could find up against a Nongshim who hasn't done anything all game except sit in a compound and then make a mistake. I mean, it was a very easy win for them.
Yeah, for Regnum Karya, it just came down to that aggression that they were showing throughout the match. But let's go back to Nongshim Red Force. Yeah. You were talking about maybe sending 2. Don't send in anybody. No. What are you doing? What are you doing giving your high ground to another team? And if they were going to be wanting to do anything, we're actually talking about this, maybe try to set up a player on the roof of that compound because you already have utility. You didn't have to do anything throughout the match. You can use that utility to defend yourself from DRX and be ready for any type of push that Regnum Karya was going to have to do on you.
If anything, it would have yielded more elims. Never mind a potential win or something like that. But anyway, that's by the by. Other teams that we want to focus on as well. Good old 4 Thrives. The team that Mr. 7 did pick do well. Talk to me.
I mean, it was just an amazing play out of this team. Being able to rotate early on to the southwest of the military island. After that, they were able to spot that APG had moved on. And I think this is one thing that Max and I were talking about throughout the match. We were expecting APG to actually be in military apartments. They gave that up, and 4 Thrives was able to take full advantage of it. You can see exactly why, as Falak was able to get 6 eliminations, and I actually enjoyed what Falak was doing. He still overextended a little bit there towards the end. The team was a bit too split, and Hora ended up just capitalizing on that. But before that, they were just being proactive. They were showing the aggression that we have seen out of this team in group stage.
Yeah, I mean, for example, I really liked Falak's nade over onto Power, right? Was it Ragnar, the last player? He actually, with that nade, not only got rid of a team, but he opened up a position for his own team, right? So they were able to push on top of that. So he, even though he does overextend just a little bit, he's doing so much for his team as an entry point.
Well, if you want to extend on that too, this team kept on sweeping. That's what I enjoyed, wanting to gain control. And if we talk about sweeping, one team that was able to do that great was Power.
Yeah, they were looking good. They were looking good for it. But I'm getting word that we are ready to head over to Barney, who is actually with Suk from Weibo after their couple of games here for the grand final.
Back to the main stage where I've got Suk here from Weibo Gaming. We are 3 maps into day 1 of the grand finals and things are starting to heat up already. Suk, first thing I want to ask you, it's the grand finals. You guys are performing pretty well straight off the bat. I want to ask you how you feel like your games are going so far, what can be improved on and what's going well.
首先就是你们现在已经到了总决赛嘛，然后在总决赛当中，你们今天一开始的时候感觉状态还是挺好的，就是打的成绩也不错。就想问你个人来讲的话，你觉得你今天发挥怎么样呢？哪里有什么要进步的，以及要调整的吗？
还好，只不过我们在世界赛这个舞台好像有一些困难需要去克服，就比如对于对手他的一些不按套路出牌，然后他们可能做出一些针对，比如说我们上一把的海岛在机场被 Power 所针对了一下，因为正常情况下他一个 M 层队伍可能会去正常运营，但是他选择来到海边堵我们一个 P 港进圈的路线。所以我们可能在接下来比赛会去着重往这方面去优化。
Well, it's we have done pretty well so far, but we do feel like you know, this is the grand finals, this is the main stage. We are noticing that some of the other teams are obviously doing at least strategizing around us. Like for example, in the last map, Angel, when we landed at the airport, I think P team they were they are a team that usually lands in like an MCD or something, and then they
Ek ghanta
actually
lagi
came over to airport with us, and they kind of targeted us. So we kind of need to adapt around that. We need to make sure that we are more.
साह्रै ह्यान्डसम छ तर है क्यामेरा आउनु अनि भ्युज तपाईँ आयो है
You sound like you know what's going on. I think that something I need to mention as well, something that's been really amazing to see here in the Qiddiya Esports Arena, is how many Chinese fans that we have in the crowd. It's been so amazing to see. How does it feel having this kind of national support here at the Esports World Cup? And is there anything you'd like to say to them?
现在你到这个舞台上面呢，也有来了很多中国粉丝到现场来支持你们，你有什么话想跟就是你现在感觉怎么样？有这些粉丝在这边在现场能支持你，以及有什么话想跟他们说的吗？
无需多言 I love you
I understood.
Guys, comment down below.
Thank you so much for joining us in this interview, Cirque. You're doing really well so far, but obviously we've got 3 more maps today, and of course the rest of the weekend to see if you guys can prove yourself and lift that trophy. But for now, let's head back to you guys.
हाम्रो 1000 सब्स्क्राइबर
Well, there you have it. There is Cirque giving us some info about what's going on in Weibo at the moment here, but let's talk about some of the other teams from these Erangels, of course. Hora, they were able to put themselves in a better position, I feel, compared to the previous games.
I have to agree. I think they actually did a really, really good job. Not only positioning themselves correctly, but also being more aggressive with these things, you know. We saw some really great pushes, some really good timings from really good third parties, and I am willing to predict that they will win a game today. Because that's how they're looking.
We'll go back on Hora in a bit. I'm actually impressed that just first place to 8th place. Only beats everyone by 8 points.
This might be the closest first 3 games we have ever had at an international.
Before we even move on, I want you to take a look at Power. Points are just coming in from eliminations. I've never seen that before, especially for a team that's in top 4.
Well, it's consistent with their brand, right? Because let's be real, in the, I think it was either group stage or survival, I think it was like 40 elims compared to about 10 or 15 placement points. So we know that they can frag out. And usually Neptura, as we take a look through a 9th and 16th, when a team is able to frag out like that, eventually placement points will come. So maybe this is a good omen for Power.
I should hope so. I really enjoyed how they played so far today. I do agree that I think we are going to see probably a lot more placements coming their way because we've seen it from them before as well, haven't we? Certainly in the survival stage, they were doing a lot in terms of those placement points, really able to control those end zones and getting a win a lot of the time. So it's bound to happen.
The way that they've been aggressive, that's what was impressive to me in that last match. The way that they were able to spread out, they were showing us exactly how they were able to play in survival stage, making sure they had those big splits, get a big area on the zone, and going to Hora, they're pretty much doing the same thing too. They were having 1-2-1 splits that worked out wonders for them, and at the end, took them 5 to 4 drives and actually won it until they got their party.
I've been impressed by their glow up from group stage through into survival stage and now here in the final. Let's see if they can continue it as well. But also, we have another opportunity for you guys at home to be involved, because starting from August the 1st, that's today, we have the PDP Global Fashion Icon Contest officially kicking off. So, the cool thing about this competition is it accepts both in-game outfit design submissions, as well as people participating by showcasing their real-life outfits for you guys to wear at home in real life as well. So use your sense of fashion to influence the world, and the total prize pool can reach up to $120,000. To participate or view detailed rules, please visit the PDP section on the official PUBG Mobile website or follow the official social media accounts. Exciting stuff. I think 7, you've got a great fashion sense. You could win. I'm just lying, of course. All right, well, let's head on over to Barney now, as well as Veracity. They're ready to kick off the half-time.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Qiddiya Esports Arena, where we are halfway through day 1 of the grand finals, and things are really starting to heat up. The spectacle is growing. We've had some amazing performances so far, and it's starting to heat up Veracity.
It certainly is, Barney. I'm super excited for the first day of our grand finals here in the Qiddiya Esports Arena. We've had some fantastic games so far.
We have, haven't we? I'm buzzing. So, map number 1, Power started extremely strong. 6 eliminations on the board, but only 1 player remained, and it was easy, securing a further 3 eliminations, bringing their total to 9. But the final face-off was between Alter Ego Esports and Alter Ego Ares, in fact, let's get it right, and Ida Esports. Alter Ego managing to secure the winner-winner chicken dinner and 23 points on the board.
You know what, though, Barney? In match 2, we saw an incredibly defensive team. Falcons come coming on through, which was a far cry from the performance of top 3 placements we saw coming out from them during the survival stage. However, our final fight saw Yangon Galacticos and Team Secret going head-to-head, with Yangon Galacticos walking away victorious in that one with 12 eliminations under their belt. Pick it up there, Barney.
Yeah, you know what? I'm actually starting to like it. Not bothered.
All right, in which case we'll go ahead and leave you up there. Match 3, however, with Yangon Galacticos having a giant target on their back, they were understandably the very first team to get eliminated during that one. It was grenades galore all throughout the match. However, for Four Thrives and Power Esports, each of those teams had 10 eliminations each, but unfortunately neither of them were able to make it to the final stages of the match. Instead, however, we saw Regnum Caria walking away with a winner-winner chicken dinner. How about that one?
You know that this is over for now. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time to get ready for map number 4.
Like subscribe गरिहाल्नु त केटा हो यहाँ
लाइक सब्स्क्राइब गर्नु पर्यो केटा हो
पिसिएमा पनि सपोर्ट गरेर अलिअलि होइन हो र होइन क्या हो र नै हो होइन हो र होइन यो केटीको आवाज धेरै आयो क्या बुझिसकेँ मैले मेरो भाइ चिन्ता नगर्नु यहाँ होरले आवाज अब चिकन हान्छ हेर्नु यहाँ दाइहरूले हेरेपछि यहाँ
सब्स्क्राइब चाहिँ गर्नु पर्यो केटा
जोनमा म छिराइहाल्छु नि
यहाँ बसेर जोनमा छिराउँछ
I don't know, maybe some grand final nerves starting to come out.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say that Nongshim Red Bull's decisions were at best questionable in those final moments. They were having a bit of a nightmare in that final scenario. Very quiet all game. They were timid and hiding behind the curtains.
Nice, able
to sweep them up. It has been
Haan, Hora, Haan हुनु पर्यो है
as they are. It is very, very close towards the top side. There is no clear front runner right now. Even if
अब गेम सुरु भइसक्यो मा
सुरु भयो अब हामी है
रेडी रेडी ल
उहिले हान्नु पर्छ हौ थाहा छ सोच्नु होला
and he's allowed back to the green room. He can have a drink of water, get refreshed because it is about to get
WBC लाई चाहिँ हान्नु पर्छ के 1v4 यहाँ चाहिँ चम्किन्छ केटाहरु
बिस्तारै हैन भाइ यो पाइले त गाड पुसिङ गरे हान्छ सब हेर्नु
जोन चाहिँ दिनु पर्यो
कसैको पनि टाउकोमा हेलमेटै हुँदैन
स्लिपीका उ यहाँ स्लिपीले दामी खेल्दैछ यार
स्लिपीको 4 किलो हाने हेर्यो नि तिमीले कस्तो हाने फर्ममा आइसक्यो स्लिपी केटा यो स्काई चले हेर्नु न हामी टपमा हुन्थ्यौ आज स्काई खोइ के गरे गरे सिरेकलाई खोइ त भन्दै जो
म यहाँ केटा हो यहाँ
ई सेवा नि त्यही छ सिरेकको
कोले 1-2 रुपैयाँ चाहिँ नहालै सिरेक
आउन त बिचमा
एक दिन बेत त बेजती गर्न दुखी हान्ने हो
उ टोपी खोल्नु 500 रुपैयाँ हाल्दिन्छु भनिरहेको
हैन सिरेकले टोपी खोल्दैन
100 रुपैयाँ नि हाल्दैन
1000 रुपैयाँ
Of course, you've got 18 matches left to play. It's a longer set than the 12 we've been used to seeing for each of our teams over the survival stage. Over the stages as well. A little bit more leeway.
बनाउन को तिम्रो नेसो मेसेज गराउ के भनेछ बनाउ यहाँ गफ गर्दै हान्नु
Hopefully they can pick up the pace here in match number 4 on the day. As our top players do.
धन्न INF क्वालिफाई भएन थाहा छ अब यसमा
टप प्लेयर हेर स्लिपी आइसक्यो लङलेस्ट एलिमिनेसन
जोन त राम्रै छ त हटाबाट लुट्यो यता आइज है जोन त दामी पर्यो
सब्स्क्राइब गराउ त हाम्रो 140 छ यार के गरे तिमीले सब्स्क्राइब गर्न सबले
land down over at military. Maybe we throw in a third, but you do have to kind of start thinking ahead of the game. That Western might be a bit spicy, but here to not. Oh, what do we see?
Fireflies and Hora both will come into contact with one another on their hot drop, but on those vehicles they are going to get contested. At the moment there is a knock sent over towards Hora.
गाडी ल्याउँदा
Playing on as 3 as they have had a player
REG
down and out. That is not good news to kick things off, especially given where the circle is falling.
Yeah, without a doubt. Fireflux especially being all the way at the bottom. I feel they have had some shining moments throughout our tournament, but today they feel very flat and already losing a player is going to push them back even further again. Looks to be getting to the fight, so that's going to be good news for them. A team again that's performed very well previous days. Looking to step it up here. Sleepy is going to be split off in the distance, luckily for him. He's going to be just fine. Nobody looking to contest. Relatively close. Now, we did notice one of the interesting things about Power is no placement points, but they're still up there in the top 4 because of the eliminations.
Maybe another elim for Ida, but no, not quite able to connect. Yeah, absolutely correct. The Dex was highlighting it as well, of course.
Nice get out. Badaunu पर्यो subscriber. Like पनि बढा, like पनि ठोका.
Still being in the top 5.
17 ठिक छ आज हामी 50 प्रोमोटर लाइक यार बोलाउने यसो इन्भाइट गराउने यार त्यो अरूहरुको टट्टुहरुको हेर्नु भन्दा हाम्रो खतरा छ नि
नेपाल गएर हैन
अरूको हेर्नु भन्दा हाम्रो खतरा छ यार केटा अब बोलाउँदै
हामी रेगुलर त्यो हुन्छ एकछिन हुन्छ हैन
क्वालिटी नि हुन्छ बोल्दैन
both drop those placements. It is a fearsome roster to be worried about as we hop on board with the Falcons up towards Pachinki. They don't have any contest here, but it is not a nice sight to see. There's plenty out there in the arena. They aren't going to be too good. 2 points average on the game they played. That's not good.
But we gotta appreciate having a cheeky touch to yourselves for the longest amount of you're gonna have, especially going into the next zone, which is getting kind of tightly contested. Falcons, they should have an easy transition in depending on where DRX chooses to land. And maybe be the scout before the roster. That ends up unfolding for
ल 1 किलो रा सुरु भयो स्टार्ट भयो हाम्रै हो
किलाइसक्यो चिन्ता नगर अब हामीले जित्ने हामीले हो यो जित कसको खोइ त कमेन्टमा खोइ हो र
के हो यिनीहरु and they're starting to lock in those hard cover POIs.
Power esports drawing up in the garage there.
One ninja
They will be playing 3 of them stopping off on the building. Another further Thunder Talk bolstering their position as well with King sidling on forwards. Alter Ego trying to pull Rosemary back to his feet there. They are going to put a lot of investment into it. Goes for the nade and flushes his own teammate out. That is not a good start for Alter Ego to try and defend the top spot on the table. And now it's Thunder Talk looking to keep this pace going.
फॉलोबैक गर्छ चाइनाहरु कहिले पनि अनली इन्गेजमेन्ट गर्दैन के
ल अगे यार
दुई जना मिलेर हैन
The reload needs to come through. Can he connect with the auto shotty?
He stays in the corner. Dodging those jump shots, goes for the retreat and is successful in getting some distance between them, which means he can reposition, fight the duo. That fight still going to be well underway. He's going to continue to distance himself, maybe get off angle to H. It pays the down his
अझै हेरे फेरि एजेल आयो
किङलाई नै हान्दियो अझैलाई नै हान्दियो केटा अझै चाहिँ हाम्रो नेपालको अझै है
On the outside, out in the cold, and Thunder Talk are getting rinsed right now.
Indeed, but I love that angle from King. Alva play this very, very carefully. Even if Thunder Talk wins this fight, like you said, they are in dire straits, and I really do think that's a huge oversight. This duo should have pushed up on him and taken him down. Having Alva on that off angle was detrimental to Thunder Talk. Obviously, your duo ends up falling, and now you're leaving. You gain 0 value. The 10-minute fights do not work out if you want to be a champion.
I mean, much like the Omnidroid from the Incredibles, right? The only thing tough enough to take down an Alter Ego player in this match is the best.
केटाहरु कहाँ कहाँ गयो तिमीहरु यसो गराउन खोइ कमेन्ट समेन्ट गराऊ के भयो
That's not the sort of coordination that you want to see coming on through, especially in Mills of Power on a circle like this. You know, it's so important to have everybody alive in a central location in these early circles, right? You want to transition in towards the late game. They've pushed up towards 30 points though, and they will be okay for the time being and playing on a 3. Not the end of the world.
Not the end of the world, but
smile
barely just nicked out.
उतैबाट हो
खडा किडी कुडुक भो त केटा हो
ए हामी खास गरी होरको त्यो स्लिपीहरुको थम्बनेल हाल्नु पर्ने है
they continue to progress forward, which could be great for playing a gatekeeper role. For now, just trying to heal up and just really recover. Their secret, though, unfortunately, I think they're going to lose at least one into blue, if I'm not mistaken. For Barnett, though, he's moving up.
So the rest of the team, at least several of them, are trying to go in pursuit here, hopping out, going for the spray. Zeros has to divert, set back behind the headland. Is there an off-angle hop out? No. But the blue zone will do a little bit more damage here. We're only at stage 1, so this is very, very survivable on these rotates. It's not really going to do much more to them, and those sims already on the bar there for Zeros mean that he's got to stay very, very healthy here, unless a couple more shots connect, which it doesn't look like they're going to. Sending over to the north side of the Yaz Lake. I imagine the Yangon Galacticos is going to divert. Not too keen to go in behind them, but we'll have to wait and see. The plane path. Sorry, the next circle just about to come on through.
Say Cloud has stayed up top. He wants presence behind Team Secret. Meanwhile, the other 3 are in fact going to go in succession down low, and St. Cloud does deviate away, maybe wanting to stay in Team Secret's mindsets, but getting tightly contested in the southern portion of the arena versus Falcons, a team that's been on the struggle bus, or E-Arena. I love the way that they've been playing. Granted, today, they've been falling flat, so this fight critical for both rosters.
E-Arena disengaged from that one. They had the numbers advantage. Perhaps they were reading too much into the circle. They thought, if we can't win this fight immediately, there's a third-party potential, but they had a massive advantage in that fight. Only 2 of the Falcons were on the inside. I'm not too sure about the
top 6 सम्बन्ध हेर्नु न एक चिकन माथि # मार्न पुग्छ
Meantime, Power looking to rack up even more elims. They're now up to 1 on the tables, and that's going to put them up on 26 with no placement points.
Taking down Noxian Red Force would be huge for them, mind you. I really feel, based off of that last play in the last map where Noxian Red Force had center zone, had the hard cover POI push out, I felt that was a massive oversight, potentially starting to get into their own heads. So for Power, pushing this fight could be big. For Weibo, well, we can't even stay upright. We got 4 wheels. Well, we decided to use 2.
They're going to maintain course though, self-righting, going all the way out west for a wide wrap from Weibo to go out on that west side bridge. APG, they're ahead. Alpha Gaming will send over that east side bridge, fairly uncontested now, and they are sending up north. Yeah, this is just the continuing long rotate from Weibo to go out to all the way on that west side. They're getting across the bridge. They'll be pushing in from Potato Hill, but don't expect to see them for another 2 minutes.
We won't see them for a long time. For APG, well, you saw what the game plan was. They were setting up to gatekeep Weibo, so this little rotate, in my opinion, was critical for Weibo. They only had one choice, and that was to take the western side bridge. For APG, they don't see any Weibo members. Okay, we move on out, start to progress towards Milta, maybe towards Power. Meanwhile, though, we do have Regnum Karya potentially setting up a trap on Hora, who's going to be up just ahead. A team that played so well through the early stages, now struggling today.
I mean, they're sequestered right up into the cliffs over prison. It does severely limit their sidelines here for Regnum Karya. They're going to have to try scout that info from the sound. They have got that outpost Silas, a little bit disparate from them. Rotating around, feeding back a little bit more info. But for the time being, they are a little bit crunched in here. Hora, a little bit less so. They've got a little bit more leeway on the side. Cliff face. Teams trying to get central. Nobody really getting too aggy with it just now. It's only Thunder Talk who have lost 2 players and a couple of those earlier elims.
DRX off in the distance. They've got a couple of teams in their line of sights. Like nobody getting through just yet. We see some shift up towards the north for the majority of teams that are already pretty much sequestered where they currently are. For the rosters like Power, APG, Thunder Talk, the duo, Alter Egos, Weibo finally starting to get their first member out of the blue zone as they head up towards north through school. Maybe even towards getting up Galacticos, but everybody rotating in. I'm hearing a lot more shots this time around. No surprise for Falcons. I'm hoping Regnum Karya does not crash into them. Looks like they're not going to. Even with the number of third parties available, maybe a death sentence, but instead they turn over towards the dip, and it's left and right. That is nasty. The team is eliminated very, very quickly.
And then a
team that dominated throughout group stage, struggling today. We questioned those days on
कतिवटा टिम यो पावर पनि आइपुग्यो यो दामी जग्गा हो नि त बेस्ट जग्गा हो
Ragnar taking a ton of damage. We got Wild also falling. Ragnar are now down. Haji getting active.
Lu amma.
No, kocha na ade bare power.
Kill ma kuri.
Haji getting the cleanup start, getting up ahead, cooking an aid.
Power हेर्नु गयो अब अर्को आउँछ हेरे अब कति फर्स्ट सेकेन्ड थर्ड फोर्थ पार्टी हुन्छ अब आयो भने चाहिँ
And it will connect for the knock. Haji now, the last player alive for Power. They have 4 elims. They'll want a little bit more. And he's now got a nade cooking. They know where Edith is playing, and nobody's getting out of this dip unscathed. The nade goes long, and Darkin pushes forwards. Haji runs the smoke.
Amma उयो अर्कोले आम्मा हो फिफ्थ पार्टी
दामी के भाइ दामी गेम केटा
त्यहाँ खाली अब कोही छैन त्यहाँ त्यो जग्गा कोही छैन अब
very good at TS Wait.
Team Secret now gets alter egos. You called it. Caster Curse. We got everyone getting aggro all at the same time. Krypton.
One power to सक्दैन हो यहीलाई त है
And another team has been lost. We just lost 4 teams.
5 किल निकालिसक्यो हेर्नु न
45 seconds.
That was insane. 4 teams went into that dip, and none of them got out of it. It was insane. It was being held,
kill point लिनु खोज्छ है यहीले चाहिँ
by 4 thrives. Yes. Then both Regnum Kaya and Ida crashed in at the same time, and then Power lapped in over the
लास्टमा त्यो जग्गामा कोही न कोही
You need to chill out. They put them in the cooler, and it's
घुरा गएर बस्दै हुन्छ अब
फायर ब्लक त थाहा छ तपाईलाई कोही छैन
but they still got
फायर ब्लक किन नलागिरहेछ
कहाँ त्यहाँ जान्छ त
It's such a bummer though for Power because Haji is the last one standing. He's the champion of the team.
लुटै लुट पनि पाउँछ हो र त्यहाँ गयो हैन
And then Fireflux says, "Hey,
Hora दे
good job,
बसिरहेछ
buddy. I got you. Take some right down. Either way, like you said, 5 elims. You
ल
got to be
AP0 वे पर्न आटेको हो र
alter egos at 5 themselves, and of course another zone shift.
केटाहरु यस्तो स्पिड खेल्छ है कन्फिडेन्ट हेर्नु ला जिगर
absolutely insane.
Wait, no fear बनाइसो
South shift, and this is going to help out
यार
teams
एपीजी लाई त हान्नै पर्ने हो
DRX, like
आउँदैन है यसरी टिके कहाँ
the
आउँछ
nerve out in the open, a lot of open ground, right? We saw how difficult it is.
यहाँ हैन अघि परेको
Position.
त्यो
When
चाहिँ
it
खाली
gets
छ
closer and closer on the circle, it gets slightly easier, right? Because there's fewer and fewer positions that sit around them that can take those third-party shots. There's fewer teams
WBG
that
हरु
are
जो नै
potentially
एन्ट्री
going to
भएको
third
छैन
party on towards you. So Falcons, their strength is
यिनीहरुको
really
रोटेसन
good right
बवाल
now
हुन्छ
in
तर
terms of position, but that will start to falter.
China
when the teams
पर्नु
around
आट्यो
them start to get involved, start to get
टिटी र WBG
expect to see them into this one deep, potentially up to stage 6.
Looking at this Thunder talk, we see a replay coming in. This is the Team Secret
यो दामी हान्दिन
alter egos, and Xerus is putting
यहाँ
in
त
work,
1v3
but
नै
it was
हान्दिन
Krypton who was able to even up the odds, silence Team Secret, and send them packing to the next game. Weibo,
Lu.
Thunder talk finally back on your screen, and
सुक्ला त फिनिसै हान्ने किङले
as one is taken down immediately.
PEL derby right now between Weibo and
कस्तो हाउडेको क्याजुअलिटी भएन अन्त
pretty clean, done and dusted. 3 players alive for Weibo and 1 for Thunder Talk. Together they make a full team, but there's no cooperation here. It's Shing sending off into the horizon.
Xing is gone. Thunder Talk's been in survival mode since the early goings of this game. 2 eliminations. You're not too happy with that. Maybe some placement points will help you out. Doc with a great angle. Maybe surprise some members from DRX up ahead if you can get a line of sight on him. Nobody seen just yet, but Doc is a guy that's sneaky, and if he sees you, he's taking you down.
Longshim Red Force, they've got 2 players alive, 1 further back. Let's hope that they could do a little bit better, although with only 2 players right on the edge here, it's going to be difficult. That shelter position can keep them alive for quite a while. Ching takes a couple of shots over towards Ziol, who's actually going to reposition away from this one.
वे आयो होराहरु पुश गर्दैछ
Ching has
त
to push
APG
a
लाई
little bit further in. He's going to go into the wake of APG, so Alpha Gaming can actually allow this rotation.
जिङले
राम्रो भयो
Fired a couple of shots.
APG हरु किन यसरी खेलेको
एपीजी त सिधै सेल्टर
सेन्टर
So actually, Jimmy Doc's going to be on the opposite side.
को
And
नक
so
त्यो
this stock will stay where he's currently at. So look, everybody who's going to be up. You got DRX still up in the distance. So DRX in a pretty precarious spot, if I had to say so, because Noxstrom Red Force is over there. They have a presence. And then you also have another one from a distance. Jing narrowly avoiding getting squashed. 33Z opts out. And finally,
लु त हान्दा WBG लाई चाहिँ हो र
again, surviving for the longest time. But one by one, they were picked apart until
आयो केटा
eliminated.
And in their wake, this
Get out,
rotate
get out,
will be pursued down by Hora, who are going to move out now to this southeast
यो
side.
फाइट चाहिँ हेर्नु मन छ यार
Players are
मलाई
alive, and they're looking for a good game here. Having underperformed so far in the first 3 matches, they're going to try and take
आजकल
on
गाडी आफै चल्छ
EEL representatives as they are going to try and find that rat back around. The smoke's keeping them safe.
अब
Both
उसका
of
गाडी
these two
भयो
teams are actually right up and against the blue zone. Hora
उसका
overextending now, and they are going to fall back. Play that east side. They actually lose a player to Krypton over on that north edge, so they can't really afford to place too much pressure on this south side.
Question is, do they? Hora continues to get closer and closer. Krypton maybe tempting that he wants to get away. Alva's dipped himself. But Krypton will continue to fight. And, you know, he's a scary player. 4 eliminations already, John. And a guy that can very well take out the entire Hora roster if they're not careful. For Sky, he needs to keep his head on a swivel. He's going to be the one to truly shut down Krypton if he makes an attempt to challenge No Fear and Sleep.
वन पावर कडा छ
जिगल चाहिँ कसरी चाहिँ मर्यो doing a lot of work for the roster, but with only 2 players against the 3, they do have the disadvantage. They're on the outskirts as well. Their options fairly limited. I would be too surprised to see them try and sweep up north. With Hora pushing into the tower, they're going to be a little bit less mobile, not going to be as easily able to go in pursuit. Equally, try and find Sky, and that looks like maybe what they're going to try and do here. Wrap back around, play on the backside here.
On the Sky on the wheel.
Window of opportunity for themselves, but Wayball Gaming are just over that ridgeline, and Krypton in danger now. Sky has to reload, and it's actually barely low on ammo here.
Oh, but yeah, it was Alva. So the car was a distraction. Alva was pushing up, and now he's getting pressure by Hora as they push in. Alva slivering.
Damn me, no fear.
Damage control.
Third party आउँछ यार WBC तल जा.
You've got one alter ego member of Krypton right smack dab in between Weibo
यसरी खेले भइहाल्यो
So Hora got to make a decision.
क्या दिमाग लायो यार Hora ले एकले गएको छ यता पेलौँ भनेर.
Do we disengage and maybe go a little bit further into zone? I would not want to be them making that decision.
If I'm Weibo, I'm letting the blue zone handle Krypton, and I think it's a similar call for Hora right now. You just need to negotiate. They know he's there. To leave. They should know, right? He's taken shots back over the wards.
WBC लाई 1v3 हान्दियो भने त्यसले क्रिप्टोले
engagement. So they should know that there's a player down this hill. You don't need to put this much pressure on. This is overexposing potentially to the Hora position. And Order's getting a little bit froggy.
Yes.
अब WBC लाई खेल्नै पर्छ नि हो.
Right there. The apex this
अब
hill.
जोनै पाउँदैन WBC ले हेर्न जोनै छैन.
This is going to get
No
spicy
fear ले किल दिन्छ ल. यही हो यसको.
Bait cooking.
अब जोन आयो नि त.
Going on the attack. Surely No Fear takes down Krypton in this moment.
No Fear, come on.
Krypton's going to be free and clear to make this push up. He finally
अन्त मैले भने नि ए हैन नि बम.
It was No Fear along with Order who takes him down. Order getting the elimination. Now Weibo can put all their eggs in one basket and focus on Hora, who's up ahead.
They can try and now turn and get ahead of this one.
3v3
They do still have a couple of players in tow. They've got that outpost down to the southwest side in 33Z, who's been scouting, who's been gathering that information. They've been locked into this fight for a while. Looking at the rest of the circle, meanwhile, Falcons, they've been chilling in their building for a long time now. They have managed to rack up 3 elim points. Actually make that maybe a couple more. They're going to have to think about getting out of this business, though. For the time being, they are right on the edge of the circle. They'll be safe for now. DRX have been holding out on the southwest for a nice while as well, but Yangon Galacticos going to be putting pressure on. I feel like that's the next crash coming on through, and Say Cloud's going to send it.
Yeah, absolutely. Mind you, also focused the Fireflux over here in the shed. They took a little bit of damage from DRX. In fact, once again, Scarface getting some shots. Say Cloud. You mentioned it. Yangon Galacticos starting to push up, but they've also taken some damage. A downed player. They're going to have to go in at 3 strong. So we have immense amount of fights. Falcons versus Fireflux. Yangon Galacticos going against DRX. And the winners potentially control the entire
WBC लाई चाहिँ क्लियर गर्नु
really difficult to move as Falcons when Yangon Galacticos or DRX are able to claim this one, but so far nobody is dead on that southwest border. All the teams there have 4 players alive, both of them maintaining the entire roster. Could potentially have an impact on the south side, but I imagine they're going to be thinking more about going east. You can see top trying to around the shelter entrance.
त्यो टपहरुलाई एपीजी लाई हान्दै एपीजी लाई हान्दै खेल्नु हुन्छ सेल्टर बसेर के
APG can be truly punishing to DRX. The only thing stopping them from
तलैतिर जानु खोज्दैछ
are
त
the smokes. They just can't get the line of sight.
हैन माथि नै जान्छ
Top
होला
should have infinite vision. In fact, he's going to get active. So there's going to be top on one full finish on one DRX member who's now starts to push up. This gives an opportunity for Yangon Galacticus to start firing at DRX as well. Weibo says enough is enough. APG member 33C also taking a tremendous amount of damage. It comes to show nobody is safe. And Weibo on the outskirts of zone fully eliminated.
It's in circles like this that you've got to think potentially Fireflux could have a chance if this fight on the southwest side doesn't conclude. But it looks like Yangon have isolated their entrant and will be playing on fairly convincingly. Very likely to get this out of the Horman. That should be an easy pick.
YG हरु त हैन का कस्तो दिन्छ त यताबाट
You have to dash out to try and find that res, and with only Joker left standing, they don't have a lot of time to get this one.
Currently, Yangon Galacticus have a beautiful spot where they are at. If the zone favors them on the next shift, they are going to be set up very nicely to control the end game. Of course, depending on what DRX and APG decide to do from their current position. For Falcons, they refuse to move, but now they have to start going a little bit more forward, which means E-Arena are very much ready for them. But the good news is Mormon was taken down just a little bit ago. He's down but not out, and E-Arena has to make a decision. Sakura also gone. Romeo taking him out, so YG getting active, and now Ralph says, I'm pushing up, I'm taking the advantage in the mid zone. Here comes the
बिचाराहरु झुन्न यता फ्याल्कन छ माथिबाट YG ले
have all the leverage they need to try and
यता हेर्नु कि माउ हेर्न
YG ले त मारे त हो Galacticos so much power, so many sight lines over.
तेरा हान्दैछ अनि त
फाल्कन त हान्न YG ले हान्न फाल्कनले त
फ्याल्कनलाई नै हान्नु पर्छ पर्यो YG र DRX पर होराले यस किल निकाल किल निकाल स्काईले निकाल्यो
And QZ across the way, gonna have to try and hide now behind the rocks, but will be pushed by that blue zone. DRX on the precipice.
And it looks like Falcons here are also popping up against each other. Joker is
युटिलिटी छ कि छैन अब एमो
fully eliminated. E-Arena
राम्रै छ त
out of there.
होराहरुले
Falcons have a good foothold on the
राम्रै खेले यार यतिको त है
So really, Falcons,
इराङ्गल देवनी
in an absolute power spot, you would have to assume, unless the solo from DRX can dismantle piece by piece the Yangon Galacticus roster just up ahead. And let's not forget Scarface, another solo for Fireflux, who's going to be dead center. Falcons get blessed by zone.
फ्याल्कन र उयो पर्नु के YG पर्नु पर्छ के अब
So does Hora.
With this zone, it keeps this little
YG ले चाहिँ फ्याल्कनलाई हान्दिनु पर्यो के
inside
माथिबाट
एउटा हान्यो एउटा हान्यो
They are getting blessed, but if Redox keeps going down like this, it's going to get a little bit more tenuous here on the northern side.
YG हरु पनि जानुपर्छ जोन होराले हान्नु पर्यो अब
For Falcons to flex back out, I don't know if they can commit to this. They'd have to expend a lot of smokes. In the meantime, Yangon Galacticos, they are
तिनीहरु त जोनमै छ हैन
Yes, they got to push forward.
कस्तो
There's a
यहाँ
lot of
आदि
open
मात्रै
space. They've been hanging out next to this game for the longest time. I don't blame them, but now the time to get active is in. And you
जोनमा
got
छ
no
केटाहरु
fear who's been doing
स्लिपी
such
र उयो चाहिँ
a great job from a distance, being detrimental to each and every roster he's come across. So he's going to be the X factor for me for the
फाल्कन हान्न
roster.
नगेर
At least
फाल्कनलाई
when
हान्यो
Yangon
पुश गर्दै
Galacticus
केटा हो
starts to rotate over for the
नो फियर माथि
DRX.
किलको लागि बसेको
I don't know if he's going to be able to survive this. I really don't.
Then
But
go
for
ahead,
him, all eyes on YG, who now start to move forward.
YG लाई चाहिँ फ्याल्कन गरिदिन्छ
Who takes this game? If Yangon Galacticus get mowed down now by Falcons, it is going to be all Falcons
Oh,
for the
Sleepy.
victory.
moving out to the west side to go for the res on
यो हो नि त
They're actually west
देखिरा
side
त हान
stood
स्लिपी
right now on the Falcons
हान
roster.
हान
ओइ कपालमा कसम
Time to go for this one.
एउटा एउटा मात्रै बाँकी छ
Sideswipe. This road crossing is
पुस हान्नु गएको हो ओ यहाँ उयो छ FF छ
Is Hora actually going to try and backfill on this rotate?
ला थाहै छैन FF को पोजिसन
This could be a great
ओ देख्यो
finally get rid of Scarface, who was on a sliver of HP, and now it's
केटा हाल्दा बब्बाल हान्दैन
If I'm Falcons, I'm paying close attention to Hora starting to move up. Fireflux are now gone. We're getting deep into it. Only 4 more teams remain.
ओइ
And
किल
really,
छोड्नु
one of them
खोज्दैछ
is inconsequential. It's only a
ऊ
solo
छोड्दै नि
a mini red zone starting to form. Say Cloud trying
त्यो नि
to
छोड्दियो
get back onto his feet.
त्यो नि छोड्दियो
Desperately needs this. Yangon Galacticus with the
2 पोइन्ट गयो नि है
gets picked up.
ओ एउटा नक हाल्यो भयो
Down, and it's
ओ होराको चिकन हो क्या हो
taking him out.
स्काई ढल्दैन हेर्नु
trying to play around. A couple of vehicles keeping them safe
यिनीहरू कतिजना
for
छ
the time being.
फाल्कन
Yangon
त 4 जना छ
Galacticos may be able to stay
तीनजना
up as 2, but
Oh, yes,
spread
no
out
fear.
behind that vehicle, and that crate has been beautiful for
नो फियरले 3 किल हानेछ
Trying to get a
यो
little bit more though. They're putting pressure onto the Falcons because of the rotate out to the west side to deal with that res, to get was out of the mix. Hora taking the timing of this very, very well, and they get that flex out to the side. Falcons are piecing themselves back together, and now over towards Narvalo. Koa finds that retreat, and things simmer down.
No Fear has been
No Fear को दामी एंगल छ नि अब
for the Hora roster, and now he
No Fear
has
तो अगाडि जानु पर्छ
totally
यहाँ बसेर त कसरी
got
हान्नु
caught Redux and Ralph off guard. They know where he's at, but he still has such a great advantage. Now this rotate's gonna be big.
के मतलबै भएन
One, a second is also gonna
सक्दैन
fall.
अब यो त ठिकै छ सेकेन्ड आगे हो केटा
Needs to get active. A Hail Mary
ओइ हान्छ क्या हो नो फियरले त दुईजना हान्दिसक्यो
No Fear. Does he have it in him to clutch this up while he continues to push up? Falcons can hit the shots needed, but they finally do it, and Falcons will get their first win during this, should be the grand final stage.
नो फियर ट्राई गरेकै हो यार दुईटा हानिसक्यो
सिपी नगाले हुने के बचाउनु
To the mansion to play on that location. They held ground, and on the north side, nobody challenged them. I felt like Hora maybe were able to slip the noose there, but in the end, they were hung out to dry, and that is a beautiful way to close it down. And nice shot of Elims as well, added.
त्यही त हामीलाई खै डाँडेको गरिया 10 रुपियाँ आएको छ वाच पार्टी गरेर
₹3.33 अनि 1 पैसा पाउँदैन
Massive. And while the same thing could be said for Fireflux surviving as long as they did, yes, it's not going to be a tremendous amount, but it's at least a start. It's something. It gives you new life. It's only game number 4, 2 more to go today, and therefore a big chance to rise up the ranks. There it is. Our final area go has concluded. Team Falcons on top. 2 Miramars coming your way after the
दामी आउँछ है पोइन्ट अझै 2 पोइन्ट ज्यादा हो तर नो फियरले दामी खेल्दै यार नो फियर र स्लिपी चम्किरहेछ है
केटाहरू जानै नहुने क्या त्यो कहाँ गाडीमा त्यसरी हाल्छ स्मोक गर्नु
Reach impossible when no
डिसिजनहरु राम्रो लिइराख नि आत्या खाइन के अहिले कति पोइन्ट आयो 7 कि 6 कि 6 12 और नै टप एटा आयो होला केटा
केटाहरू कडा हान्थ्यो यार सोचेकै थिएन यस्तो हुन्छ भनेर मेरो मोर त होला मुनि गएर
कसैले त्यसलाई ध्यानै गर्ने कि आफै लन्डी लगायो
यसलाई हानिदिइहाल्यो माथिबाट
anticipated addition to the Mummy series outfits is here. Paired with the new Ice Tube glider, the Polar Spectrophage set is just what you need to freeze your enemies. Or send them ablaze with the Inferno Feed set's new upgradable Chained Inferno Uzi. All the Mummy outfits are back. Get them all. Join now and collect the whole series to turn all eyes on the battleground. Event period, July 10th, 2025 through September 2nd, 2025.
Falcons flying high for the last Erangel of the day for day number 1 of the grand finals and looking to be one step closer towards that trophy. Joining me, Neptura, as well as Seven, to talk about this game. Neptura, Falcons had a good compound and they were able to play it out nicely in the end.
Finally, it's about time we see something from the Falcons. Dare I say I want to see a little bit more. I wasn't entirely pleased with how that game went, but they got the win. That's what they needed to do. Fair enough, right? I did like how they played some of those things. I want to start off by saying that initial push onto Fireflux, rather, was the wrong play, and I thought that. I was like, no, you need to be looking at E-Arena. They did in the end on the circle shift. They were able to take them out completely. That frees up the north side of the zone, really able to then do what they want. I will say, Hora really tried their best. Some really nice controlling angles that they got there, but I think Narvalo in particular, able to have that off angle, really helped. For me, the Falcons, I think that they should have done a little bit more play. They still played a little bit too defensively, but in the end, they started to split off a little bit. It was much better.
Well, here's the head-to-head brought to you by the Saudi National Bank. Team Falcons versus Hora from this previous game. Hora doing quite a bit of work, doing quite a lot of damage here, 7 overall, but not quite able to keep up with Team Falcons, mainly thanks to that circle shift towards the end.
Yeah, Team Falcons having that circle shift, that definitely helped them big time. And I think one of the main worries that I had looking at Team Falcons was that they just weren't spreading enough. They weren't gaining enough control of that circle. And meanwhile, Hora was being able to do that, but due to the fact that Hora has just been fighting so many teams that whole match, and they had already lost a player, it became almost near impossible. As soon as Sky went down trying to get the off angle, it was set and done for Falcons to be able to get the win. But I got to give compliments to Hora. I have been enjoying those splits that this team has been doing. They have gone from 1-2-1 splits, 3-1, and then they end up mixing it up to everybody just going solo. They're making sure that they just get a lot of the zone, and they were able to do that perfectly at one point. They had full control of the southeast.
But Falcons will walk away with 22 points there with the 12 eliminations, thanks to Narvalo, the Frenchman. We love the French being able to hold on to that position towards the top. Them Neptura is able to overlook exactly what was going on and hold their opponents at bay.
You know what's so interesting about the overalls being so close as well? Is Falcons were at the bottom of the leaderboard with 22 points. They are now looking at the top 8, which is a really nice setup for the last 2 games of the day. Going into tomorrow as well, this is exactly, I think, the right timing for them to get a win, because now that mindset should be super refreshed.
Did Power get a lot of eliminations and no placement points?
Power's like placement points. What are those? We're just gonna go with yeah, they ended up with 5 eliminations. No surprise there out of that team. DRX, I was actually really surprised at the push that DRX ended up doing on Young Galacticos. They thought that maybe they were gonna be able to just win that engagement, but little did they know Hora was looking for third party that fight, and it kind of opened later the area of just for Hora to try to control of the circles.
Yeah, that's kind of the important thing when you get a shift like that, right? Neptura, the fact that those teams down in the south, they're very likely to not win out that game. So focus on those eliminations down to the south with the Yangon and the Hora situation going on. Hora was able to do that brilliantly, I think.
They were. I mean, I think Yangon did what they could do. It's so open. It's such a wide area to use. They did what they could. Hora were very proactive. I love this new Hora that we're seeing, that they're able to not only control and be passive, but also be super aggressive and take those fights.
Yeah, and for Yangon, I got to give them some props, because as you mentioned, they did exactly what they needed to do, which was making sure that they were proactive and backing people off. They made DRX back off early on. DRX ultimately wanted to take that fight. It didn't end up working out. And for Young Galacticos,
I'm loving this
they were looking at E-Arena. They were making sure that they made the rotations hard. They were just trying to get any point possible getting those eliminations. I wish they would have made a sooner decision on just making a full push towards where Team Falcons was. That would have been the winning play for that squad.
Potentially. And now, though, with Erangel done, we move on to Miramar and see how it's going to play out. The last 2 games here of the day. Let's take a look at the breakdown of the numbers, see who's able to perform. And you've got teams in there like Hora. I think Weibo as well still needs to do a little bit more here. Neptura overall. Alter Ego, strong in that first game of the day, but so far beyond that, been a bit more quiet, I think.
They have. It's almost like they're waiting for something, which makes me nervous because last time they just kind of held their peace and waited a little while. We saw a very strong day from them, so we'll see about that. I am interested as well, though. I'm kind of surprised that APG are not here. Alpha Gaming not on this list. Historically, a team that's very, very good on Miramar, just not making those numbers.
Yeah, one of the teams that I'm going to be looking at that was there towards the top is going to be none other than Rangam Karya. This team has been so aggressive. I feel like going into Miramar, I'm hoping that we get to see a little bit more tactical play out of this squad, being able to actually take their time, Scott, because right now it's just full go, go, go whenever they do end up pushing. And you can see Yangon Galacticos with that play doing just enough, being in first place.
Just 11 points between number 1 and 8th. But yes, as you say, Yangon Galacticos being able to wrestle away number 1 from Alter Ego is definitely a big move. What are you laughing at?
I just find it insane that we are in the grand finals of Pmwc 25. And Power Esports somehow has managed to find themselves 4th place, 0 placement points, 30 eliminations.
Again, it bears repeating. I'm worried in case they do start getting placement points here.
Right.
They could rocket up the leaderboards with also the elimination power that they're showing. And this isn't the power I saw in the group stage. I was like, okay, they're sitting pretty, they're waiting, they're sitting in Milter, they're moving out and getting themselves a win, a slow win as it were. But they're just all guns blazing at the moment, I'm sure. It's crazy.
They really are. I think it goes to show again that sometimes going to survival stage is incredibly beneficial. They've had those 2 extra days to really get their stride, get the momentum going, and now look at them.
Definitely impressive stuff. We'll see if this can continue. Imagine if they finished it with just like no placement points, but like 90 elims.
Please do that. That's what I want. That'll be me unboxing a surprise.
You'd be very excited. And let's all unbox together because the PUBG mobile airdrop card is now live. Don't miss out the final 3 days this weekend. Log in to summon your supply airdrop and collect 2025 airdrop vouchers for your chance to win official merch, smartphones, BD partner rewards, and more. Every participant is guaranteed rewards. So come and get those unboxings done. All these players, they can't unbox right now because they're ready to get into Miramar. So without further ado, thank you very much, guys. It is time to head over to the Dusty Dunes. It's Miramar. Let's get into
next PMWC मा एक इजी bro लाई देख्न पर्यो अरे
to rise again
sure, bro,
with a chicken dinner.
Grind
but they need to keep pace now. Goodness me. Try not to swallow the water next time. But either way, they are going to have to try and keep pace with the top page because they have managed to breach there. But, you know, in power, currently, no placement points.
comment पढेको
right? There's a little bit more to do.
एकैजी जान पर्ने
exactly what every
मैले
single one of the players is doing during the PMWC. You can official map feed of PUBG Mobile.
कोसँग कुरा गर्यो केटाले
You can see where everybody's rotating all the time, all day. It is useful if you want to break things down, if you want to get a little insight as to what teams are doing at every step of the match.
That's it. And that's, well, hey, we're getting into Miramar. You mentioned Falcons, but I love what the Ness said about power. It's insane how high up the standings they are purely based off of eliminations. And you do raise the question.
I
think they're going to be the champions. I really do, at least based off of their performance over the 4 games that we have witnessed. It is spectacular. And I think a rarity, really, to see how well Power is doing it. Well, you got to appreciate it. You got to love it. Falcons jump up the standings. Power still doing very, very well. Yangon Galacticos taking over first place for the Alter Ego Eris team, who was there for the longest time. Things are shifting about, and the most important thing, right, is to make sure you are the team going into day 3 setting the threshold.
कमेन्टमा हान्दिनु अरे एकैजी रिक्रुट गर्नु अलिक तर महँगो पर्छ
त्यही भने महँगो त महँगो छ फेरि अब एकैजी खेलेपछि त सिधै फेरि जोन प्रेडिक्सन र उता फेरि ठ्याक ठ्याक हो नि केटा
बट जस्तो चाहिँ मरिन्छ होला
This table is looking really flat. You can guarantee that there's going to be a little bit more volatility towards the top side of these tables with how close things are. I mean, getting on towards 8 point difference. That's really close. In these stages of the tournament where teams are able to take those risks. That's one big game, and all of a sudden you're on the top of the pile.
Chat भरि एकैचोटि चलिरहेछ त के हो यस्तो
was in 14th or so place.
कान्छो नि हुनु पर्यो प्रयोग
They end up getting the winner chicken dinner, 12 eliminations, putting them all the way up in top 6. And mind you, they are only just 3 points away from breaking into top 3. That's how close it is. So, a lot of volatility. Things are going to continue to shift within our top 5.
बोल राखेर काट्दै कपालले
The championship is wide open.
अब भोलिबाट चाहिँ आफ्नै स्ट्रिम हान्न पर्यो है के भने
The players themselves, the ones that
के
control
भन्यो
their destiny. Map number 5, we're heading into Miramar. Where are we going?
PUBG खेलेको भनेको
This time around from Viademar over towards
त्यो पनि हुन्छ मेरो भाइ चिन्ता नगर्नु
a little bit difficult and also potentially tricky to get towards. Of course, now uncontested because Alpha 7 did so badly that they weren't able to make it into this stage of the tournament. Falcons would be alone on that, but they have to get there first. The question is, do they want to get out there? It's about 3 kilometers away from this plane path, maybe a little bit more actually. So it could be difficult to get up towards. But that western path rotate can be nice and friendly. It's a question of getting those vehicles on site. We head on in our plane now, just crossing Chumasara.
Don't think we're going to have any hot drops, at least based
कहाँ
off
हो
of
दाजुभाइ
where I
डर छ
believe these teams are going to be landing.
कहाँ हुनु घरमै हो आउनु पर्यो आफू नि है
Finals of day 1,
वाच
but
पार्टी
there
हाल्नु
is always a chance, right? Things get spicy, even though people put their landing zones out there, doesn't mean they're not willing to change it up and take a team
जोन माथि
by
जाओस् त
surprise. And while that could very well happen, I believe going back to the survival
ए
stage.
हेरौँ है प्रेडिक्सन अब
फ्याल्कन हेर्नु न यहाँ सँगै आएको यो ल यहीँ झऱ्यो यो गाडी लियो के यसले
Maybe we see a repeat of that. Falcons over on the left-hand side by Hora. That's going to be an interesting one if they decide to land next to each other. Very curious where this next zone, or first zone, I should say, is going to pop up, because that's going to tell the true story of what we can expect.
Well, I'm looking at Picardo right now. There's a lot of teams in the air over it right now. Could be difficult. Power definitely looking to try and drop that. Think either are going to
र कतिमा छ दाइ 10 मा 10 भाइ
Regnum Kaya disengaging from it as well.
Top 10.
Towards Puerto Paraíso. A little bit close by for DRX and Weibo,
केटाहरु
but
खलक रहेछ
will chill
सेट
out.
लाउड रहेछ
So
अलाजे
nobody
रहेछ
getting too aggy
पावरको
right now.
ल केटा हो
Could be.
क्युआर हान्नु अरे लु सब्स्क्राइब हानेर
केटाहरु है सबले माया देखाइदिउँ त हाम्रो यहाँ भर्खर भर्खर सुरु भइरहेछ केटाहरुले यसरी माया गर्यो भने त सपोर्टले त हामी नै अगाडि बढ्छौँ हैन ठिकै छ सबैले सब्स्क्राइब गर्यो भने चाहिँ हाम्रो अहिले भर्खर अब आज बढ्दैछ बिस्तारै अब लाइक र सब्स्क्राइब चाहिँ सबले गरिदिउँ न है माया देखाइदिउँ त ल हामीलाई माया गर्ने कतिजना छ हामी नै हेरौँ न
यो केटा यस्तो छ त फ्याल्कनहरु माथि पुगिसक्यो जोन त यता पऱ्यो नि त राइट
गाडी जति नलिएर जान्छ अगाडि गयो
I don't think this is a good idea. If Hora want to head up towards the north, I wouldn't be surprised to see them send all the way to a place like Cobraria, currently unoccupied. I think chasing down solo, if they can get the shots, sure, but if Ralph can get over towards Alfonso as soon as he goes in, I don't think if you're Hora,
अघि सेकेन्ड भयो # 2
and the fact is that there's about
अघि सेकेन्ड
600,
भइसक्यो
700 meters between
इल्याङ्गलमा
these
अब
two teams.
ल यिनीहरू बाइक र उसमा हिँड्नु पर्यो जम्मै गाडी
Catch this one. But I think heading up to La Cobraria on a circle like this is potentially a little bit better of a decision to make, right? In this scenario, you'll be up on that north side. You know not too many teams are going to be there. You'll be out early over towards that north side on a circle like this. And they're going to be able to find it. Okay, hang on a minute. Maybe they are going to try and clip the back of Falcons.
ए सानो सानो कम्बल लुट्दै जाँदा हुन्छ त
I don't rate this one down.
जाऊ उता राइट पट्टि
You
गयो
don't want hot drops, right?
ए गाडी लिन दिन्छ त उफाल्कन
Early. Oh, they're close. Valo actually, who's already had some loading time, might actually take some shots out. This is why you don't want to pursue too far.
ओइ बाँच्यो बाँच्यो कसम
गाडीमै क्याम गर्न बसेर चाहिँ हेर्नु न कस्तो दिमाग लाग्यो होला है होरल त यति चाहिँ बुझ्या
चुनै बनाइदियो यार फ्याल्कनलाई त उत्रेर हान्नु नि हौ बरु मर्दै है बरु त्यो त कस्तो हगेको या सुतेर हानेर नि मै झारिदिन्थ्यो होला कसम दिल्लै गरे
नासको भिलेज गर्ने
Alter Egos who are set up quite nicely. They've got the 2-2 split, plenty of loot between them. I think Alter Egos are due for a pretty decent game. I'm kind of feeling, I don't know, my sense is telling me Alter Egos, this is their game to take.
Now what's going to happen is Power are going to get a chicken dinner with 0 ELIT. Oh, show 0. Yeah, anyone looking at the table would be like, oh, that's a normal normal amount.
Wait,
But
I'm
no, it'll be the
Shiro guy the
weirdest
bicycle
10 to
guy.
30 split you've ever seen in your life.
That's right.
Goodness me. No, I'm not entirely sure, of course.
Sheikh को girlfriend भेट्नु गयो, girlfriend
64
भेट्नु.
players who are in this one. However, Pal are in a
Turning
very
पछि छ
central
अरे.
location on this, just down to the east of Hacienda.
अघि international पनि हो नि.
Out to their further east as well. They're in a nice little compound and they can chill out for the time being. We're up to about
के गर्नु मन ठुलो छ सबैलाई बाख्नु पर्यो भन्दै थियो.
teams that hit ground early. So
कसैलाई नाइ भन्ने सक्दैन भन्छ अनि गाह्रो छ क्या फेरि.
However, teams like Hora and Falcons, they're going to be out and looting for a little bit longer.
केटाहरु कोही माया देखाउँ न यार, माया पुगेन क्या मलाई यार खोइ.
Settle down.
फो वाचिङ छ खोइ यार 19 पुग्यो खोइ सब्स्क्राइबर 150 150 पुराउनु त टार्गेट आज हाम्रो 150 हो.
Of this stage is wide open.
खैर भाइ इन्भाइट गर्दिनु साथीहरुलाई यहाँ.
That they can take over if they so decide. I do start to look towards Fireflux, however. Regnum Caria, E-Arena, Team Secret, relatively close, and DRX is getting very close to E-Arena, mind you. They are pushing straight in. On your screen top left, there will be an E-Arena member. If DRX keep their head on a swivel, they might start taking some shots, taking some damage.
Looks like they're going to keep things nice and linear. A nice spread out train.
Good
spacing for DRX on their rotate. Keep on the southeast flank. And of course, we always advise against all rotating in the same vehicle, especially early and especially on Miramar. Getting spotted out can be disastrous. So taking this 4-player convoy, that's exactly how you want to be operating. If you guys at home are trying to pick up some tips, that's a good one. Early on, playing split, you're very, very mobile. You're flexible. That's what DRX are looking for as they head to the east.
Top one of YG, no? Mathiko, YG let all get in Pelek and Orek game man.
Also for fourth thrives in the same path as Ida.
To
move up north. As we take a look at Yangon Galacticus, a team that has been performing incredibly well. Currently first place. Off the back of a third place game. Number 4. They've been highly consistent. I think today has been the shining example of what we can expect Yangon Galacticus to truly be. They'll be rotating up north, kind of the same fashion that Hora did a little earlier, opposite of Falcons, most likely going above where Falcons are at. But I do have some concern if that is going to be the case, because there's not going to be a lot of areas that can truly park the bus, because Falcons and Hora are controlling that area, and there is an opportunity for Yangon Galacticus if they go a little bit too far north to get pincered between both of those rosters, so they have to play this carefully.
Subscribe गर्नु सबले 150 पुग्नुपर्छ आज हाम्रो रिच हाम्रो टार्गेट है 143 नै छ यार गाइजहरु 10 वाचिङ चाहिँ खोइ यार यस्तो भएन यार माया देखाइदिउँ न गाइजहरु यस्तो
है युट्युबमा कति 3-4 वटा अकाउन्ट त होला त आफ्नो
भाग्दै यार भन्ने बित्तिकै यस्तो नगरौँ न यार केटा 5 जना पुग्यो
FF र उयो पढिसक्यो ये त के भयो आज
जोकरलाई मार्यो है केटा हो स्कारफेसले
अस्ति यो सर्भाइभल स्टेजमा कम खतरा खेल्यो
यसलाई त खुलितै
लु अम्मा
एग्रेसन केटा हो यस्तै हुनुपर्छ
ग्रेटलाई नै हान्दै छ
They want to be up in the top 5 off the back of our last 2 games. Nice to see them finally getting active for E-Arena. Well, a team that was truly the shining examples throughout the survival stage, struggling tremendously, and even surprising that they get their compound taken over, because one of the shining examples of E-Arena that I truly started becoming a much more fan of was their ability to hold down hardcover POI. She could not break in. It didn't matter if there was 2 or 3 teams challenging their house.
माथि जा जोन माथि जा हार्ड शिफ्ट जा माथि वाटर ट्रिटमेन्ट छन् गयो नि हुन्छ ठिक छ त दामी छ त यो डाँडा छ नि होइन 3 छ केटा आइडियाहरू जाने भयो यार
It was certainly identifiable. Circle over to the east side here for phase 2. A lot of open ground to the east side of San Martin, and has ended up Tron. Currently, the center of the circle still occupied by quite a big spread.
Falcon पिछाडी छ
want to look to get back together with DRX on the south flank, with Thundertalk as well on a bit of a split, but a lot closer together, about 600 meters both of their outposts here for Thundertalk.
Well, same narrative for me for Yangon Galacticus. I was concerned maybe they would pincer themselves in between Falcons and Hora, but they do decide to stay on the outskirts of the zone. But even so, they're still going to have to deal with Falcons or Hora most likely once they start to come in. And now you add in 4 Thrives. You got 4 teams who can be contesting each other on the northern zone of the current stage. That's going to be a fight to watch out for without question. But for Power, the high ground is in. Fireflux is very aware of this, but you got to appreciate the current power position from Power Esports.
Easy with the high ground over towards Catch. I think they're both aware of each other's position here. And just biding their time, of course. These positions on these plateaus always look so powerful. The difficulty is as soon as you get knocked, or as soon as you take a challenge and maybe you get a little bit too bold, you go down. It's a massive mission to try and get you back up, right? You have to either send another player up there, or you have to drop down when you've already been knocked and someone has to rotate out towards you. It takes a lot of time, a lot of investment on that, so you do need to be very careful with those high ground positions.
Fireflux going to be opposite of Falcons, continue to move up. Manage to stay alive.
सब कम्पिटिसन नै छ हैन टप 11 छ भने हेर्नु न
Was firing
Domination कसैले गर्न पाएन के
was on the back of a buggy.
Started
to rotate up. Haan Galacticus taking a huge rotate north. They'll most likely drop south. A lot more distance between them than I was expecting. I really thought they were going to be closely contested. You do have 4 Thrives with Naki and Co. who's going to be very close to the roster. They start to huddle up and potentially crash in on each other. For Weibo, they do have Team Secret in their line of sights, but this 4 Thrives Falcons fight, yeah, it's going down.
But will he be able to get away here? Not unscathed though, and that vehicle's going to be low. They will try and maintain the outskirts here on the northern, and they'll be okay for the time being.
Okay, for the time being, as you said, staying alive just a little bit longer. They kind of tempted fate, pushing the 4 Thrives, take over the it's just simply not going to work. Another zone shift is going to take place. This YG Haan Galacticus still up in the north. They've been in blue now for, I want to say, nearly half of the game at this point, and they'll have to continue to drop down south, which is going to be right next to Falcons, so that fight most likely going to ensue with Falcons getting their health all the way back up. I think this is about to go down.
Well, depends, yeah, if they go for that rotate out to the east, it might be a little bit less sort of considered there. Silas goes down on a little bowl ramp jump there. Too overexposed as DRX able to sweep that one away. So Regnum Kaya down to 3 players. That's not too favorable, but they are nice and central on the circle.
Yes, they are. Nice shot from Weibo. Weibo takes down Jiggle from Hora. Unfortunately loses a player. That was one who took early damage. And Weibo, not too far behind, is going to keep Hora in their line of sights. And this is a team that performed exceptionally well in game number 4, performing in 2nd place, nearly taking over the Falcons' position. They couldn't hold it down. It's very impressed with No Fear, and I'm expecting him to be huge in this moment. Wild from Regnum Karya, trying to take down Alpha from Alter Ego. Rosemary
had the off angle, nothing really doing there. Regnum Karya starting to falter. Meanwhile, over on that northern side, Falcons did find a player from Haan Galacticus, and they will have almost on full surround now. They're putting this pressure on Redox, gets that flush. Hang on a minute, no, that's Koa taking the vehicle up in flames with it.
Alter Ego
He's going to be able to lay down that damage. Nice and healthy output there for the Falcons. They disengage. They don't need to overextend here, and it's nice to see.
But it's also for Haan Galacticus. There's really nowhere they can go forward. You got 4 Thrives waiting on you, and then if you go backwards, you got Falcons who are going to be gatekeeping you. You go down a little bit further, you got Noxum Red Force. It's going to be a tough spot for Haan Galacticus, a team that stayed so long in the blue zone. I mentioned No Fear. Well, he's currently pinned up. Sky is just a sliver of health. Rosemary does as Sky gets a bit antsy, jumping up to get additional vision. Well, it ends up being his undoing.
With that mini 14 through the window, just at the right time. Excellent pre-fire there from Rosemary. Alter Ego holding the high ground here. They have such powerful position over this next circle. They want to try and maintain that space. They're doing well with 3 players on that north flank. They've got Krypton far on the southeast side. And that's Angle actually with shots over towards
kill निकाल्नु छ यिनीहरुलाई
Sleepy if he gets a little bit too
अब
big.
यहाँबाट बम हान्यो भने गइहाल्यो
Rosemary reposition, no fear will stay down low. No reason to get too crazy on him. The smokes are out. Rosemary will continue to keep his head down. APG Team Secret start to get active. Dog with the offing, unfortunately, is down. He's going to have no effect in this fight. Let's see how he can get over and maybe get him back onto his feet. Revis, nade in hand, throws it out. That looks like a nice cook and a great connection.
Doc is down, but the rest of APG can keep on going. Rotate around, try and slip this one. Around the edge there they go, and actually Doc could be resable here. Close to 5 blocks now, and that will be a lot of danger for this Res. Will be very, very difficult to make it work. Getting handled across the way from 5 blocks themselves.
Fireflux been performing well. They're trying to go up the standings. This is their game to take. They started off hot and heavy. They currently sit at 6 eliminations. All 4 members still alive. Now Catch, I hope he's not spreading himself a bit too thin, separating himself from the additional rosters, everybody else in a vehicle. So that'll be my concern. But for No Fear and Rosemary, well, No Fear tried to stay up as long as he could, but the shed, unfortunately, will be his demise.
Sook actually using the explosive arrows there, taking one of those knocks over towards Hora. He's going to be happy with that one, but Weibo currently out on that east side, have a little bit further to go here. That east side approach is really, really weird and finicky. They've got that long channel of road for Weibo to roll along on that northern side of the current circle. It spits you out with very little info, which means that they kind of need to head down south and try and put pressure on that way to approach towards Alter Ego. But that's really, really difficult in its own right? You've got Alter Ego who've been holding. We've seen how effective they are in that location. I don't think that Weibo are going to be able to get too much further here.
Yeah, I don't think so either. And mind you, Falcons also kind of got into their vicinity. Falcons have been the outskirt team, consistently gunning down players, not overcommitting, but at least having a presence, keeping them in the back of their minds are their enemies. And what we see Suki, as you said, from Sleepy from a distance. And I know 7 is loving that one.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I wonder if it was that the straight shot or the explosion that got him though. We'll get the analysts on that one. They break it down the clip. That was kind of nuts though. You'd love to see it. Sook seems to be
Legolas
of the bow and arrow. He loves it.
Yeah,
he loves it.
You know, it's funny, our research coming into this 7 specifically brought him up and said explosive arrows. Watch him with the bow. Let's watch Order now as they go for the challenge onto Falcons. Rosemary has him pinned in between. And Rosemary is a guy I do not want on my backside. He is truly devastating. We've witnessed it just a little bit earlier on Hora Esports. Now we can do it on Falcons. But Order cooking the nade, throws it out. Is it good? Well, a little bit of damage on Narvalo. Redux will answer back with his own, but it doesn't have an area effect. And Redux is very weak. Order is taking on 2 members from Falcons and doing it in sensational fashion.
They have that back flank as well from Rosemary. And nade at his feet, and Ralph and Redux both fall, one after the other. The fourth position and the middle spot for the Falcons both going down. And it looks like Weibo are actually going to be able to break through this one with Narvalo falling. There's only one player now left standing, and Sook is on the hunt.
And I wonder if APG starts to get active in this fight too, because Doc is getting dangerously close. There's Order from a distance, trying to take down Avila, but can't do it. He backs away for the meantime. Still a chance Falcons can maybe recover with the duo in this moment, but the pressure from Weibo is unrelenting. Koa, the tip of the spear, to try maybe get a couple of shots on the Order. Again, you can't really go back because you got Alter Egos, who's going to be just behind you with Alva. You also got Weibo starting to push in, and the attack is true, but Order will fall. Sook jumps out. Koa's going to be down. Can Sook pull off the hat trick?
Weibo low. It's just Sook, and around the edge with a scar goes for the spray down, but the heal is there. And Narvalo now at a disadvantage. And once more, Narvalo survives out in the edge of the zone, eliminating Weibo.
All right, the question is, can he get his teammate back into the fight? Just behind him, you'd have to think so. There it is. That's going to be Koa. Getting Koa back in this fight would be huge. Meanwhile, APG starts to move in. Koa's been finished, and Narvalo once again has to take on the entirety of another roster. This time, a 1v4. Reefus with that off angle. I think this is probably going to be the ambush. You got Alpha, who's going to be looking dead at you. Narvalo in dire straits. If he can somehow, someway survive and get into zone, it would be miraculous.
Spray down, Narvalo slams it into reverse, trying to pull
right there, but
actually, it's APG who might have given him a lifeline. He's actually down and into the road gully.
And he's dipping, he's dodging, he's swerving and moving. He's going up top to get that member.
Look, kill uठाउंगा.
Can't get the finish, and that's going to be okay. A valiant effort. I felt Falcons from the start to the finish never really truly had a home, never truly had a legitimate route to stay safe. They were putting a lot of pressure on teams, but they were never able to establish themselves in a specific area and play for late game. That's just the way it goes. Miraculously though, Yangon Galacticus is doing quite well. I expected them to be eliminated a little bit earlier on, but for APG, Alter Egos, let's see how this fight ends up unfolding. Alter Egos got to do it as a duo.
Moana and Krypton have to play off one another. The circle kind of shifted away from them right now. DRX are in the center. They're by that roadside. They've got a lot of pressure outwards. Not too many threats to be sent their way. Fireflux, they're kind of on a linear approach from the south side. Whilst they have all 4 players alive, they've managed to rack up 7 elims, sure, but they are right with their backs to the blue zone. Marauding around them as well.
Yo, top, go off, my boy. That's 2 down. Outputting the damage tremendously. I say 2 down. 1 manages to get out with his life, but just with a sliver of hell. Jing down low. I don't know if it's going to happen. Reefus, this might be a nice nade. It's cooked well. It's thrown out just below, and he'll take off a sliver of health. Not much, but keeps the pressure on Zing. You know he doesn't feel comfortable in this moment. And for APG, on a tear. They're only on 4 eliminations, but at this rate, I don't know where they're going to end up.
A little bit more damage sent over to him, but the first aid was already ticking up. He will be healed. This is the
APG ले हान्ने रहेछ #1 मै आउँछ अब
already low, but they get it. Nonetheless, over the driver as well. Sitting will be taken down, and now Singh continues to be under pressure. However, they can't breach this high ground just yet. With Ida over the way, there's so much going on in this northeast quadrant.
APG holding on tight. Mind you, still 4 strong. You mentioned Ida, they're going to be just up ahead, and they look to be progressing forward just a bit more. So for APG, it's imperative that they focus the fights correctly. And Aaron, most likely going to be the first one targeted as Yale starts to move up towards that rock. Reefus down low, still trying to keep Thunder Talk in check on the low ground. I love where APG is currently at, and I have to favor them in this fight. But again, if they don't do this properly, Ida is going to eat them alive.
Darkin with the nade pulled over towards APG. Thinks better of it. Waiting for someone to give some information away. So with 4 players alive on the northeast side, they continue their march here for Alpha Gaming.
Ideal हान्नै पर्छ यार APG ले.
On this roster, the names they've got have some prestige. Reefus looks to start to pick up the pace here. But
Ideal हान्ने नि हाम्रो नि उयो slot बाँच्छ नि अलिकति बानी.
5 eliminations for APG. This could be a first place game. They could take the first place position. Alter Egos are already out. They're going to lose it. Yangon Galacticus most likely has already passed them up. Starbase on your screen. Now Fireflux, again, a tremendous game. Nearly double digits already. 4 members still alive. They started early, and they have refused to slow down. They now start to challenge APG, but Reefus, he's deadly. That man has been hitting shot after shot, and 1 member from Fireflux is now down.
Zol able to find Madcap. A nade over towards Zol's position, and top is the trade-off here. Scarface forwards. Does a lot of work against them, but will not win that trade. Gonna get flushed as well, almost certainly there. And have to fight on as 3 for Fireflux, but hang on a minute, no, because Madcap's down. He's all the way out on the flank. I think that res is coming through, though.
Distance trying to keep APG at bay. Meanwhile, Ida has been there, but not really. You know, could they have taken advantage of this third party? Maybe, but they're well within zone. So the question is, really, can Thunder Talk even start to break in? APG, once this fight does end up concluding, if it does against Fireflux, who managed to recover. You mentioned those revives. Well, now they're going to be a 4-man unit. And I like their chances a lot better in the moment. APG starts to regroup.
Fireflux might be able to keep all 4 of their players alive as well. So 2 full force squads on the eastern side. Something also monumental could be happening. It's brewing, it's bubbling under right now. But Power Esports could be on their way to their first placement point. We've got 10 teams remaining. 2 more need to go.
That is true. But according to they are at 0 eliminations.
उता देखाउनु के रोटेट गरेको देखाएको पुश गरिरहेछ माको रिस्पेक्ट
रिस्पेक्टरलाई त यस्तो गरम ट्रेकमा हान्छ
उ यहाँ एफएफ कस्तो पुश गरिरहेको थियो
पावरले हाई ग्राउन्ड लिएर हान्छ
APG go toe to toe with each other. Fireflux look to be on their wits end, but they managed to get their teammates back up, and in fact this secondary fight looks great. Scarface, let's do it, boy. Continue to push up.
कुरो यस्तो बेला हेर्नु न फेरि
के भयो केटाहरु रिफ्रेश गर्नु
Their first placement point, only a matter of time. A big nade from Ida to close it out.
Hora.
A guaranteed placement point for Power.
मजाले उठाए पावरले
Target throws a beautiful nade, gets the read from Fireflux and takes them out instantaneously. And now you got Power, who've been setting up quite nicely to keep the winner from that engagement. In this case, happens to be Ida Esports, who now is focused on Thunder Talk, who stayed alive miraculously as a duo on the low ground. They took heavy losses, but they're giving it right back.
They stayed out of the fight for the time being, but now they want to try and wade back on in. King steps a little bit too close to the fire and does get burned. Hits the deck just in time to avoid the spray down. And Thunder Talk keep the pressure on with Darkin falling. That's going to slow Ida down. Going to have to force that res out. Darkin not really in a safe spot with the blue zone pushing in 15 seconds. Not a lot of time to operate here.
Aaron thought about it. Do I go for the res? Do I go for the challenge? Well, Jing throws a nay. This could be two, and it's close enough. Aaron takes some damage. Another one starts to go in, but it's going to be a little bit too far. And now for Aaron, really the last hope for Ida. Potentially another one to, I don't know, output some damage, but all eyes on Aaron in the moment. It is amazing. Thunder Talk has put up this much of a fight. They're towards the bottom. They desperately need points to elevate themselves towards the top 5 running, but 4 eliminations, their best game we have seen so far, and it could get even better.
Aaron will go down last. And Ida, very down on their luck. Now it's just Emery who was across the way, disengaged from that fight for the longest time. Finally, one of the power players gets taken away from this, and Easy on the forefront will need a little bit of a rescue mission from the rest of the team. Not going to be easy, and actually it's Ragnar who gets caught on the sidelines. So Easy able to find that shot, and DRX now starting to come alive here. They've been in this combat for the longest time, and they want to try and inflict pain now onto the rest of the circle. But Haji is still on the hunt.
Yes, he is. For Ragnar's sake, though, I think he tried to get a little bit too fancy on the off angle, and it ended up being his undoing. And, well, he loses his life in the meantime. For Power, though, they look great. DRX is the only team, though, who is left alive with 4 members, but Power's positioning is great. They're hitting wonderful shots, but you gotta appreciate DRX. Able to utilize this low ground, this little divot. They're gonna be devastating. Power, it's gonna be hard to knock DRX off of this spot.
Yangon Galacticos as well on that northern side. Going to be difficult to navigate there. You've got solos on every single side of the circle, and right now the most dangerous one is probably Loxy on that southwest edge for Regnum Karya.
I would say so. Loxy could be devastating. Say Cloud, though, hits a nice shot, and that's going to be 2 from Power, dropping off, and the chances of making it to top 3 to the podium now ends. But as you said it best, they do get some placement points, so there is a positive for Emery. He tried his best to stay alive, but DRX takes them out without any drama whatsoever. We're now down to our top 3.
Okay, this should be a free win for DRX right now. They've been able to hold this compound for so long. It's 2 solos, and neither of the solos are in this next circle. They've got control of the hillside. They're in overexposed positions. So Easy goes down, and that is going to be a nice pickup, actually. Hang on a minute.
Very nice.
I said it should be a free win. Hang on a minute. We're just getting word that I lied. I lied to you.
Well, let's see what ends up happening. The pickup might be able to come through. We mentioned Loxy as well, right? From Regnum Karya. He's going to be potentially devastating. And both players, right, from Yangon Galacticos as well as Loxy from Regnum Karya, they're going to be pincering in this DRX roster. Looks to be a beautiful nade. I believe it does connect just a little bit. Here comes DRX. Now, I don't want them to get too aggressive here. They now have 2 players down low, and on the overexposing yourself to say Cloud might be a reason why these solos could take a win.
Say Cloud has a brilliant sideswipe here, right? You can see that ridge line that rolls down the hill away from Hyunbin. That is what Say Cloud is playing on. So Hyunbin flexing down this way. I really like this idea. Loxy should be taken care of by the blue zone. That will just sort of conclude itself here. And Say Cloud, sure, he might have the sideline swipe, but the center of the circle is still under control for DRX, and they do manage to keep things together, right? It's not going to get too spicy out here in the open, and he will fall down. DRX close it down. A little bit quiet on that one, but points are points are points, and they will take those 10 placements, add them to their tally, and they'll be up there with the rest of them at the top of the table.
Without a doubt, DRX, just like Power's been eliminating, right, and getting all their elimination points, basically securing top 5 just off of that, DRX has done a phenomenal job in the play
placings. 4th place in game number 1. 10th place in 2nd. They fall down a little bit, but 2nd place in 3rd, or the 4th game, I should say, and then 3rd place in the 5th, and then, of course, 1st place coming out right before your eyes. Beautiful job from DRX. Highly consistent in the podium category. That's going to be incredibly valuable when we get to Smash Point on day number 3. DRX, so strong, so powerful, and finally able to get a win.
That was 4th in the 1st, 3rd in the 3rd, 2nd in the 4th, and a 1st in the 5th there for coming through from DRX. Hope you guys are following that. We certainly were here in the booth, but we are going to head to a quick break whilst we get ready for our final Miramar of the day. Don't go anywhere.
Dear PUBG Mobile fans, we are delighted to invite you to the 2025 PUBG Mobile World Cup at the Esports World Cup in Riyadh, KSA. This exciting event will take place from July 25th to August 3rd at the Boulevard City. We've prepared tons of event perks, such as the Pmwc avatar frame, Esports Passion set, Esports Passion parachute, and tons more items. Let's check out how you can get all these rewards. During the tournament, go to the Pandora event page via Lobby, Event Center, Esports to join the event. Mormon from SEA, Top from CSA, Pedrinho from the Americas, Silas from the EU, and Prestige from MENA will guide you through the 5 major parts of the event. They consist of tournament celebration, prediction rewards, esports shop, themed outfit, and champion challenge. Join these activities to earn rewards and collect esports tokens to redeem even more gifts in the esports shop. The more esports tokens you collect, the better rewards you'll get. You can get up to 2,870 esports tokens from the prediction event. It takes place from July 23rd to August 5th and consists of 3 stages that coincide with the tournament: group stage, survival stage, and grand finals. During the group stage, get 20 esports tokens by predicting the 8 teams you think will advance directly to the grand finals. Each correct prediction will grant you an additional 60 tokens. Make a total of 3, 6, and 8 correct predictions to get 300, 680, and 720 tokens, respectively. You'll get another chance during the survival stage to guess the other 8 teams that will make it to the grand finals. The rewards are the same as the group stage. During the grand finals, you must try and predict the ultimate champion. Just predicting will grant 30 tokens, and a correct prediction will grant 400 tokens. If you're unsure about your predictions, you can let your friends' predictions guide you. Find someone reliable, copy their predictions, and wait to be rewarded. The 3 prediction rounds take place on July 27th, July 30th, and August 3rd at 10:45 UTC 0. Rewards are issued the second day after each stage ends at 4 a.m. UTC 0. You'll receive esports tokens based on your prediction results. Note, esports tokens don't expire and can be used in future esports events. Who do you think will be the ultimate champion? Join the 2025 Pmwc event and share your predictions. Invite your friends to join the predictions and watch the tournament unfold.
دمج
ضربني هدي حاول ترجع حاول ادخل ينزل هاي عيال ادخل يفنن
دمج
Last guy. Come back. From the right, come close. I have no bullets. Behind the buggy. I'm low. I have no bullets. Put him behind. Nice.
Player 456 would be proud because our South Korean overlords are back for a win. Yes! DRX holding down a compound. It was quite easy for them, actually. Joining me, we have Neptura as well as Maxman to talk about this one. Kind of came their way. They kind of did well. Hooray.
They had compound. It was in circle. They outlived every team. They get the win. What an impressive chicken dinner. Wow. No, it was a pretty streamlined win, okay, coming in from DRX. Unlike Notram Red Force, though, to throw the match, which I can appreciate. No, there's actually a few things they did do really well this game. They were using the southern and eastern ridges very efficiently, and because off the back of that, they could actually hold teams away. Though, yes, Kalaris, they didn't get a lot of limbs because they just stayed hidden in the middle, just like, don't fight us, please.
You know why they were able to keep teams away so long, though, Matt? How? I will tell you. Because of the quality of the angles that they took. And what I mean by that is that they took angles that had the most amount of information against other teams with the least amount of risk from those same teams. So they were able to hold on to their full squad very effectively while not necessarily getting the eliminations like we see here, only 5, right? But they were just able to hold those teams off onto the edge, let everybody else get eliminated and take the win.
But Fireflux taking a little bit of inspiration from Power. It's 0 points and 11 eliminations. This match, that's going to be able to catch up a little bit in the leaderboards, going on to the second page. So quite a few bubbles from Hora. Okay. I shouldn't have looked down there.
You've caused problems, Max.
I turned off my phone.
It's weird, I wonder why. But yes, I mean, at the same time, when you look at the elims coming in from all of these teams, right, it's a very technically open area, especially if you account for the fact that there is that big cliffside north of that road as well. So kind of a lot of these positions, Neptura, are kind of covering each other on the middle side because you're expecting all of these teams to kind of fight over you, and that's what we saw a lot of in this game, and you can kind of exist within the middle.
Yeah, it's a big thing that happens in a lot of games. If you can find that dip, it's super risky because the minute a team actually comes up over that ridge, you are gone. But as long as there's a couple of teams all around you, you are able to survive a lot.
Hey, Alpha Gaming able to get himself over 2,000 damage this game, 6 eliminations. Going into Fireflux, we already looked at their 11 eliminations. So very good presence from these teams. One team I'm not seeing here, that could have been here, is Alter Ego. We talked a little bit actually during this game here, while it was happening in the green room, how they had a really good position early on, and they tried to just overextend their control on the map. They had not just a 2-2 split, it was a 4-man split. Everyone was like around 100 to 150 meters away from each other, meaning that if the team gets remotely close to you, you're going to lose that player.
Very reminiscent of the split that they had on Sandhawk, but hey, guess what? Sandhawk and Miramar are very different maps, Neptura, right? So it's difficult to maintain this when everybody can kind of see you on the cliffsides elsewhere.
Yeah, a big split on Sandhawk and a big split on Miramar are two very different things. Just because it's such a vast area that you have on Miramar, you did have that one player. Which one was it, Max? There was a really...
Alva at the north?
Alva, yeah, it was Alva, up on that cliffside.
It was a valley between him and...
And you understand why. It's like, oh, that's an awesome off angle onto all the chaos that was happening with Thunder Talk and everybody, but it didn't work.
They seem like they're having fun still, though, here for Pmwc Grand Finals, which, okay, cool, sure, but you've still got to be able to have your foot on the pedal here, Max. If you're them getting together a little bit quicker, you feel like that's probably the play to deal with some of this?
I think so, but it was so weird because you had two teams getting really close to their position. You had Ida and you had Fireflux, and it's not just they're walking around in dips being very silent. They have cars, and even then, Alter Ego made the active decision that no, we are going to remain split. We don't want to regroup. We just want to keep control. Unfortunately, to have control, you need to have the numbers, and in this case, Alter Ego did not have the numbers to take those fights.
Definitely so, definitely so. All right, well, before we get into our last game, it's time for everybody's favorite segment of the day. Max Man's ready to
You know it, you love it. It's Maxman's grenade of the day. Back at it once again, and this time around we're going back on over to Erangel. It's Military Island with actually a very good naked coming on through onto Thundertalk, right onto the driving car. There, 2 passengers. He knew observation hacky unlocked just like in One Piece, and he knew where they were going to be and gets a nice double elimination. Really good play here from Power Esports.
What did you say?
One Piece.
What? Yeah, but you said something about before that about One Piece.
Observation hacky. It's like you can read into the future.
Right. Is that... Anyway.
I literally got your coffee because you said you liked the French earlier.
Oh, you did? Well, they're not showing you on screen.
It's on the desk, okay, I promise. It's
thanks. I needed that. Also, you picked a serious nade. I'm impressed. Well done. Thanks for that. That was great.
Yeah, Maxman's nade of the day can be all good or bad. It can be the 2 extremes.
You never know. It's a mystery. What will happen tomorrow? Find out tomorrow. But it is time to go to the casters for the final game of the day. It's Miramar.
Thank you very much, guys. Over on the desk, of course, we're going to be shifting into, what is it, like Gear 5 or something? I don't know. That's
10,
a One Piece
baby.
reference.
We're going to 10.
That's a One Piece reference for Maxman specifically. I don't know what I'm saying, but I'm sure he enjoyed it greatly. As we are going to be heading on into the last match today, it is match number 6. It is Miramar. It's the desert. It's getting hot. It's getting spicy. Hopefully our teams can keep up and keep the sweat off their brow, because they are going to need main cool, calm, and more.
Collected. Let's get it going. Game number 6, the final game of day number 1. The final chance to elevate yourself up into the top 5. Truly contest for the final championship run. Who's it gonna be? Well, we're gonna find out on day number 3. Now, last Miramar was exciting. A lot of great rotations, and honestly, even the solos playing towards the end, in my opinion, were putting up a wonderful fight that could have very well dismantled the team of DRX. Shingon Galactica's team that's been performing highly well today. The fact that they made it through into top 2 is great, because I believe they were a duo for the longest time. So, good on them. Shingon Galactica's performing so well, but DRX taking the cake when it comes to, I believe, our most consistent team podium in I believe, what, 3 out of the 5 games we've had so far.
It's a pretty difficult record to beat. DRX have been getting that chicken dinner in the 5th match. It's kind of nutty. That's why they're on the top of the pile right now, maintaining that consistency. Not as loud as other teams, looking at you, Power. But either way, they have managed to keep up that record. And 46 points on 5 matches is a very solid result, right? It's 4 points shy of that 10-point average that we always talk about when it comes to teams in that first place spot. If you're above 10 points, if you're around that 10-point average, you are in the contest for that first place spot on the lobby. The plane path from Puerto Paraiso up towards El Pozo, a lot kinder than the first time around Miramar today. That was a heavy south plane cut. This time around, it's going to be a little bit more relaxed for our teams to getting on their way. So potentially no hot drop, or at least no pursuit over towards the Falcons on this one for El Pozo.
Well, we'll find out, right? Falcons did have quite a few teams around them, and it was Hora and Falcons who ended up kind of, tussling with each other, but we'll see if that ends up happening this time around. And let's not forget Yangon Galacticus also coming up behind them. It was kind of contested towards El Pozo. Might see the same thing here as, well, Smile tends to drop out. I think he's going to take over that southern portion. It took a little bit of time before they finally ended up in contention with Hora as well as Falcons up there towards El Pozo. But it's a mad dash for the vehicles, and that's where you start seeing the heavy points of contention, especially between Hora and Falcons, who are very close to each other already as they glide through the air.
Northside circle pops as the plane exits our screen. Tokyo Drift style, hitting the 45 degrees, as we are going to be heading up again to a more northern area. So this time it's going to be a little bit more west than we had last time around.
पेन पात त दामी पर्यो यार
Crater Fields,
ओ जोन पनि दामी पर्यो यार
all
यो
of
त चिकन हो
those hills will be
यहाँ हेर्नु न
Crater Fields, that could be a little bit more west than we had last time around.
यो डाँडा बस्यो नि
Fields that for the most south team right now over towards Puerto Paraiso. Hopefully they can find another podium, because they've already got 4 of them. Why not get another?
Why not? Get another one. 4 out of the 6. That would be huge for them. And again, Smash Point, day 3.
we look at DRX to potentially be the ones to close it out if they could be number one setting the point threshold. For DRX, this is going to be a tough going for them. They've got to go all the way up north, as you said. That means passing Team Secret, potentially Alter Ego, Arena, maybe running into Thunder Talk, Fireflux. They might take a long rotate towards the shoreline and go all the way up towards north. That might be their best line of attack. For Hora, well, they go a bit more north this time around than they did last time, because you remember, they were south of Falcons, ended up pursuing them into El Pozo. This time, Hora change up their landing spot, and they're going to be just above them, which is going to be great for them. So much real estate that they can utilize. And Hora need a good game here. They're, again, towards the bottom, but setting themselves up nicely for day 2 would be a tremendous win on game 6, and the possibility is here.
Yangon Galacticos gathering vehicles, getting a little bit of loot on board. They're still yet to fully go for this loot phase. They're going to head south down towards Valdeman and play this one in a little bit later on. They love seeing the blue zone, right? They absolutely love it for Yangon Galacticos. As soon as they see that blue zone coming, they're heading straight towards it. So they will be very chilled about surviving out in this area. A likely west road rotate, so expect to see them heading up towards around minute 8. I think that's where we'll see them up towards that north side. So potential conflict with Hora and Falcons on the west edge.
That's right, and I think that's going to be a pretty big narrative throughout not only today in our game number 6, but going into day 2 and day 3 of our grand finals. I am excited to watch APG potentially clash with Regnum Karya. 2 aggressive rosters. With the way APG was challenging fights in our previous game in Map 5 Miramar, got me excited for the prospect of what their aggression is going to hold in this final game, game number 6. They're going to have to go up north. Regnum Karya might choose to gatekeep them. Let's not forget 4 Thrives. I know, haven't seen too much from them today, but another roster that showed incredible aggression and good ability to hold and control fights during the group play stages. They're also going to be in that vicinity. So APG, Regnum Karya, 4 Thrives potentially clashing maybe a little bit later.
So wait and see what their path will hold for them. On the road faster than APG, and it might be 4 Thrives that does in fact come into conflict with them. As always, it's a question of which path they take towards this circle. Fighting this early, you don't really want to get stuck down in it, right? You don't want to get bogged down early. Going down within that first phase is really detrimental to your overall tournament performances, and I wouldn't be too surprised to see them wait their turn, right, in this scenario. Wait for teams to push it behind them and get a little bit more drawn back, I think it's safe to say, from those engagements. I'm looking around the map right now. I'm seeing DRX leaving Puerto Paraiso. They've headed up past Impala on the east side right now, and they are trying to slot themselves in over towards El Azahar, potentially all the way up towards Cruz del Valle, and we'll see if they can make their way on up to the podium once more. There's not too many teams are going to contest them on that.
Yeah, no surprise, DRX, that was their safest rotation. That's exactly what they ended up doing, going across that shoreline and going up most likely towards the north above. Maybe Alter Egos, maybe even a little bit further on towards maybe the northern portion of where Weibo is currently at. For 4 Thrives, full send it straight in. They're going to be very close to Noxian Red Force. In fact, Benny already throwing out some nades, and Naki's taking damage.
Naki does answer, though, with a nade of his own. Unfortunately, it's in through the window, and he's up on the high ground there. A nade up high, and they do think he's on the inside of this one. Benny could potentially catch them unawares. The Molotov, they think they're burning him out of position, but he's got IQ on lockdown right now. Steps up but misses. Now they'll know he's up on high. Noki now with a chance to turn things around, but more nades are cooking. This is the last one in the pocket from Beanie. And IQ has to dodge it. Will be able to survive. XNY on the off angle. Doesn't quite connect on it either. So Noxian Red Force not really getting too much with the opening salvo. To take this into control.
T24 on the ground alongside that of Phallic. You've got to appreciate the high ground from Benny. He's not going to relinquish that. He's going to be truly the linchpin into success, at least I assume, in this fight, in this engagement. IQ's down and out. No way he's going to get back up, and in fact, he's going to be fully finished. 4 Thrives, the one good thing they do have going for them is they have Wolfpack together. So any players from Noxian Red Force, if they push it as a solo, you'd have to assume you're going to be shot by 3 people at the same exact time. T24 Phallic gotta hold the low ground, though. XCY pushing in. Tizzy starting to also get active. T24 takes some damage off it. Tizzy, Doc going in. T24 down. Benny drops out from his high ground, takes a little bit of damage, but they're the shot needed to drop Naki. 4 Thrives are out.
Once more, 4 Thrives fall, and Nongshim Red Force keeping all 4 of their players alive there. It got a little bit hairy with T24 doing so much work on the low ground, but they do manage to survive as 4, which is huge news from them. In the meantime, Alter Ego losing a player. Team Secret able to take control of the compound here to the west of Cruzavaya on the north side of that circle. Potential conflict for them with DRX in the next few minutes, but for now, Alter Ego busted down to 3.
Alter Egos, a good day today so far. Love to finish off with the 3.
Smoke Man,
a good day to great shots. Fireflux, who had a tremendous game number 5.
FF like REG le ruaya yaar.
A better job here. Regnum Karia also up ahead. You notice every single team minus APG has just directly sent it straight into the center of this zone. They want those buildings. They want the hard cover, and that's why 4 Thrives was so antsy to get in and challenge Noxum Red Force. It doesn't pay off, but you get the idea. So Regnum Karia, Fireflux now, they want to take over this spot if they can get it, but it's not going to be easy.
They're going to have to fight for their way out here. Circle
center.
on in very, very soon. Alter Ego
actually center porta.
I said around minute 8 for Yangon Galacticos.
Zone kaha gayega.
That's a hard northeast shift. They're going to have to go a long, long way. I don't think they're going to see this circle until about minute 10.
TS level going there zone.
Get a bit hairy on the west side for Yangon Galacticos. They might need to cut an earlier rotation, maybe potentially through Montenuevo, unless they want to get really, really down to the wire with this. Alter Ego, it's gone poorly.
I was hoping Fireflux would take advantage of the zone shift and get ahead of Regnum Karia, who managed to get a knock onto one of the Fireflux members. Naturally, they're going to be back up. Regnum Karia, head on a swivel, decides to full send it in, staying ahead of Fireflux, making sure that if engagement does happen, they're going to be the tip of the spears in that fight. Thundertop King's going to knock down one from Alter Egos. Moana is going to fall, leaving Alter Egos with just 1.
Both of those 2 teams on the northeast side have dropped players. 2 are remaining for DRX, so they do manage to get through, but they're only playing as a duo. Alter Ego try and move in as well, but all under the watchful eyes of Thundertalk, who have only been able to extract 2 points from it, but they've opened up the east side nicely for themselves to stay alive for a lot longer. E-Arena to their south shouldn't pose too much of a worry for them. The hillsides will keep them safe. If you take a look at the replay, okay, little spin out in the open, catches the rear tire, a nice
Alter Ego. So if he can pull off shots like that, even as a solo, he could be truly devastating to the complete rosters who are 3 and 4 stacks outside of DRX, right? Everybody else has 3 or 4 members. Falcons does have a downed player, and I don't know if it was due to, well, actually it might be because of Hora, who has started to move in. Hora and Falcons, even off the start of the last game, and then of course going into this game, you knew they were gonna have a clash at some point. And at a certain moment, Falcons or Hora have to put their foot down and establish dominance over this engagement and rotation to force a change for the other roster. Team Secret also moving in.
Nade over the top, this could be good. Onto Ralph, does manage to blast him out of the buggy. Redox hopping in, repositioning it, getting a little bit more cover down the hill. They dropped to smoke almost immediately, and the Falcons scrambling to pick this one back up. I don't think they're going to be able to commit to get Ralph back. There's too many off angles to contend with. Redox in the front of the buggy. His teammates keeping him safe, though. An over-aggressive push from Team Secret drops them a player. But again, it's those off angles coming on in, and it's Sleepy to catch Redox sleeping.
Yeah, Sleepy has been a nuisance. A nuisance from a distance. Zera's got out in the open. Sky takes him out. Hora potentially profiting off of this third party in a big, big way. They're already at 2 eliminations. They continue to push up to pressure and potentially get the full finishes on Team Secret.
Where are Yangon Galacticos? They should be in this fight right now. Going up and towards the 12th minute, and they have yet to enter this circle. It's going to get a little bit too hard to overheal this one, and again, they're on the far side of things. You can see them all the way out onto the west, and they could really have an impact here if they crash into the back of Hora.
Team Falcons just trying to stay alive. Just a duo. They're out of there. Koa, Narvalo managed to find a little bit of respite in the hard cover, but meanwhile, for Hora and Team Secret, Hora has done so much damage on the Team Secret roster that you have to favor them in this moment. And while they continue to push up, they refuse to bow the knee. And for Trank, he's going to go ahead and join Frankie up ahead as Team Secret start to recover just a little bit, but only just.
Unwedging the vehicle there, it looks like. They will keep themselves nice and mobile. Team Secret on the northwest side. Hora going to try and push on through. Weibo, with all 4 players alive, playing on the southwest side right now. East edge of water treatment as well. A nice ridgeline under control. Power, they're a little bit more central. They are under the watchful eyes of Weibo, but they don't have to move. They will be able to chill out for the time being. We know how much they like to get stuck in, though, so maybe things can get a little bit hot.
Well, I just love the fact that they're as central as they are. So the next stage, most likely, still going to favor that of Power, which is going to be interesting because Yangon Galacticus finally get out of the blue zone after, what, the 14th minute, start to move in towards water treatment. You got Fireflux, Weibo who's still in the area. You've got plenty of teams. Power might potentially be able to gatekeep. This might be a tremendous game for Power, depending on how they choose to play it.
My eyes are on E-Arena right now, and so is the camera, luckily, because they have severely underperformed expectations.
Without a doubt.
Coming through from the survival stages, they were looking good, they were looking powerful. I mean, obviously, you've got a couple of standout players. I think Mormon is probably a very notable player on the roster of E-Arena. They have been in disarray so far today. So to close out day 1 with a strong game, I think would be necessary for them to even be in the conversation for the front page, potentially.
I agree, yeah.
At this stage, though, they are going to have to hold their nerve against Ida, against APG, against Nongshim Red Force. I think they've got the chops, but the question is, can they deliver today when they've been so weak on the snap?
APG's getting dangerously close to E-Arena. They're fully committing for this fight. They can back off if they want to, but you gotta fight this quickly. And E-Arena, as they reposition, go straight into a couple from Ida. Like you mentioned, Nongshim Red Force is going to be coming in from the south portion, still in blue, but eventually they will be up in this fight as well. So if you're APG, you don't want to get pincered between not only Nongshim Red Force, but also E-Arena. If you're E-Arena, you're still in a decent spot. Stay ahead of your competition so you can gatekeep them.
Take a look at the circle yet again. It's going to come through very, very quickly. Last player for Alter Ego rotating out. Move away as the circle comes on through, and it's very central. On the outside, they're going to get cut through here. Yangon Galacticos, I think, have one of the most difficult maneuvers to make. They are sitting currently around water treatment, trying to push past Weibo. Who are getting ground. They're regrouping on the southwest, to be fair to them. So maybe a little opening for Yangon Galacticos to push on up. In the meantime, over the water, E-Arena, they are managing to do a little bit.
APG starts to get active onto Nongshim Red Force, a team that was in blue for a long time. Not as long as Yangon Galacticus, but still a long time nonetheless. They finally get into the zone, straight into the damage of Reefus, who is mowing down players and can't get the full finishes, but at least taking those valuable hills away from the team of Nongshim Red Force. I did notice Power started to fire some shots, I believe, on Weibo, just up ahead as well. So a lot of fights going down. APG, in my opinion, has the advantage of Nongshim Red Force, who has to continually push up, and Reefus is unrelenting with the shots.
Yeah, they've got the high ground on them. It's going to be a question of getting picks, but they're just not being found. And Nongshim Red Force are starting to fall. They're starting to wane on the east side. Fireflux getting involved on this flank. It's mad dashes now. There's really nothing you can do. You just have to try and sneak your way through, find a little window of something, but it's so difficult to make it work. Docs up into the building, but I don't think that's going to last too long. They have him on the ground floor. They've got him locked in. And APG can keep this one going. I think the biggest question mark in this spot is what a
Yes, absolutely. Fireflux has already managed to get a couple of downs on Nongshim Red Force, but E-Arena has also backed up. On board with Dog. Dog holds his ground from Nongshim Red Force. They're not done just yet. You still have, I believe, one more player remaining, but very low health. And in fact, he's going to be finished off. Now, Terry, he's down. You mentioned what would Fireflux do? Well, they choose to challenge the forward members of E-Arena, who pushed out of their hard cover, mind you, getting overly aggressive and now getting potentially punished.
Fireflux, pretty nasty with the nades. The ordnance is on the south side. They are opening the door to push on in. Maybe even move through their reses as well. They've got Solus down. I think that's already getting picked back on up. And E-Arena, they're blasted down to 2. No elims on this fight. They had a hold onto a 3-way engagement, and they have not got any value for it. It's not looking good.
I just don't understand why they felt the need to send 2 players forward. Maybe they were expecting to have a bit more of an off angle with the third party, but Fireflux is ready for them and gunned them down. Good utility on the nades as well. E-Arena, in my opinion, waste a tremendous opportunity. They had this setup. They're well within his zone. Fireflux, APG, once these fights conclude, are pushing directly into you. There was no reason to send 2 players up ahead, but they did it anyways. And now Joker and Mormon have to go at it alone.
After a
के
big
3x वाला जो लाउँदै छ
lose
नपाएर
they've already posted 6. Sure, they've lost a player, but they will be able to march on forwards. You'd imagine that they're going to try and crash onto the E arena position, or maybe not crash, but walk up to at least. However, as 3 players, that's going to be a lot harder than it would have been as 4. APG do have the numbers, but they are trapped on the far side of the road. It's going to be a lot harder for them to get across unscathed.
And I do wonder about Order, who's kind of being a little bit weird, hanging out off in the distance. You know, a couple of shots could put a team in disarray. Sleeping, challenging that at Team Secret. Hora and Team Secret have been opposite of each other for quite some time. They've managed to get a lot of damage and even at times a couple of knocks, but they both managed to get back up, and they're going to be both 4 stacks, challenging each other straight ahead. For Yangon Galacticos, 2 members that might be able to fire onto Jaiki depending, but for Xeris, to take down Hora. Let's see who wins the engagement.
Team Secret committing up towards Hora as they rotate away from the outpost of Yangon Galacticos. 4 positions for Team Secret, not quite getting the angles just yet. Thunder Talker up in the distance as well. Could be a little bit of crunch on towards Hora. Romeo's been spotted, no fear, able to tap him away, back him off the angle. I think Thunder Talk want to get involved here. They are starting to flex their muscles and they do need to leave.
Still have Alva's solo. Not going to have an effect as of yet, but Alva, he's been devastating. We witnessed him take down 2 members, I believe, of another roster just a little bit earlier, but now he's going to be going down center. So he won't have an impact here, but you're right. Thunder Talk. Now, Hora, Team Secret on one end, on the other is Thunder Talk. Hora in dire straits, and they have to make a choice. Who do they challenge? But whoever they end up going for, they've got to finish them quickly, because they have to expect the team behind them to push up.
As the shots coming through from the off angle, over the way, Team Secret making things hard, but Jaiki actually gets spotted and pinked out by No Fear. But that's going to slow Team Secret down. That's right. It's actually going to push them away from this spot.
Yes, Haan, why is Haan?
In all honesty, it helps Team Secret because those shots that were coming out was going to melt that buggy if it wasn't for Yangon Galacticos keeping that player down from Team Hora. So Team Secret forced to park the bus once again, and well, they're in a little bit of a tricky spot, aren't they? They've got No Fear gunning them down. Yangon Galacticos also looking down into the ravine. Team Secret, I don't think they make it out.
Back on the center, going to get pushed, going to get taken low, and they may have got some nades on in, and Scarface so. Another point added at least for E Arena. Fireflux in pretty dire straits. E Arena may be winning this hold on the southeast side as Fireflux are eliminated. But with only 1 more player left standing, it is Mormon, but E Arena can hold their heads high for the time being.
Yeah, and it's Order who's still from Weibo Gaming who's going to be hanging out on the outskirts, and I do wonder if he's going to get the final finish onto the solo. Mormon Sook starts to move in, so Mormon, he's going to be at a 1v2. Meanwhile, once again, Team Secret surprisingly and miraculously able to recover. I surely thought they were going to be finished off, but they're not. They managed to stand up, but they're still in dire straits in a very, very difficult spot between Hora and Yangon Galacticos. Once again, for Team Secret, I just don't know how they're going to get out of this situation.
Did not engage onto Hora in that scenario. On the north side, Thunderdog instead opting to push a little bit further south, potentially towards Alva, the solo for Alter Ego. But instead, they've just allowed Hora to move on up towards Yangon Galacticos and take a free aggression push for them.
Matthew, you're a pale now, YG,
Try and play on the other side of it. Caught in the middle. Smile goes down first, though, on the far side of this engagement.
Yeah, well done from Jiggle. Catches the head. Takes him out through the window. You mentioned Thundertalk not choosing to crash in. Well, they do so, and Hora reads it out, and you're going to have 2 players, Sky and No Fear, who's going to try and hold Thundertalk at bay. AJ down to a sliver of health, but managed to recover quite nicely. The only concern I have for Hora is they are split up 2-2. One focus on Team Secret as well as Yangon Galacticos. The other purely focused on Thundertalk. Talk, and Thunder Talk is going to manage to take down No Fear. Sleepy is going to get taken out by Team Secret, and an aggressive push from Drang, who takes down the Shed players, and all of a sudden, the tides will turn, and Hora, in dire straits, is only one more player is alive.
Having a real tough time of it. They need to commit to this res. Thunder Talk put pressure onto the east side beautifully. Like you mentioned, they rolled up and finally took that opportunity to go on end. Sky launching those lane forwards. Actually, a lot of Thunder Talk are close by to one another. As APG finding Falcons as well on in the middle. On the east side rather than the Falcons will fall. They will be eliminated down in 12th place there. 11 of our teams remain. Yangon Galacticos, they've just been holding on that western side. They've been very, very chill, very relaxed on these engagements. They haven't managed to chime in. They got one E-Lib, and they are forcing other teams to fight off against one another, allowing them to do the dirty work. But now they're going to have to turn their attention to Haya, who are on a split.
No Fear, can he stand up? He's on fire, and he will eventually be dropped, and Hora is gone. I got a question. If they don't go for the 2-2 split, do they survive? If they're not focused on 3 teams simultaneously, would they have better luck? Well, we'll never know, unfortunately. For Yangon Galacticos finally pushing into the aggressive Ragnar Karia, who are getting taken down, running on fumes. 2 players down and out. Karia most likely going to be finished off in this moment. Only 1 player remains, and I don't see him currently. Actually, it's going to be Wild way off in the distance, so he's going to be a solo for the remainder of this game.
Yangon Galacticos can keep up pace now. They have 2 E-Limbs on scorecard, and they will be 4 players alive. Obviously will be flushed fairly soon, so a couple more points to be added to their tally in just a moment. Close by to DRX's duo. Up on the north side of this one, on the south edge, it's still Power. With 4 players alive, they're going to try and navigate their way on in around Weibo, who also have 4 players alive, but certainly the throws it aside, and instead they're going to take to the soul of the boot, see if they can take the shot towards Weibo.
You go back to the last game, Ragnar was trying to get these crazy off angles. He ends up getting punished this time around, not making that same mistake. He sticks with the full portion of Power. Great shots from Easy, but better shots from Order from a distance.
Able to shut down that hilltop, and this is Ghost Signal. They're going to crash straight on into this. Nice and aggressive, decisive play from Weibo. They're trying to encircle now the rest of Power. They know that backline's going to be fumbling, going to be faltering a little bit. We'll see if they can take control of it. 33Z, maybe a little bit over-invested here, as Weibo trying to connect onto Power. Will finally be able to find that second knock, and they can continue to run this one through. Sook is down, but this should be resible. Fadan doesn't have the pace on this.
Fadan, he throws bounces off the wall, manages to get away without burning himself. Fadan pushing up onto He. Now he needs to get here quickly. If he can get the finish before the res is in, it's going to be a 1v1, but the res will come through. You'd have to assume very quickly he refuses to commit, playing it safe, but maybe playing it a bit too safe, and now Weibo able to recover.
Teams are starting to drop like flies. We're down to 8 now, and I'm sure there's a couple more ready and waiting to go. A lot of solos still playing on into this one. Weibo playing 2v1 on the inside. Fadan is the last player to stand here for Power Esports. They've got 1 Elim. And again, they are guaranteed a placement here with 8 teams remaining. But we'll see how much further they can go. The pump action, not going to be good enough. The DBS wins the day, and Weibo can stay up as 4 players.
There's value in playing passive, and what Fadan did wasn't necessarily wrong. However, you know you're last alive. Fully commit. There's it down in front of you. It's a 1v1. Swinging that choke point, swinging that angle is tough. I understand, but you just got to go for it. And if he would have, of course, he doesn't have X-ray vision, but if he would have, he most likely would have got the cleanup and been successful in that fight. And I can even say the same thing going to Nox from Red Force side of things with Benny. A little bit earlier in the day, there was a moment where I felt he needed to get aggressive, but he was just too undecisive. And because of that undecisiveness, he gets taken down. So there is power in being aggressive and full sending it, but he made the play that he made. Again, it wasn't necessarily wrong, but if he would have been aggressive, he most likely would have been able to win that fight and potentially even get the last remaining member up.
Alpha could really go some distance in this match. With APG putting pressure over towards DRX, the last remaining player for Alter Ego could sneak through the cracks potentially. Could be a bit of a wild card on that east side flank. Weibo playing as 4, they're all the way on the other side on the southwest. Yangon Galacticos, they're behind APG's engagement on the north side. So not really too many massive threats on the east edge. Actually gonna get some quite great no, spotted. Weibo losing an off angle there.
Hashtag 1 में जाला है अब
the rest of the roster gets caught unawares.
Still not a bad spot though for Weibo, keeping Yangon Galacticus in check. APG, great spot overlooking DRX and Team Secret, which let's highlight them, right? Team Secret, even though they only have a solo last alive, they did such a great job dismantling Hora a little bit earlier, 4 eliminations going their way, and the solo of Trey staying up is just huge, in my opinion. They should not be alive in this moment. They should not be fighting for a potential top 3 finish. But APG forced to go forward, and now DRX, who were being hunted down from APG, now could potentially gatekeep them. If they play this right, they could win this fight, but it's not going to be easy because they don't have the man advantage.
Kyunbin taken very, very low with a nade, cooked nicely. Has to get the knock, but they'll know there's a player on the inside there now. An APG with 4 players are wary of their south edge, but I don't imagine they expect Alva to be on this loot crate right now. Just trying to stay alive for Alter Ego. APG very reluctant actually to push all the way through this one.
It's tough. It's tough for DRX. I mean, because you know DRX is right in front, and they've got a great spot. Alva, I wonder if he gets Pmwc. He's stayed alive for the longest time. And he's going to be able to take a peek over at Doc if he chooses to fire. But I think for him, he just wants to keep his head low and just go for top 3 if he possibly can. Aaron from Ida is going to be fully finished off. That'll be Ida out in 6th place. We're now down to our top 5. Things are starting to get spicy. APG on the move. DRX need to be ready.
Finally, Alva is dispatched, and that's going to open up the flank there. With top going down, looks like they want to commit for this res. Potentially very, very dangerous out in the open. I don't think you want to make this one work. So easy now with the SKS on the red dot. Okay, a little bit lackluster on the weaponry there potentially, but so easy. Only has his teammate Hyunbin there. Crawling away. They could look for this res, but I think Yangon Galacticos aren't going to allow that one to happen.
Soez could truly help Yangon Galacticos. Who are starting to come in. They're starting to close the vice grip, and if Soez can take any members from APG down, that's only going to help the win for the side of Yangon Galactica. Soez will not be successful. Doc will win the fight, and it will be APG with a 4-man unit against the 4-man unit of Yangon Galacticas. Meanwhile, Weibo most likely getting finished off very, very shortly. We got one player who's going to be down. Yangon Galacticas go into victory.
They want this top spot to close out day 1. 2 players fall at their feet. A smile just about threading the bullets either side of him. Major to dodge them. It's Yol goes down next, straight down over towards Doc, and that is going to be it. It's curtains for Alpha Gaming. 3rd place in a pretty brutal fashion on the northeast side now. 2 players, sorry, just 1 player from Weibo to stand in the way of Yangon Galacticos. They will be up and over 60 points on the match. A beautiful result for them. Their day has been stellar. DRX as well, up and towards that podium. Some really consistent performances at the top. They are going blow for blow.
Without a doubt, 4 out of their 6 games, they get top 3.
ठिक छ हामी 13 कति 12 मै हैन
managed to take over first place, but only for a sliver of time. Yangon Galacticos most likely taking it over with that tremendous win. And Yangon Galacticos, mind you, managed to get first place 2 times throughout our 6 games. Of course, game number 6 as well as game 2. We've been waiting for Yangon Galacticos to step it up, to finally wake up.
आज YG ले चाहिँ पढाइ हालेको यार तर
Brilliant stuff from Yangon Galacticos. They looked cool, collected, drop at the shoulder, drop at the elbow, and sinking the fist into the rib cage. It is nasty to come up against these guys in an all-out brawl, and they are happy to take those swings. A really solid flush over those hillsides. They come through late. They're waiting. They let everyone else sort out who will be the ones to take them on, and then they'll sweep them aside either way.
And you know what? They had a chance potentially to dismantle themselves if they do challenge into Team Secret with of staying alive, and that could have gotten dicey because it was Team Secret as well as 2 other rosters who were fighting within that area. Yangon Galactica said, let's play this slow. Let's go for the placement points and get the eliminations when it makes sense. Well, there it is, man. Game number 6 is done. Time to break down today's studio. What ended up happening?
Well,
well,